Chapter 861 Successful Refinement. Star Form Blessed Land. Poisonous fog was spreading, poisonous blood was boiling, 3 layers of GU formations were already destroyed by corrosion, the surrounding land turned into a thin layer of poisonous swampland. Fang Yuan's face was stern. Next is the most troublesome and difficult to process immortal material, earthly limit astral chi. He took out an immortal material and held it in his hands. This GU refinement material was very peculiar, it was made up of soil and chi. They gathered into a lump. At the top was light azure-colored astral chi, below was black soil. Astral chi was the heaven chi found up in the 9 heavens. Outside the immemorial 9 heavens was a thick wall of astral chi. If a GU immortal wants to explore the 9 heavens, he would need to break through the astral chi wall. Meanwhile, the black soil was made up of the essence of earth chi condensed from the 10 depths. Heaven and earth chi could not coexist, but at this moment, this earthly limit astral chi was joined together in harmony. Not only were they existing peacefully, they were converting into one another constantly. Black soil turned into astral chi while astral chi turned into black soil. Fang Yuan shook it by moving his hands rapidly, as this lump of earthly limit astral chi melted, fusing with the black soil and becoming a lump of fog. But after shaking, after a dozen breaths, the black soil sank while the astral chi stayed on top. Black and white was separated again, the two were rotating, it was a mystical sight. Processing such an immortal material is most troublesome. Ordinary refinement path killer moves cannot deal with it perfectly. Only the 4 publicly recognized strongest immortal killer moves to deal with immortal materials, slumbering lightning python, reflect snow, muffled thunder stone drum, and wind grind, could complete this step instantly. Unfortunately, I do not have any of these 4 immortal killer moves. To process the earthly limit astral chi, I can only put in much time and effort. Fang Yuan's thoughts flashed as he moved his feet, his huge body shot into the air, he leapt and jumped into the turtle shell, into the poisonous blood. Boom! Fang Yuan flashed his sharp nails, causing injuries on his 6 monstrous arms, he next slashed at his chest, back, and other areas, creating openings on his skin. Blood refinement killer move, blood trace travel. From these injuries, traces of blood appeared. The blood traces quickly fused into the dark purple poisonous blood, the poisonous blood in the turtle shell was drawn away, it moved into Fang Yuan's wounds. Intense pain assaulted him, Fang Yuan snorted. Immortal zombies did not have a sense of pain, Fang Yuan could feel pain because he used GU worm methods. He needed to feel pain so that he could know what step the immortal materials were at. Fang Yuan's blood and the poisonous blood in the turtle shell acting as a pot continued to fuse and circulate, they were entering and exiting Fang Yuan's body. After this process stabilized, Fang Yuan took out the earthly limit astral chi and swallowed it. Gulp, the earthly limit astral chi entered his stomach. This was his own original method, created in his previous life, an abnormal technique using blood path to refine GU. He called this the flesh-body blood refinement technique. The earthly limit astral chi entered his body, it was engulfed by the blood and slowly melted into the blood. Blood flowed out of Fang Yuan's body through the wounds, into the turtle shell pot, and sank to the bottom. At the same time, the other poisonous blood in the pot flowed into Fang Yuan's body through the wounds, engulfing the earthly limit astral chi again. Such circulation made the earthly limit astral chi melt at an extremely slow speed. At a mountain peak on Truyong mountain range, winds were blowing wildly. The hairy man GU Immortal, Yu Mu Chun, stretched out a finger. Where his finger pointed, 5 or 6 tornadoes slowly approached. When they got close to a certain extent, they gathered into one, forming a huge tornado that howled loudly. Yu Mu Chun's hand turned, a pearl-like immortal material was flicked out by his finger, entering the huge tornado. Although this pearl was small and inconspicuous, after it entered the tornado, it emitted a shrill noise. The winds of the tornado became weaker, it spun slower. It was like a strong man who was stuffed from eating. But as time passed, the tornado became faster and faster, it was rapidly digesting the pearl. 15 minutes later, the tornado completely absorbed the pearl, the entire pillar was dyed in black and white, interchanging between the 2 colors. Earthly limit astral chi pearl. Ben Duoyi saw this and had a thought, he cried out. Yu Mu Chun was a bit surprised, he praised, you have quite some knowledge, lad. To process the earthly limit astral chi pearl, a small tornado would not work, only a large tornado could do it. Ben Duoyi suppressed the shaking of his heart. Earthly limit astral chi was a very hard to process immortal material. Ben Duoyi knew deeply that even if he exerted himself, he would need to spend several years to melt a lump of earthly limit astral chi, so that it could be used in GU refinement. He was a mortal GU master. To process immortal materials, he would usually need to spend years on it. As for the earthly limit astral chi pearl, it was made from a huge amount of earthly limit astral chi, squeezed together and gathered into a pure pearl. One pearl was equivalent to 100 portions of earthly limit astral chi. Earthly limit astral chi pearls were extremely firm, they were hard to process. Even GU immortals needed to spend months or even years to melt one pearl. But Master Yu Mu Chun spent such a short time to process an earthly limit astral chi pearl. Ben Duoyi thought of something, his voice trembled as he asked, "Don't tell me Master Yu Mu Chun, the refinement path killer move that you used is the legendary wind grind. That has to be it, only one of the 4 legendary refinement path immortal killer moves can process immortal materials at such a speed." "That's right, it is wind grind," Yu Mu Chun replied. Ben Duoyi's eyes were shining brightly, this was one of the best methods to process immortal materials. Even if he was not a GU immortal, and could not use an immortal killer move, but right now, he was filled with admiration, he dreamed that one day, he would be able to use wind grind to perfectly process immortal materials, that would be incredible. After dealing with the earthly limit astral chi pearl, Yu Mu Chun started to throw immortal essence stones into the tornadoes. One after another, immortal essence stones were tossed into the tornadoes. These stones were not as tough as the earthly limit astral chi pearl, they were grinded to dust in an instant by blades of wind, they gave off a dazzling light. Right now, heaven and earth was resonating, the surrounding mountains were shaking, the sky was filled with dark clouds, thunder was booming. What is going on? Ben Duoyi was scared and shocked, he looked around and realized that the mound of the mountain that he was on had lights floating around him. These lights were Dao marks. There were some red fire path Dao marks, some blue water path Dao marks, these 2 Dao marks were quite fragmented. There were also earth path and wood path Dao marks, they were slightly more intact. But mostly, there was a type of silver light Dao mark flickering. Rule path Dao marks. These Dao marks were very high in numbers, but they were not arranged in an orderly way. Some were entangled together, densely compacted, while others were scattered around randomly. Ben Duoyi realized that the place where Yu Mu Chun chose to refine GU had the highest number of rule path Dao marks. This mound seems ordinary, but it is very extraordinary, no wonder Master Yu chose to refine GU here. Strange, ordinary mounds would not have so many Dao marks. The more Ben Duoyi observed, the more questions popped up in his head. He felt pressure internally, because the shaking of the mountain was getting stronger, the clouds in the sky were getting darker. A thunderstorm was approaching, a calamity was striking. Even those tornadoes were weakening, they shrunk in size. Yu Mu Chun raised his head in the sky, laughing loudly as his voice was filled with confidence and grandness. At this moment, his immortal GU refinement had reached its most crucial step. "Come," he pointed one finger at the sky, and another finger at the ground. In the sky, lightning bolts flashed as they gathered together, forming a huge dragon-like lightning python. Lightning was yang, python was yin, the lightning python contained yin and yang, not only was the wild nature of the lightning curbed, it even showed some gentleness. This was slumbering lightning python, one of the 4 refinement path immortal killer moves. Meanwhile, on the ground, countless tornadoes were gathering, forming into a gigantic tornado wind pillar. The wind pillar was tall, almost connecting the sky and ground. The slumbering lightning python slowly moved, descending slowly and coiling around the wind pillar. The lightning was not dazzling, but the scene of the huge python coiling around the pillar had an indescribable beauty that shook the soul. At this moment, heaven and earth chi burst out. An intense sense of danger assaulted Ben Duoyi's heart. "Master Yu, what is going on? Why is this situation resembling the tribulation of a GU immortal?" Ben Duoyi shouted. "Ah, you guessed right. This is a small problem," Yu Mu Chun said casually. "A small problem." Ben Duoyi's eyes were wide open, his mouth was dry. Star form blessed land. Fang Yuan was covered in wounds, the pain made his face distorted, his 8 monstrous arms were inserted into the poisonous blood, his fangs were exposed and his eyes were red, he was breathing heavily like an ox. After spending a total of 3 days and 3 nights, he had finally processed all of the earthly limit astral chi, fusing them into the poisonous blood. The poisonous blood filled the entire pot earlier, but now less than half was left. "The most difficult step is over, land spirit, bring those captives here," Fang Yuan shouted. Star form land spirit quickly responded. At once, large numbers of living beings, like horses, bulls, dogs, or boars were all tossed into the poisonous blood. Screaming, growling, and crying could be heard, they blended together. The poisonous blood was extremely thick, like a swamp. After these living beings were tossed in, their intense struggle only made them sink faster. Their blood, flesh, and bones were all being dissolved. Soon, the poisonous blood in the turtle shell was slowly rising in depth. Not enough, not enough. Fang Yuan urged, his red eyes flashed with excitement and cruelty. Land spirits did not care for kindness or evil, they only had obsession and loyalty. Star form land spirits started to toss in large numbers of variant humans. These included hairy men, rock men, snowmen, inkmen, eggmen, feathermen, and mermen. The poisonous blood rose in level, but Fang Yuan was not satisfied. He calculated the time as he shouted again, "More, add more of them." At this point, the human captives that he had specially prepared were also tossed into the pot. "Ah, spare my life. So painful, the pain is killing me. I will not let you off even as a ghost." Fang Yuan was unmoved, he only focused on the GU refinement progress. An elderly GU master was coincidentally tossed to the side of him, he struggled to survive. Fang Yuan raised his leg and kicked this elderly man into a deep part of the poisonous blood. The old man struggled intensely for a few moments, but eventually, only his hand was left on the surface of the poisonous blood. His fingers were like hooks grabbing at the sky. It was like the protest of the weak against heaven and earth, against destiny, carrying intense curses and grudges towards Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan laughed loudly. During this period, the poisonous blood had regained its original volume. It was at the rim of the turtle shell. He began to throw in large numbers of immortal essence stones into the poisonous blood. 100, 200 pieces he threw them in without hesitation. Countless vengeful spirits were flying on top of the poisonous blood. The poisonous fog was rumbling as the level of poisonous blood declined again. 7 days later, the poisonous blood was almost completely dried up. There was only a small puddle left in the shell. It could not even reach Fang Yuan's ankle. Fang Yuan lowered his body and picked up a GU from this poisonous blood. Change form Immortal GU, completed. Central Continent, Truyong Mountain Range. Ben Duoyi sat on the ground, muttering, "The tribulation is finally over." The mountain range was partly destroyed, it was like a ravaged battlefield. Be it the tornado wind pillar or the slumbering lightning python, they had disappeared. Rain poured as Ben Duoyi was drenched completely. Yu Mu Chun collected the refined Immortal GU as he threw an information path GU worm to Ben Duoyi. "Lad, this is my refinement path inheritance, I am leaving it to you. You can learn about nature GU refinement techniques, but if you do not become a GU immortal, you cannot use this method to refine GU. Because this method attracts heavenly tribulations and earthly calamities." Saying so, Yu Mu Chun stepped on the air and flew into the sky. Ben Duoyi's body shuddered, he knelt down as his eyes shined with a brilliant light, he shouted, "Master, don't worry, I will not waste this inheritance." Chapter 862, After Refining GU. Central Continent, Hu Immortal Blessed Land. Starlight Immortal GU. Fang Yuan stood on top of a Fang Yuan stone nest. At his will, he activated Starlight Immortal GU. Immediately, a starlight pillar burst out, shooting into the stone nest. Under Fang Yuan's control, the starlight did not harm anyone, it was very mild. Inside this stone nest, there were many arrangements of GU formations. Once the starlight pillar shot in, it was dissolved into traces of blue starlight rays, drawn into the first room of every level. The hairy man in the first room activated his GU worm skillfully, absorbing the starlight trace and processing it. The partly done product was sent into the second room, for the second step. Going through a total of 7 rooms, Star Thought GU were refined one after another. These Star Thought GU moved along the tunnels, sliding towards the deepest storage area of the stone nest. Each time Fang Yuan activated Starlight Immortal GU, the amount produced was enough for these hairy men to work for 8 to 9 days without any rest. After using Starlight Immortal GU, there would be a huge quantity of starlight. Fang Yuan did not need to purchase Starlight GU like before and refine Star Thought GU using the Mortal Starlight GU as material. This saved a lot of trouble, and his costs reduced slightly as well. Even though using Starlight Immortal GU required Immortal Essence, if he purchased a vast number of Mortal Starlight GU, he would still need to pay quite a sum, the cost of acquiring them was high. The modified Star Thought GU recipe was safer as well. Refining GU was a risky thing to do, it was like battling, that was why a lot of hairy men got injured in the process or even died. After producing the starlight, Fang Yuan did not leave, he observed them for a while. A while later, he nodded slightly, feeling pleased internally. The current Star Thought GU recipe was already modified by him, the number of hairy man deaths had greatly reduced in comparison to before. Most importantly, the production of star thought GU did not fall in numbers. But the modification has reached its limits, unless my star path attainment level rises, or if I find a better star thought GU recipe. Fang Yuan knew clearly that he was not a star path cultivator. His star path attainment level might stay at this level forever. Or perhaps, when he explores a dream realm in the future, his star path attainment level might rise. But who could be certain of events in the future? It is a pity, 60% of rooms in this stone nest are empty. If I have enough hairy men, the production of star thought GU can double. Fang Yuan felt it was a pity. Just now, to refine change form immortal GU, he not only used up the success Dao mark from the infallible inheritance, he even used up almost all of his immortal materials and immortal essence stones. The result was that Fang Yuan was currently broke. Thus, the problem of a hairy man shortage could not be solved now. Even if he caught and captured wild hairy men, he would need to spend lots of effort and time to train them, until they were proper slaves that could be useful in refining GU. Fang Yuan did not know how to train wild hairy men into proper slaves. The fastest way was to buy hairy man slaves from other GU immortals. Regrettably, Fang Yuan did not have the spare cash for that. Even his immortal essence storage was very low now, he had around 10 beads, he needed to use them wisely. One could say that Fang Yuan was in an extremely weak condition now. Even though he had the killer move Myriad Self, 3 new Star Path Immortal GU, and multiple Star Path Immortal killer moves of Star Lord Wan Shang, without enough immortal essence, he could not use any of the killer moves. As the saying goes, there is no need for worry if one has ample resources. To GU immortals, resources referred to immortal essence stones and immortal essence mainly. Thus, the most important thing for Fang Yuan was to accumulate immortal essence now. After leaving this stone nest, Fang Yuan went to inspect the other 2 stone nests. During this period, these 2 stone nests were handled by He Lu Lan. She activated Strength Chi Immortal GU, providing the GU refinement materials for countless hairy men. Large numbers of airsac GU were created, they contained guts GU as they were sold to the different forces of Central Continent or in Treasure Yellow Heaven. In these 2 stone nests, each room had a hairy man. The risk of refining airsac GU was much higher than refining star thought GU. Why was the stone nest still at full capacity? That was because Fang Yuan reassigned the hairy men in the 3rd stone nest to fill up these 2 stone nests. Fang Yuan's current focus was on expanding the guts GU trade. During the Central Continent Refinement Path Convention, Fang Yuan dueled Feng Jinhuang and made an agreement in public. From now on, he was going to sell a large number of Guts GU to Spirit Affinity House. Thus, the demand for Guts GU increased, Fang Yuan had to increase its production. Inside a stone nest, Fang Yuan met up with He Lu Lan. He Lu Lan was browsing the information about Central Continent. Central Continent's 10 great sects are secretly trying to capture Song Zixing, have you heard about it? Once they met, He Lu Lan asked this to Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan smiled lightly, of course I did. This matter can be kept from mortals, but it cannot be hidden from GU immortals. Even though Central Continent's 10 great ancient sects are concealing their tracks, the other GU immortals in Central Continent would not want to keep this a secret. Right now, they are looking forward to seeing some drama in the 10 great ancient sects. Sigh, He Lu Lan sighed deeply. Such a prime opportunity, but we missed it. If we could kill Song Zixing during this period, we might be able to obtain star form blessed land. Fang Yuan was silent briefly, before saying, He Lu Lan, you're simplifying the matter too much. Central Continent is not Northern Plains, we are both Northern Plains GU immortals, if our aura leaks, others will find out. The consequences of exposing our identities are too severe, we cannot handle it. Song Zixing is also very crafty, he is skilled at escaping, while we have mediocre investigative methods. Even the 10 great ancient sects of Central Continent cannot find him in Truyong Mountain Range, how can we find him? You are right, He Lu Lan sighed, she replied gloomily. Ever since she was awakened by Fang Yuan, she realized her own shortcomings. These last days, she had been thinking daily about how to manage her blessed land, how could she earn resources and sustain her own cultivation, how could she become more independent. But reality was cruel, it was not easy to start a business. He Lu Lan was starting from scratch, she needed to spend a huge amount of time and face many setbacks to set up her revenue sources. Even if her plan worked, she would face fierce competition in the market, how much profit she would get would depend entirely on the situation. He Lu Lan thought about it for a while, She went to Fairy Li Shan for advice. She learned that to start a business from scratch, she would make great losses initially, the process would be filled with difficulty, and in the end, whether she earned much or not was uncertain, she might be slowing her own progress. There was no helping it, she had a 10 extreme immortal aperture, the flow of time in it was extremely fast, her heavenly tribulations and earthly calamities were also much stronger. He Lu Lan investigated and realized, what was best suitable were unique businesses like Guts Gu, a monopoly market that could be solely hers. Or she could be like Fang Yuan, taking several sources of revenue from Dongfang tribe. For example, the eerie fire dragon pythons, regretful spiders, dragonfish and others, these were originally taken good care of by Dongfang tribe, Fang Yuan was only taking over and changing where he sold them. After discovering this, He Lu Lan was even more attracted to star form blessed land. As long as she obtained it, He Lu Lan would have a stable foundation. Inheriting Star Lord Wan Zhang's businesses, she would be self-sufficient, it would be enough to aid her in her cultivation. Fang Yuan did not tell He Lu Lan that he was the owner of Starform Blessed Land. He liked to keep his cards hidden. The Snowy Mountain Alliance would expire eventually, it was uncertain if He Lu Lan would remain an ally or become a foe. Of course, if He Lu Lan noticed something and asked Fang Yuan, because of the alliance, he could not lie, even though he could remain silent, that would just act as simple confirmation for He Lu Lan. He would hide this for as long as he could. That was Fang Yuan's plan. After Yu Mu Chun refined the immortal Gu, he traveled deep into Truyong mountain range. Ever since he separated from Ben Duo Yi, he had used an immortal killer move to conceal his tracks. On this afternoon, he stopped in front of a small, ordinary-looking valley. He took out an information path Gu worm and tossed it in front of him. The Gu worm vanished. Like a rock entering water, there were ripples in the air, they expanded and an opening appeared, filled with blood-red light inside. Yu Mu Chun did not hesitate, he took a large step forward and entered the spatial crack. At the next moment, he was inside a strange area. The crack behind him closed tightly, Yu Mu Chun's vision was filled with blood-red light, there was a dark and eerie poisonous swamp, large numbers of skeletons were inside the mud. An intense bloody smell assaulted him, Yu Mu Chun frowned unconsciously as he said, using so many blood sacrifices, it seems your injuries were severe, Song Zixing. Cough cough, I had no choice, it was quite fortunate that I escaped with my life. Come in. At a deep part of the swamp, Song Zixing's voice could be heard. Looking at this situation, the hairy man Gu Immortal, Yu Mu Chun, was actually acquainted with a top-tier demonic path Gu Immortal of Central Continent, Song Zixing, they seemed to be quite familiar with each other, they had a close relationship. Yu Mu Chun moved in familiar fashion towards a deep part of the swamp. This was not the first time he was in this place, he was familiar with the terrain. Eventually, in the blood pool at the center of the swamp, he saw Song Zixing. Song Zixing only had a head and over half his chest left, the entirety of his body was submerged in the blood pool for healing, only after Yu Mu Chun came did his head emerge from the pool. Seeing Song Zixing, Yu Mu Chun's expression turned grave, with your injuries, it will be hard to take part in the upcoming crucial plan. Hee, I will just be giving up my life and cultivation, that's all. Song Zixing's expression was calm, he spoke in a carefree manner, he changed the subject afterwards, did you refine that rule path Immortal Gu? Using the success Tao mark from the infallible inheritance, combined with my nature Gu refinement techniques, success was certain. But it is a pity, if given more time, I would be able to learn some useful things from this success Tao mark. The success Tao marks in the infallible inheritance are different from ordinary success Tao marks, they are very closely related to refinement path. If I could research upon it, I would be able to create my own infallible inheritance. Yu Mu Chun shook his head as he sighed. Chapter 863, Elevating All-Out Effort Gu. Hearing Yu Mu Chun's sigh, Song Zixing sighed as well, the crucial thing is time. If I have time, I can heal and recover my battle strength as well. Unfortunately, time is too tight, it was estimated that we had 10 years left, to think that we need to start now. We have made many preparations these last years, but plans cannot keep up with changes, and Fate Immortal Gu was not completely destroyed, isn't it normal to have such accidents occurring? Yu Mu Chun asked. Even Fang Yuan, who had been reborn from 500 years in the future, did not know about the existence of fate. In contrast, Yu Mu Chun actually knew, and Song Zixing's expression also showed no surprise. Oh right, Yu Mu Chun thought about something and said, earlier, before coming here, I met with a talented hairy man junior and passed him my refinement path inheritance already. Inheritances were a cultural symbol of the GU master world. Like how during ancient times in China, there was a need to acknowledge one's roots and ancestors. Grand heroes would want to leave their name in history. After people died, huge amounts of jewelry and gold would be buried with them, even servants or wives were buried alongside. During Japan's Sengoku period, warriors would wear glorious armor into battle. They did not care about the dangers of attracting the enemy's attention. As for Rome and Egypt, since ancient times until the present, they also had such cultural developments. Even though they were all different, there was one common point among them, that was to prove that one existed. Proving to the world, proving to others, I had once existed and lived. Even if I died, in the world, this person had once lived. As such, biographies were not hard to understand. Some people wrote their biographies when they were alive, some allowed their descendants to write them after they died. There were some who did not have descendants, their enemies wrote it for them. Biographies written in such situations could often be more factual, they could contain much more detailed descriptions. As the saying goes, often, an enemy knows you better than your family. Biographies written by your enemies would not contain flattery, they could become classics. Inheritances were the same. Biographies detailed a person's life experiences. But inheritances contained the foundation of the strength that a person in order to live in this world. It was their understanding towards nature, their thoughts about the world, and their conclusion of the truth. Like in ancient China, every craftsman would not want to leave behind regrets before dying. They will try always to find a successor. They would not want the skills that had been passed down for generations to be lost. Skills, inheritances, these were acknowledgements of one's value, they were the records of one's success in life. After leaving behind an inheritance, even if one died, they can leave behind a mark in the world. Yu Mu-chun left behind his inheritance. There was an ominous sensation of him being prepared to die. Who would leave behind inheritances? Nobody who was living a great life and had good future prospects would leave behind an inheritance. Under normal circumstances, who would leave an inheritance behind? Teaching everything to a pupil would result in a starving master. It was hard to know the intentions of others. If one was careless, they would gain a competitor. Usually, only when one was at the end of their life, when they knew that death was coming, would they leave an inheritance. For example, Flower Wine Monk, Blood Sea Ancestor, and Dongfang Chong Fan. Yu Mu-chun left behind an inheritance. It was evident that in the crucial plan he was taking part in, he had no confidence in surviving it. What grand plan would make this unfathomable refinement path GU Immortal expert feel that he could not survive? What kind of motivation was driving him, making him willing to sacrifice himself? Even Song Zixing, he had just escaped and survived, top tier in Central Continent's demonic path. For this grand plan, he was willing to sacrifice himself. Furthermore, Yu Mu-chun actually told Song Zixing personally that he had chosen an inheritor for his inheritance. This was abnormal. If Song Zixing had any ill intentions and secretly went to find the inheritor, he could easily obtain Yu Mu-chun's inheritance and strengthen himself. As for Yu Mu-chun, if his foundation was exposed, he would be easily dealt with and suppressed by Song Zixing. Yu Mu-chun actually told Song Zixing about this precious information regarding his inheritance. It was obvious that he trusted him. Such a level of trust was truly unparalleled. Song Zixing betrayed myriad dragon doc. He had a vile reputation, but he could obtain Yu Mu-chun's trust to this degree. Was it because of his charisma, or were there other reasons? Yes, we should make some preparations. Hearing that Yu Mu-chun had left an inheritance, Song Zixing was emotionless. He did not have any intentions to seize it. I'll show you something too. Song Zixing smiled mysteriously. At the next moment, there was a commotion in the blood pool as a blood fetus floated up from under the blood. The blood fetus was the size of a foal. Within the fetus, one could see a human-shaped figure, curled up like a baby, sleeping. Yu Mu-chun saw this blood fetus and his pupils shrunk. He said with some disbelief, This you actually developed blood-demon body separation to this extent. Song Zixing smiled. He showed a proud expression. Even though I did not obtain a complete blood deity immortal GU recipe, I had collected some blood deity remnant recipes. I made this blood fetus according to the blood deity remnant recipes, with the blood path technique from Northern Plains along with my immortal killer move, blood demon body separation. This was formed. The fake body created by blood demon body separation expends immortal essence to maintain. It has a time limit. But the body that this blood fetus makes does not consume immortal essence. It can be sustained for at least 200 to 300 years. It can cultivate independently and has its own consciousness. It can get stronger by cultivating and become an immortal. In terms of appearance, it will look exactly like me. You are planning to? Yu Mu-chun showed a look of understanding. That's right, it is not a problem if I die, as long as the plan succeeds. But if the plan fails, there will need a countermeasure for it. Song Zixing needs to live. Even if I am sacrificed, the blood fetus will produce a second Song Zixing. Yu Mu-chun looked at the blood fetus as he showed an expression of interest. Can I conduct research on this blood fetus? I have just gotten a new inspiration. Of course, go ahead and research. But be careful, the blood fetus cannot leave this blood pool, not even for a moment. I understand, don't worry. Central continent, Hu Immortal blessed land. Looking at the whole earth Gu in front of him, Fang Yuan let out a breath of turbid air. This was the second whole earth Gu in Hu Immortal blessed land. The first one was connected to Immortal Crane sect, while this one was connected to Spirit Affinity House. Just earlier, he had done the first transaction with Spirit Affinity House. Large numbers of airsac Gu carrying guts Gu were sent over to Spirit Affinity House. Fang Yuan obtained 180 Immortal Essence Stones. It solved his immediate problem for now. Speaking of which, after Fang Yuan and Feng Jinhuang's duel, the truly valuable thing was not the zombie revival technique that Feng Jinhuang gave him, it was the cooperation with Spirit Affinity House. The reason why Feng Jinhuang took out this method as the wager was because although Fang Yuan was an immortal zombie, he could not make use of this technique. But she did not know that Fang Yuan still had his first mortal aperture. She did not manage to complete stump Fang Yuan. With these 180 Immortal Essence Stones, Fang Yuan did not hesitate in converting half of them over to green grape Immortal Essence. Like this, he was out of his weak state, he regained his battle strength. A day later, he transacted with Immortal Crane sect again, gained a favorable sum of Immortal Essence Stones. Immortal Crane sect attitude was much gentler than before. Evidently, they had understood. If they were too overbearing towards Fang Yuan, he might lean towards Spirit Affinity House instead. At the same time, Immortal Crane sect wanted to buy the Success Dao mark from Fang Yuan. They offered a huge price, asking him to refine a rank 6 Immortal Gu. They would provide the Immortal Gu recipe to Fang Yuan for free, and the immortal materials would all be provided by them. Even the 10 great ancient sects in Central Continent had an unceasing demand regarding Immortal Gu. Towards this request, Fang Yuan evaded it as much as possible. He did not say that he had already used it, he only said that he needed more time for consideration. Immortal Crane sect was asking something from Fang Yuan, thus their attitude was obviously nicer than usual. After making these two deals, Fang Yuan used the Immortal Essence Stones in his possession to buy some hairy man slaves from Treasure Yellow Heaven, replenishing the ones that had died from refining Gu. The price of hairy man slaves was not cheap. Fang Yuan's Immortal Essence Stones had just been replenished, but after this, they were all gone again. Thankfully, Fang Yuan had quite a bit of green grape Immortal Essence now, he was much safer than before. Even though he bought the hairy man slaves, Fang Yuan was only replenishing his earlier losses, he could not expand the scale of the stone nests. Because of the deal with Spirit Affinity House, the Guts Gu trade had increased in quantity. Using 2 stone nests, Fang Yuan could not accommodate the demand of the market. He planned to accumulate a portion of Immortal Essence Stones and build a 4th stone nest, as well as getting enough hairy man slaves to fill them up. The lack of funds was quite serious. Fang Yuan's 3rd stone nest was built using the funds that He Lu Lan provided. But with Star Form Blessed Land's assistance, and Star Lord Wan Zhang's many businesses of Gu insect transactions, Fang Yuan managed to save quite a sum of Immortal Essence Stones. This caused the time that Fang Yuan needed to accumulate funds to shrink. Fang Yuan accumulated Immortal Essence Stones as he used the Light of Wisdom to undergo deductions. A month later in Hu Immortal Blessed Land, Fang Yuan successfully fused Change Form Immortal Gu into vaguely familiar face. Using the attainment level of a Strength Path Grand Master, Fang Yuan successfully deduced the rank 5 recipe of all-out effort Gu. Unlike an ancient Gu recipe, Fang Yuan's deduction made use of Gu refinement materials that could be easily found in the world at present. All-out effort Gu was the vital Gu of Fang Yuan's immortal second aperture. All along it had been rank 4, its rank was much lower than Fang Yuan himself. With this Gu recipe, Fang Yuan had a new task, that was to refine all-out effort Gu. After failing once, all-out effort Gu reached rank 5. If I can raise all-out effort Gu into rank 6, then the boost to Myriad Self's power would be huge, it would only be inferior to that of Self-Strength Immortal Gu. Unfortunately, such a thing is beyond my capabilities. After this successful attempt, Fang Yuan tried to deduce the Gu recipe of small family Qi Gu. The result was utter failure. Fang Yuan's chi path attainment was only at ordinary level, he was not even a quasi-master, this was a very understandable result. Chapter 864, Sacred Feather City's Shocking Change. The sky was slightly green, the wind that would not stop in all 4 seasons was blowing gently. In this small world, a huge city was floating in the sky. This was a home for feathermen, it was known as the City in the Sky to others, but these feathermen called it Sacred Feather City. At this moment, rainbow flags were hanging in Sacred Feather City, cheers and shouts could be heard everywhere. Most of the feathermen in the city had gathered around the battle arena in the city, they were watching an important match. The Featherman King had passed away, according to their customs, it was time to select the new Featherman King through battles. Of course, to be a candidate in fighting for the position, one needed to be acknowledged by most of the feathermen in the city. The feathermen did not want a fierce or tyrannical ruler, they wanted a compassionate hero. Thus, the feathermen who were fighting for the position of king had great reputation, they were people who had done good deeds or made immense contributions to Sacred Feather City. In most cases, the evaluation of the citizens was accurate. In the history of Sacred Feather City, very few evil and cruel feathermen were chosen to be king. Even if they were cruel and ruthless, there were 3 feathermen supreme elders in Sacred Feather City, they were Immortals who could control the situation. In the huge battle arena, tens of thousands of spectators were watching. The cheering was extremely loud, at the center of the arena, 2 youngsters were battling it out. Yu Fei, give up. I am the prince of Sacred Feather City, I will inherit the throne and defend the honor of our Dan surname. A tall and burly featherman youngster with golden hair sent his opponent flying time after time. This was the final match. The victor would become the new king of the feathermen. From the current situation, one could see that the handsome featherman prince had the advantage. He was flying in the sky, with rank 5 cultivation level, he used his GU worms and attacked from a long range. His opponent was a young featherman with short black hair, he was thin and sprinted on the ground, he rolled around at times to evade the featherman prince's attacks. Dan Yu, Dan Yu. The spectators were shouting the featherman prince's name, their cheers were in unison as they became louder and louder. The situation was very obvious now. Prince Dan Yu had a huge advantage, while his opponent, the poor lad Yu Fei, was taking a beating without any way to fight back. Yu Fei's body was covered in dirt, he looked pathetic, like a rat jumping around on the arena. Meanwhile, Dan Yu was high and mighty, his attacks were very tactical and grand, it was more in line with the expectations of the people towards their king. You want me to admit defeat? That is impossible. I, Yu Fei, am the man destined to become king. Suddenly, Yu Fei shouted, he burst forth with strength. His legs launched from the ground as he flew up like an arrow, towards Dan Yu. What? You still had strength left? Dan Yu retreated anxiously. Yu Fei jumped into the air, seeing that he was about to get close to Dan Yu, he had no choice but to descend as Dan Yu quickly flew back in vigilance. Yu Fei, your wings were broken by me, you still want to resist. Dan Yu looked at Yu Fei who was falling down, he laughed coldly and mocked with some lingering fear. But Yu Fei raised his head, his eyes were shining brightly, it is not over yet, look at my killer move, inflated balloon. At the next instant, Yu Fei opened his mouth, sucking in a huge amount of air. Almost instantly, lots of air was sucked into his stomach, his body inflated and became a fat balloon. Yu Fei started to float up like a balloon. The audience was silent for a few breaths of time, before bursting into laughter. Yu Fei's balloon mode was simply too funny. Even Dan Yu was stunned before relaxing. This is truly your style, Yu Fei. But being a clown will not allow you to become the Featherman King. It is time to lose, killer move, blade wind strong slash. Dan Yu's eyes were sharp, his arms were raised up as he made a cutting motion with them in the sky, 2 translucent blades that resembled wind blades flew towards Yu Fei at an extremely fast speed. Yu Fei was still slowly ascending. Much of the audience shouted in surprise, they knew the power of blade wind strong slash after watching the battle for so long, if this hit landed, Yu Fei would definitely be heavily injured or dead, his stomach would be sliced apart. But at this moment, Yu Fei, who was in danger, had a brilliant light shining in his eyes, he had found a chance to overturn the situation. He suddenly opened his mouth, a strong current blew out of his mouth as he gained some thrust. Yu Fei's speed rose rapidly, he shot towards Dan Yu. Dan Yu was shocked. Yu Fei's body quickly shrunk, he narrowly dodged the 2 blades from blade wind strong slash agilely. Dan Yu wanted to retreat, but his speed was inferior. Where are you trying to go? If you are a man, fight me with your fists, we will engage in a physical fight. Yu Fei shouted, his body spun around in the air, eventually, his legs grabbed onto Dan Yu. Killer move, coiling tree vines. Yu Fei shouted internally, his legs turned soft, like old tree vines, he coiled around Dan Yu's waist. Dan Yu could not break free, he activated his defensive GU worm out of reflex. Killer move, crane crossing neck. Yu Fei's head suddenly turned into a crane's head, his long neck coiled around Dan Yu's neck like a long chain, he gripped tightly as his beak stabbed at Dan Yu. Ding! The bird beak hit Dan Yu's head, there was some sparks like he had hit strong steel. Although Dan Yu was not injured, this heavy blow was hard to endure, he was feeling dizzy. Killer move, 6-9 Great Windmill. Yu Fei saw a chance and his head turned back to normal, making use of this, he leaned back exaggeratedly and his head was buried in between Dan Yu's two legs, the two bodies spun around in the sky. The two bodies were tangled together, like a windmill, they rapidly approached the ground. The Featherman spectators shouted in shock. But the victim, Dan Yu, was hit with the killer move, he felt the world spinning as his mind was in chaos, he felt very dizzy and disoriented, he could not react. As they approached the ground, Yu Fei suddenly retreated. Only Dan Yu was left, crashing onto the ground. With a loud bang, he hit the ground head first, the brick floor broke and shards flew as his head was inserted into the ground, he lost consciousness. The entire arena was silent. They were all shocked by this unexpected result, nobody could say anything. There was only Yu Fei's panting that could be heard. After a while, the hosting Featherman elder gulped, he announced loudly, the winner is Yu Fei, he is the new king of our clan. Yes, I am finally the Featherman king, I succeeded. Yu Fei raised his arms in the air, shouting excitedly. The audience finally reacted, they cheered loudly and applauded, someone shouted, Yu Fei. Yu Fei. The shouting of Yu Fei's name became louder and louder, more and more people joined in. Soon, in the entire arena, no, in the entirety of Sacred Feather City, chants of, Yu Fei, could be heard. Ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha, the young Yu Fei placed his arms on his waist as he laughed with his head held high, he was very happy. But suddenly, he grimaced as he touched his wings with the back of his hand, so painful, so painful. At the other end, Dan Yu, who had fainted, was dug up from the ground by the healing GU masters, he was given medical swiftly. Deep within Sacred Feather City, 3 Featherman GU immortals were half asleep, they communicated with their drowsy divine senses. This generation's Featherman king is quite unique, he is quite different from the other kings. He is an interesting fellow. It seems that he has quite the ambition, he wants to expand the territory of his Featherman. But after he becomes the Featherman king, he should become more mature. The 3 GU immortals conversed casually. According to past situations, after the new Featherman king was chosen, he would bring much life and innovation to the peaceful Sacred Feather City. If there were no mishaps, Yu Fei would rule the Featherman in Sacred Feather City for hundreds of years. But at the next moment, before any of the Feathermen could react, a huge mishap occurred. Boom! An astonishing explosive sound shook the entirety of Sacred Feather City. The Feathermen in the city screamed, they quickly flew up. Painful, painful, painful. Yu Fei was caught off guard, he lost his balance and crashed onto the ground, rolling around in the process. Quickly look, this is. The Feathermen at the front saw something amiss, they pointed at the sky and stammered in fear, they could not speak. Immediately after, most of the Feathermen raised their heads, they were shocked to find out that above them, in the green sky, there was a huge crack. From the crack, several figures descended like demonic gods. The 3 Featherman GU immortals in Sacred Feather City had already reacted, they were startled to awareness as they flew towards the sky. They appeared to face the invading enemies while shouting to their Featherman citizens. Be careful, there is a strong enemy attacking. Quick, sound the alarms, defend our homeland. GU masters assemble, go to the formation cores and activate the defenses of Sacred Feather City. The entire city was in chaos, fear was spreading. Sacred Feather City had been peaceful for too long, they had no competition with the outside world, it was like life inside a utopia. This caused their defenses to be very lax, and with the crowning of a new king, the non-militarized Feathermen could not respond properly. All of you, why are you here without any invitations? Please leave, we Feathermen love peace and do not like conflict, but we are not powerless. The 3 Featherman GU immortals had solemn expressions as they warned the strong invading foes. The invaders did not speak, most of their attentions were focused on their leader. This leading GU immortal was an old and skinny man, he was barefooted in the sky. There was a white cloth on his head, there were also white bandages on his forearms and legs. The elderly GU Immortal's gaze was deep as he stared at the three Featherman GU Immortals. He next sent his gaze behind them, towards Sacred Feather City. Attack now, the elderly GU Immortal said plainly. Yes, Lord White Sea Shituo. The other GU Immortals responded together. Battle erupted. There were 3 Featherman GU Immortals, 1 rank 7, and 2 rank 6s, even though they were strong, they could not match up against their enemies. The intense battle lasted for 3 days and 2 nights, one of the Featherman GU Immortals died while 2 were injured, they could only use Sacred Feather City to defend themselves. Sacred Feather City was a huge Immortal GU house. Using the power of the Immortal GU house, they could resist the attacks of White Sea Shituo and the others. Chapter 865, Heavenly Wish. Rumble. The explosions had been ongoing for 3 days and 2 nights. White Sea Shituo's group did not stop attacking for even a moment. Countless mortal killer moves, mixed in with some immortal killer moves, slammed onto the Immortal GU house, Sacred Feather City. Sacred Feather City shook intensely, more than half of its troops had already died, despair was spreading. Our loss is imminent, we should try and break out of their siege. A Featherman GU Immortal, Zhou Zhang, suggested. Sacred Feather City has already been immobilized by their methods, without this Immortal GU house, how can we break out? The other Featherman GU Immortal, Zheng Ling, asked in return. There were 3 GU Immortals in Sacred Feather City, 1 had already died, only the rank 7 GU Immortal, Zheng Ling, and the rank 6 Zhou Zhang were left. Lord Zheng Ling, the situation is critical, I will be frank. Zhou Zhang's expression was solemn. Earlier, Sacred Feather City became encircled because you were not willing to give up this area, that was why the enemy had time to set up their arrangements. Now, if Lord still refuses to cut our losses short and be decisive, we might lose our lives here. I am not afraid of dying, but there are countless innocent citizens in the city, they will perish too. Even if these enemies spare them, they will train them to become slaves, and they will have to serve those humans for life. Zheng Ling heard these words and finally had a realization. He looked at Zhou Zhang, tears shined in his eyes as he said, "You are right, I was muddle-headed." Zhou Zhang urged him, "Lord, I can understand your decision. Right now, the world is ruled by humans, we variant humans have no place to live in. This world is a fragment world of green heaven among the immemorial 9 heavens, it is isolated from the outside world and is a paradise, we should not give up on it easily. But right now, we have no choice but to abandon it." Zheng Ling frowned. Right now, Sacred Feather City is being restricted, if we want to escape with our citizens, there is only one way. Zhou Zhang agreed immediately. That is right, we have to use the immortal killer move, Heavenly Wish. Thus, an hour later, the remaining Feathermen were summoned, gathering around the arena. I wish, my clan's Feathermen, survive. I wish, my clan's Feathermen, gain freedom. I wish, my clan's Feathermen, have a place to live in the world. Tens of thousands of Feathermen shouted, under the guidance of Zhou Zhang and Zheng Ling, the entirety of Sacred Feather City started to shine in a pure white light. The light was a few meters tall initially, but it soon grew and reached dozens of meters. Lord White Sea Shituo, the other party is making a move, aren't we doing anything to disrupt them? A female GU Immortal, Tang Yang Ran, asked. No need to worry, I had predicted this situation already. What I want is this Immortal GU house, they cannot take it away. White Sea Shituo explained as he ordered the rest of them. Don't stop attacking, just maintain the status quo, don't interrupt them, let them escape. Northern Plains, Tai-Bai Blessed Land. The sky was clear like crystal, the ground was desolate. Accompanied by Tai-Bai Yunsheng, Fang Yuan went on a tour of this high-grade blessed land. This was not the first time Fang Yuan had come to Tai-Bai Blessed Land, but this was the first time he came alongside Tai-Bai Yunsheng. Only after a GU Immortal placed their immortal apertures down, would they be able to enter it themselves and manipulate it personally. Ordinarily, the immortal aperture was hidden within the GU Immortal's body. But when they placed the immortal aperture outside in the main world, the GU Immortal would be inside the immortal aperture instead. GU Immortals and their immortal apertures were a single entity. When the immortal aperture is placed outside, the GU Immortal cannot leave the immortal aperture and move outside. Tai-Bai Blessed Land was a high-grade blessed land, it has a huge landmass of about 4,700 square kilometers. It had a lot of time path resources, 1 day in the outside world was 33 days inside. Of course, after Tai-Bai Blessed Land was placed to absorb the heaven and earth chi of the outside world, it was connected to Northern Plains. The time flow had slowed down to 12 days. Tai-Bai Blessed Land was well managed by Tai-Bai Yunsheng. Disregarding the float ball T in the sky, or the Jade Peak bird group, there were large numbers of sky chief clouds that had flowers growing on them in the sky. Sparrowhawks were flying around them. Tai Bai Yunsheng had already started building his third source of revenue. His first source of revenue was landscape as before. Repairing blessed lands for GU Immortals, and repairing the landscape of the 5 regions, this was Tai Bai Yunsheng's greatest source of income. Not only could it raise his wealth, he could also build relationships. It was essentially comparable with Fairy Li Shan's Mountain Pledge GU. Tai Bai Yunsheng's second source of revenue was the float ball tea. Each season, Tai Bai Blessed Land would produce a huge quantity of float ball tea grass. This tea grass could be sold to the market in Eastern Sea. With the help of Zombie Alliance's Shark Demon Immortal Zombie, Tai Bai Yunsheng had already entered their market. But this business had a competitive market, there was little profit. Each season's gains was less than what Tai Bai Yunsheng earned from helping other GU Immortals repair their immortal apertures. I plan to use Luck Path Mortal GU as my third income source. There are more than 100,000 sparrowhawks that migrated here, they have wild insects on them, and large numbers of Cloud Path Mortal GU would be produced from these insects. But all this will depend on my upcoming earthly calamity. If I pass it successfully, and my blessed land gains Cloud Path Dao marks, that would be best. Tai Bai Yunsheng described his goals and expectations to Fang Yuan. Precisely because of this, he did not move the resources in his blessed land outside. It was to draw out the corresponding earthly calamity, so that after the earthly calamity, Tai Bai Blessed Land could gain a number of Cloud Path Dao marks. Fortune and disaster coexist. Earlier, when Fang Yuan helped Hu Immortal Blessed Land undergo the tribulation, he moved out almost all of the precious resources. In the end, he faced a Blood Path earthly calamity, and Hu Immortal Blessed Land gained Blood Path Dao marks. If Fang Yuan did not move these resources away, there might have been a change, and other earthly calamities might have showed up. For example, Fire Path Dao marks that suited the eerie Fire Dragon Pythons, Wisdom Path Dao marks that suited the regretful spiders, or Water Path Dao marks that suited the dragonfish. The addition of these Dao marks was very helpful for resources related to them. But there was a flaw in this. When the earthly calamity strikes, these precious resources would suffer great losses. In other words, loss now was for the benefit of the future, they were trying to gain long-term profits. Of course, heavenly tribulations and earthly calamities did not always go as one wished. This was only a possibility. There was a chance that even if Fang Yuan kept these resources, the blood poison carry of flower earthly calamity would still come. In that case, his losses would be huge. After all, heaven's will was unfathomable. Right now, Tai Bai Yunsheng did not move the resources away, he was trying to lure out the Cloud Path earthly calamity. Whether he could succeed or not was unknown. Fang Yuan was unsure as well, but he consoled him. I had already used the killer move, Time Assist Luck, on you before the earthly calamity, who knows, you might get what you wished for. Speaking of which, the immortal killer move Time Assist Luck had been modified during this period by Fang Yuan using the Light of Wisdom. Right now, Fang Yuan was gradually understanding what great use Wisdom GU truly had. Even though he could only use the Light of Wisdom, just that alone could push his cultivation journey ahead greatly. Tai Bai Yunsheng felt something, his expression changed, the earthly calamity is here. The entirety of Tai Bai Blessed Land started to shake, large amounts of earth chi burst out from the ground, while small quantities of heaven chi drooped down from the sky. There was a burst of mystical light, as from within the profound light, the wishes and prayers of countless living beings could be heard. I wish, my clan's feathermen, survive. I wish, my clan's feathermen, gain freedom. I wish, my clan's feathermen, have a place to live in the world. The mystical light disappeared. At the western part of the blessed land, there were tens of thousands of feathermen. What earthly calamity is this? Immediately, even Fang Yuan was shocked, he had never seen such a peculiar earthly calamity. Tai Bai Yunsheng fell into deep contemplation. What place is this? A featherman GU Immortal, Zhou Zhang, looked around with an expression of vigilance. After using the immortal killer move Heavenly Wish, a strong force teleported all of the feathermen in Sacred Feather City away. An empty Sacred Feather City was left. White Sea Shituo had great foresight, he obtained this immortal GU house without wasting much effort. Seeing that Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunsheng were flying over, the featherman GU Immortal Zheng Ling's expression changed. Oh no. This is a certain human GU Immortal's blessed land. We were treated as an earthly calamity and were teleported here. Zhou Zhang showed an expression of shock. How can this be? Wouldn't our enemies still be GU Immortals? We are facing two rank 6 GU immortals, and one is an immortal zombie with bottom tier cultivation level. What are you afraid of? Zheng Ling laughed loudly. Kill them and we can obtain this small world. Just like what we wished, even though this place is inferior to the Green Heaven Fragment world, it is enough for our tribe to live. Strike. Zheng Ling said this as he flew out. When he was thousands of steps away from Tai Bai Yunsheng and Fang Yuan, he pushed with his hands. Whoosh. Wind blew, a solid wind wall was formed, it pushed towards Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunsheng with an imposing aura. This was an immortal killer move that Zheng Ling poured all his frustrations into. He was unable to do anything to White Sea Shituo, he vented all of his frustrations towards Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunsheng. Seeing the wind wall pressing at them, Fang Yuan pulled Tai Bai Yunsheng behind him and snorted with disdain, a pitiful trick. Myriad self-first style, giant hand. Rumble. The strength path giant hand pushed forth and destroyed the wind wall, then, with its remaining force, it slammed towards Zheng Ling. Zhou Zhang and Zheng Ling's expressions changed, they looked at Fang Yuan's giant hand like they were seeing a ghost. What? Merely a bottom-tier rank 6 immortal zombie, he actually has rank 7 battle strength. The two Featherman GU immortals knew that they were facing a tough foe. Zheng Ling's expression was very bitter. If this were to be normal times, he would not be afraid of Fang Yuan. But after an intense battle with White Sea Shituo and the others, his battle strength had decreased by a lot. The rank 6 Zhou Zhang was in an even worse condition. Hold on, we can talk this out. I was rash earlier and attacked, please forgive me for offending you. Zheng Ling shouted. We have our difficulties, we had no choice but to enter your blessed land. He asked them to hold on, but Fang Yuan responded at lightning speed. Not only this, he summoned 5 strength path giant hands and encircled them. Since you are here, don't think of leaving. Fang Yuan raised his head and laughed. Chapter 866. Scheming against the Featherman, you face helplessness. Featherman GU Immortal Zheng Ling had an ugly expression. Sir, do you think we are fish on the chopping block? Why must you force us like this? It must have been tough for you to develop this blessed land. If we destroy all of these resources in battle, would it not be a waste? Are you threatening us? Fang Yuan's red eyes shined with a ruthless light. Of course it is not a threat, but what we are saying is the truth, no. GU Immortal Zhou Zhang said. Fang Yuan laughed internally. If other GU Immortals were threatened like this, they might be wary and fearful. These two Featherman GU Immortals might get their way, but they met Tai Bai Yunsheng of all people. Tai Bai Yunsheng's Immortal GU, landscape as before, was the perfect solution against their threat. The two Featherman GU Immortals did not know about the existence of landscape as before Immortal GU, thus they said such words. According to Fang Yuan's intentions, they should kill these two Featherman GU Immortals. But this was Tai Bai Yunsheng's tribulation, Fang Yuan alone could not make the decision. And Tai Bai Yunsheng was a kind old man, his nature was quite gentle and merciful. Thus, Fang Yuan did not speak, he looked at Tai Bai Yunsheng. The two Featherman GU Immortals also looked at Tai Bai Yunsheng, waiting for the person in question to respond. The mortal Featherman gazed at the sky with looks of awe, towards the 4 figures in the sky. Earlier, these mortal Feathermen had heard the conversation between Fang Yuan and the Featherman GU Immortals clearly. Tai Bai Yunsheng's decision was going to influence the fate of these tens of thousands of Feathermen. Some Feathermen were already praying internally, some were gritting their teeth, some were grimacing in pain. Yu Fei, who had just become the Featherman King, clenched his fists, he stared at the sky fixedly. He was originally a commoner, he was not like Prince Dan Yu who knew a lot of secrets, this was the first time he had seen a GU Immortal, he felt shock and at the same time, a deep sense of helplessness. Tai Bai Yunsheng had been deep in consideration since the Featherman appeared. A Featherman calamity was something Tai Bai Yunsheng had not expected. These were intelligent living beings that could talk. If Tai Bai Yunsheng let these Feathermen go, this earthly calamity would be over. If he did not, they would fight inside his immortal aperture, he might be able to recruit these Feathermen, but there was a huge risk of losing resources if they fought, he could not weigh the pros and cons easily. But no matter what he chose, it was a huge decision. Just as Fang Yuan expected, Tai Bai Yunsheng was quite wishy-washy, even though this was a critical moment, he could not decide. Seeing Fang Yuan gaze over, he also turned his head, seeking Fang Yuan's opinion with his inquiring gaze. Of course we will battle. Fang Yuan immediately transmitted, replying firmly. You have immortal GU landscape as before, you do not need to fear your immortal aperture suffering damage. The only losses are your float ball tea, sky chief clouds and other resources. These things cannot be restored using landscape as before Immortal GU. But for this tribulation, you did not move these resources out, you were prepared to suffer losses anyway. Your main source of revenue is landscape as before Immortal GU. These resources earn little profit, even if you lose them, you can start over again. These feathermen number in tens of thousands, they can be turned into slaves. Feathermen are born with cloud path Dao marks, they are skilled at flying, all of the feathermen elites are flying masters. But these two feathermen GU immortals cannot be allowed to live. Even if they do not primarily cultivate cloud path, killing them would get you a good number of cloud path Dao marks, they can be added to your blessed land. Isn't that what you want? This was an extremely rare opportunity. The two feathermen GU immortals were injured, they had no ways to escape from this place. As long as Tai Bai Yunsheng did not open the doors, these feathermen were birds trapped in a cage. Once he killed the two feathermen GU immortals, their immortal apertures would fall into Tai Bai blessed land. This was an extremely rare situation. When a GU immortal dies and leaves behind their immortal aperture, the immortal aperture would become an isolated blessed land and absorb heaven and earth chi from the world. Just like earlier, after Fang Yuan took Star Lord Wan Zhang's corpse, he purposely went into a deep part of earth abyss to place it down. The result was, after placing it down, the blessed land took in a huge amount of earth chi, but very little heaven chi. Because of the drawing in of earth chi, it resulted in an intense tremor in earth abyss. If the feathermen GU immortals died, their immortal apertures would fall into Tai Bai blessed land, they would take in heaven and earth chi. But Tai Bai blessed land was different from the 5 regions, this place was completely under Tai Bai Yunsheng's control, the heaven and earth chi could not be extracted without his permission. If the immortal aperture could not turn into a separate blessed land, what would happen? There were records of this. In such situations, the immortal aperture would be destroyed, all of the resources inside the immortal aperture would be decimated with it. But all of the Dao marks inside the immortal aperture would be left behind, fusing into the outside world. And this outside world was Tai Bai blessed land. As has been mentioned before, Dao marks were extremely precious, because there was a huge cost to obtain them. Even if the entire blessed land was wrecked, if Tai Bai Yunsheng could obtain all of the Dao marks of the two feathermen GU immortals, this would definitely be a huge profit for him no matter what. Fang Yuan secretly transmitted, adding another sentence. Old Bai, is your kindness acting up again? You want to pass up on such a great opportunity? Tai Bai Yunsheng's expression became firmer, he made up his mind, he transmitted, don't worry. Feathermen are variant humans, they are not humans like us. Since that is the case, and we're on opposing sides, let's battle and kill them. As for these feathermen captives, I will treat them kindly. After making up his mind, he was about to strike, but Fang Yuan secretly told him to stop. Hold on, this is a great opportunity, how can we fight just like this? Let's probe them first. Tai Bai Yunsheng knew about Fang Yuan's craftiness, he replied, then I will have to trouble you. The conversation between these two only lasted for a moment in the real world. Fang Yuan looked at the feathermen GU immortals, he started his deception, it is not that we cannot let you go, but you have to leave behind these mortal feathermen, they will become our slaves. The two sides spoke openly without concealing anything. Fang Yuan's words immediately attracted an intense commotion from the tens of thousands of feathermen. What? He wants us to become their slaves. Losing freedom is like losing our wings. No, even if I die, I will not become a slave of humans. Don't worry, we have our GU immortal ancestors, they will not give up on us. That is impossible. The two feathermen GU immortals had a determined expression, they immediately denied it. Fang Yuan was not surprised. Groups of variant humans were more united than humans. Dong Fang Chong Fan schemed against his own tribesmen for his own sake, this would be much more unlikely with variant humans. Man is the spirit of all living beings, they have the highest intelligence, as well as complex thoughts. Variant humans however, have lower intelligence and purer minds, they were not as wicked and scheming as humans. Of course, this had much to do with the situation of the different races now. Right now, humans ruled the 5 regions, they were the strongest. It was hard for variant humans to survive, they were ostracized and suppressed by humans, there were few variant human groups that had precious resources. No matter which region it was, variant human slaves were sold in the market. Among the races, humans held absolute dominance, while variant humans were definitely the weaker side. As the weaker side, if they wanted to survive, they needed to stay united and help each other, that was the only way to withstand external pressure. Thus, the two GU immortals were unwilling to give up the mortal feathermen, They had a firm attitude, this was within Fang Yuan's expectations, he could tell that they were very determined. Fang Yuan quickly made a transmission. Tai Bai Yunsheng showed an expression of feeling angered and offended. He repeated the words Fang Yuan transmitted to him, HMPH. You feathermen barged into my blessed land for no reason, this is an invasion. Not only did you invade my blessed land, you attacked us and threatened us, now you want to leave. How can you not pay a price for this? Of course, you can fight your way out with these feathermen. If you are strong enough, I will treat this as my bad luck. But if that is not the case, I will make sure to take good care of you all. How could the two feathermen GU immortals have such strength left? If they did, why would they bother using words to converse with Fang Yuan? Even though they could still use the immortal killer move Heavenly Wish. But without the protection of the immortal GU house, Sacred Feather City, not only did Heavenly Wish need a huge amount of immortal essence, it also needed a lot of time to activate. Under such a situation, it was basically impossible to replicate their act of escaping earlier. Seeing that Fang Yuan was unwilling to relent, GU Immortal Zhou Zhang had no choice but to emphasize on the importance of the immortal aperture again. If they really fought, both sides would lose out. If we avoid direct combat and focus on dealing damage to your blessed land, at some point, the blessed land would face destruction and attract the winds of assimilation, that would be a bad ending for all of us. Zhou Zhang said with a threatening tone. They did not know about the existence of landscape as before. With landscape as before, wherever the blessed land got damaged, it could be fixed. It would never reach a point where the winds of assimilation are summoned. Under Fang Yuan's guidance, Tai Bai Yunsheng flew into a rage. You dare threaten me? Battle it shall be. What am I afraid of? You think I am a coward? I can take you down anytime. He showed the demeanor of a battle maniac that could not keep his cool. Fang Yuan showed a wary expression, but refused to relent. He wanted to negotiate more. His actions gave the two Featherman GU immortals hope that they could leave peacefully. After the two sides negotiated for a long time, Zheng Ling was the first to relent. He suggested that Fang Yuan's side could be compensated with a huge sum of immortal essence stones. Among the two of them, Zhou Zhang was acting as the aggressive party, while Zheng Ling was acting as the peaceful party. They cooperated with much coordination. Fang Yuan looked at Tai Bai Yunsheng. As Tai Bai Yunsheng got the hint and rolled his eyes. How could this amount of immortal essence stones compare to tens of thousands of feathermen? Fight, fight, they could win at any time. Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunsheng had coordination that was not inferior to the other two. On the ground, the feathermen were in a chaotic state. They were angered and yet helpless and anguished. This was a cruel world, this was the misery of the weak. Yu Fei shouted at the sky, enough. Even if we die, we will not become lowly slaves. The feeling of being treated as livestock while they were used as bargaining chips in a negotiation was horrible. Shut up, don't go and antagonize existences like GU immortals. You are the new Featherman King, you have to think of the clan first. By taunting the GU immortals like this, are you trying to drive our clan into the abyss? Dan Yu scolded. Damn it, damn it. Yu Fei gritted his teeth, his fists were clenched as his veins surfaced. He listened to Dan Yu's words and fell into silence. To Yu Fei, the change in circumstances happened too quickly, and too suddenly. He who aspired to become the Featherman King had achieved his goal. But this high and mighty position that he had dreamed of, was so tiny and weak at this moment. GU immortals were really too powerful compared to mortals. No matter how hot-blooded he was, no matter how he risked his life, that gap in battle strength could not be breached. Chapter 867, Squashing a Rank 7 GU Immortal. Zheng Ling suggested compensating with immortal essence stones, though Tai Bai Yunsheng rejected him. Fang Yuan pretended to think about it. We want Featherman slaves, but you are only offering immortal essence stones. This conflict cannot be resolved. How about this, let's take a step back and decide with our strength. Tai Bai Yunsheng's attitude was firm, he showed the attitude of a battle maniac. During the conversation, he had been taunting them by saying, I can take you down at any time, several times. If Shark Demon and the others who were familiar with Tai Bai Yunsheng were here, they would think that this Tai Bai Yunsheng was an imposter. Zhou Zhang and Zheng Ling exchanged glances. It was hard to talk to the battle maniac Tai Bai Yunsheng, but it seemed like the immortal zombie, Fang Yuan, was in charge of the decision-making. This was not strange to the Featherman GU immortals. After all, Fang Yuan showed rank 7 battle strength earlier. The two communicated secretly. They both felt that Fang Yuan was much easier to talk to than Tai Bai Yunsheng. He was more reasonable. The other party is an immortal zombie. His immortal aperture cannot produce immortal essence, that's why he has a careful nature. We have to make use of this trait. But this blessed land belongs to that damned old man. This old man has quite a fiery temper at this age, it seems his battle strength cannot be underestimated, be vigilant. Forget it, the situation is in their favor now, let's listen to what the immortal zombie has to suggest. The two Featherman GU immortals analyzed this situation, it seemed to them that it was a reasonable understanding of it. But what they did not know was that they had fallen into the trap that Fang Yuan had specially made for them. Please speak. After discussing, Zhou Zhang said to Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan spoke. In the world of GU immortals, benefits are the most important thing, it is decided by battle strength. We will hold 10 duels, for every duel we win, you will split 10% of the Featherman to us, but for each that we lose, we will accept only a sum of immortal essence stones as compensation. Zhou Zhang was unwilling, he shouted, be it winning or losing, you are benefiting from it. Fang Yuan smiled lightly and did not reply. Tai Bai Yunsheng started howling, why are you complaining? If you don't want this, let's fight. My fists are itching to hit something, I can take you down at any time. If you dare to destroy my immortal aperture, I will slaughter these mortal Feathermen first, in the worst case, we go down together, who is afraid of who? He showed the perfect example of a brainless battle maniac. Zhou Zhang and Zheng Ling ignored him completely, showing an expression of not wanting to stoop to his level of intelligence. The two started to discuss their decisions using transmissions. Fang Yuan pressured them at the right timing, if you do not agree to this, we will have to battle. These words made the hearts of these two Featherman immortals jump. They understood clearly that in the current situation, sacrifice was unavoidable, the most logical decision was to minimize their losses. Eventually, Zheng Ling nodded, agreeing to the duels. But he had a precondition, they had to use the information path immortal killer move that they had to form an agreement, similar to Mountain Pledge GU, as the restriction on both parties. Regardless of the result, after 10 duels, Fang Yuan's side was not to cause problems for the Feathermen, they had to open the door and let everyone else leave, without any form of obstruction. The Feathermen actually had such an information path killer move, their foundation was quite deep, Fang Yuan was fairly surprised. To start things off, the GU immortal Zhou Zhang entered the stage for the first duel. On Fang Yuan's side, Tai Bai Yunsheng went to battle, he was oozing with battle intent as he showed a bloodthirsty expression, he shouted, come, I will take you down in just a moment. Zhou Zhang really was fooled by his demeanor, after all, he was only a variant human, their intelligence was inferior to humans. Most importantly, Zhou Zhang had his reservations, he did not want to sacrifice his clansmen. He did not want any Feathermen to lose their freedom and become the slaves of humans. Thus, he chose his specialty for the duel. What, you want to compete in flying speed alone? Tai Bai Yunsheng was shocked. According to the agreement, we are the first to decide what type of duel it is, are you going back on your words? HMPH, I will let you decide this time. Tai Bai Yunsheng showed an upset and irritated expression. The result of this duel was obvious. Tai Bai Yunsheng only had a mortal killer move for flying. The other party not only had wings, they even had an immortal killer move specially used for movement. After seeing the results, the Feathermen on the ground erupted into loud cheers. After all, their freedom was at stake, they could have become slaves, they were very nervous when they watched the duel. Here are your immortal essence stones. Zhou Zhang laughed loudly, he handed the dozen immortal essence stones to Tai Bai Yunsheng in a proud manner. Tai Bai Yunsheng received them with a gloomy expression, but he was filled with admiration towards Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan is truly good at scheming. The other party paid immortal essence stones but they are acting like this was a huge victory for them. I am inferior to him. In the first duel, Fang Yuan lost. Fang Yuan went for the second duel, because he had rank 7 battle strength, the Featherman GU immortals did not dare to be careless, they sent the stronger GU immortal Zheng Ling to duel him. Fang Yuan suggested, we will compete using speed. Zheng Ling's expression froze for a second before he agreed. Fang Yuan lost this duel very quickly as well. Zheng Ling also had an immortal killer move, his speed was twice as fast as that of Zhou Zhang. Meanwhile, Fang Yuan had 3 pairs of true solid bat wings, they were all desolate beast wings. But in this duel, he did not manage to activate the Iron Crown Eagle Strength Immortal GU at all, thus he had no hopes of winning. Third duel, fourth duel, fifth duel. Duels after duels, Fang Yuan's side had no victories, while the Featherman GU Immortals were winning with 0 losses, the results were one-sided. Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunsheng's expression became uglier in the process. The two Featherman GU Immortals had confident and lax expressions. They were starting to realize that their enemies were all bark and no bite, they were just putting up a front. For example, the immortal zombie Fang Yuan was only rank 7 in terms of attack. He only had mortal killer moves for defense, along with his immortal zombie body's defense. In terms of healing, he only had the basic recovery ability of an immortal zombie. As for movement and investigative methods, he did not have immortal killer moves. Meanwhile, Tai Bai Yunsheng was very rash and haughty, but in terms of battle strength, he was a mess. He only used mortal killer moves. The two Featherman GU immortals felt like they had been scammed. It turns out that these two are so weak, if we had known this, we would have fought from the start. Sigh, humans are the most skilled at scheming. We have already used the information path immortal killer move and restricted ourselves, we can only leave this place and cannot attack. Thinking about it, we were too stunned by the earlier human GU immortal invaders. Due to the foundation of our sacred feather city, we are superior to most human GU immortals. The two of them are quite impressive, but they are not our match at all. Like this, the two Featherman GU immortals won 9 rounds, only the last duel was left. No matter what happened in this duel, after it ended, Fang Yuan's side would not be able to obstruct the Featherman due to the agreement, he had to let them leave. On the ground, cheers of victory were already resounding. The new Featherman King, Yu Fei, had a better expression now. His eyes were shining brightly as he looked at the two GU immortals of the Featherman clan. He had another grand ambition now. I've decided, as long as I become a GU immortal, I would become a true man. I must become a GU immortal, even if I need to give up being king, I will become a GU immortal. Fang Yuan took a step forward as his voice turned very cold. This is the final duel, all 4 of us will fight in a battle of attack and defense. I will attack and you will defend for the first round, and you will attack while I defend for the following round. Our partner can only use healing methods. When one side is unable to continue, they will lose. Zhou Zhang and Zheng Ling exchanged glances, they frowned as they realized something amiss. Fang Yuan was making the dueling rules to complete display their advantage. Meanwhile, Zheng Ling and Zhou Zhang could not object to this duel request, they could only accept it. In this case, the 10th duel is the hardest one of all. This is the final round. After we win, we will be able to protect all of the Feathermen and leave safely. The two GU immortal conversed mentally as they went forth to battle. Sir, please attack. Zheng Ling took a step forward, saying. Fang Yuan did not speak, he was 1,000 steps away from Zheng Ling, he grabbed towards the other party. Rumble, a strength path giant hand tore through space and grabbed at Zheng Ling fiercely. Zheng Ling suppressed his instinct to dodge, he activated his defensive killer move as a suit of armor made of light appeared on his body. The armor looked very real, it blocked the strength path giant hand. Fang Yuan's expression did not change, he had already seen this armor made of light in the 4th duel, it was a light path defensive immortal killer move. Blocked, Zhou Zhang shouted happily, it is time for us to strike. Fang Yuan scoffed, Sir, are you forming a conclusion so quickly? My attack is not an instantaneous type, but a sustained attack, I have not ended my attack yet. It is okay, Sir can continue attacking. Zheng Ling said in a low voice. In the duels earlier, Fang Yuan had attacked as well, Zheng Ling felt that he could block Myriad Self-Giant Hand completely. But at the next moment, Fang Yuan showed a ruthless smile as Zheng Ling's expression changed. Earlier, Fang Yuan had been hiding his strength, only using one core immortal GU. Now, he used all of his core immortal GU at once. The strength path giant hand was breaking the light path defensive method, as creaking sounds could be heard. Oh no, at this rate, Lord Zheng Ling will become meat paste. Zhou Zhang was shocked. Zheng Ling, consider it well, my giant hand is only an attack, it cannot restrict your movement. But if you break out of it now, you will be breaking our agreement. In that case, you will be violating our earlier agreement, and the duels will be voided. Fang Yuan scoffed. Damn it, I'll go all out, Zheng Ling shouted angrily, he activated another defensive killer move, it was an immortal killer move. 2 immortal killer moves stacked together, blocking the strength path giant hand. At this point, both parties fell into a deadlock again. Indeed, he is just a rank 6 immortal zombie, how can he fight a drawn-out battle with Lord Zheng Ling? Zhou Zhang calmed down. But a moment later, Fang Yuan was still full of vigor, while Zheng Ling was starting to get anxious, he was unable to hold on. Oh no, the other party must be using our immortal essence stones and converting it into immortal essence. In contrast, we have lost a lot of our foundation after an intense battle, so we are the first to run out of immortal essence. Realizing the reason, Zhou Zhang felt an immense anger and melancholy, it was hard to describe with words. At the same time, he started to fluster. What shall we do now? If I want to help him, I can only use healing methods, otherwise, we would be violating the duel agreement and the earlier duels would be voided. He was there physically, but he felt like he was miles away. Zhou Zhang was helpless. The trap that Fang Yuan had created painstakingly was taking effect. At times, your former achievements would be the greatest obstacle for you to achieve greater success. If they won this round, they would obtain complete victory. They would save all of the Feathermen and bring them to safety. They were one duel away, just one duel. If they violated the rules, all of it would be nullified. This mentality made Zheng Ling choose to continue holding on, and Zhou Zhang was full of sweat and worried, but he could not interfere. It is over. Fang Yuan laughed loudly. 7 other Strength Path Giant hands flew out. The Strength Path Giant hands slammed at the Featherman on the ground with overwhelming force. What are you doing? Zhou Zhang howled. He was like a furious dragon whose scales were plucked. Don't fall into his trap. He is trying to lure you into attacking so that you will break the rules. The other part is at his wit's end. We need to continue enduring. Zheng Ling shouted. Zhou Zhang was stunned. His gaze towards Fang Yuan changed. Aren't immortal zombies slow in cognition? Why is this guy so scheming? While he was stunned, Fang Yuan approached Zheng Ling and spat at him. Immortal killer move, poison spit. This was a modified immortal killer move that originated from harboring malicious heart, using woman's heart immortal GU as the core. Since Fang Yuan had obtained it, he had been keeping it secret. This was the first time he was using it. Zheng Ling was caught off guard. He was poisoned by this immediately. He had a method to heal himself, of course, but at this moment, his mind was distracted and he reacted a moment more slowly. By the time he was going to detoxify himself, the poison was already very deep. The moment of life and death was often decided in an instant. Unscrupulous, Zheng Ling stared at Fang Yuan fixedly. This was his last word. With a loud thud, he lost control and was squashed into meat paste by the Strength Path Giant hands. Lord Zheng Ling, Zhou Zhang screamed in fury. Everything happened too quickly. By the time Zhou Zhang reacted, it was too late. He did not have an immortal GU-like man as before. Fang Yuan attacked Zhou Zhang with his other Strength Path Giant hands. You cannot defend, attack or dodge. Don't forget, according to this duel's rules, you can only use healing methods. Fang Yuan shouted. Zhou Zhang heard this and his eyes almost popped out. He was going to spit out blood from anger. How would he fight like that? He would have to retaliate, dodge, or defend himself, but all those violated the rules. It would nullify all of their past wins. On his side, the one in charge of attacking and defending, Zheng Ling, was dead. He could only use healing methods now. But once the Strength Path Giant hands grabbed him, he would be killed on the spot. No healing techniques were going to save him. Even if Fang Yuan could not kill him and he could heal himself, he could not retaliate. That was against the rules. Fang Yuan was assured to win. This was truly bullying the Featherman. At this moment, looking at Zhou Zhang's dazed expression, even Tai Bai Yunsheng showed a look of pity and sympathy. Chapter 868, GU Immortal Slave. At the moment between life and death, the remaining GU Immortal, Zhou Zhang, had a burst of inspiration. He realized the most direct way to change the current situation. I admit defeat, he shouted. Fang Yuan's attacks came to a stop. Zhou Zhang was breathing roughly. In just a moment, he was drenched in sweat. The tens of thousands of Feathermen on the ground reacted after a while. They shouted in shock. In just moments, the rank 7 GU Immortal of the Feathermen died, and Zhou Zhang had no choice but to admit defeat. Fang Yuan's meticulous plotting showed its ruthless effect. The Feathermen paid a heavy price. They lost terribly. This was a completely different situation from earlier. The difference was like of heaven and earth. It was no wonder that the Feathermen were shocked. Zhou Zhang's expression was pale. He felt some trepidation internally as he spoke. I lost. According to the agreement, the 10 duels are over. We are going to leave this place. His gaze towards Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunsheng was filled with deep hatred and anger. The other party killed the Featherman GU Immortal Zheng Ling, but now, Zhou Zhang had insufficient strength. He could not exact revenge. How could he take revenge? If Zheng Ling was still alive, if he collaborated with Zhou Zhang, they would definitely suppress Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunsheng. This was the truth. Zheng Ling and Zhou Zhang had very deep foundations, out of Fang Yuan's expectations. They might not have many immortal GU, but they had deduced many immortal killer moves. These immortal killer moves encompassed attack, defense, movement, healing, and investigation. They did not have any apparent shortfalls. In contrast, Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunsheng used mostly mortal killer moves. If they really fought, it would be hard for them to gain any advantage as they would be inferior in these aspects. Of course, this was Tai Bai blessed land, Fang Yuan's side had the territorial advantage. But do not forget, blessed lands could not restrict immortal GU and immortal killer moves. Thus, Zhou Zhang could only suppress his anger as well as the desire to take revenge. He decided to not settle the score with Fang Yuan for now. The urgent matter now was to escape and find a new place to live with his clansmen. Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunsheng could not stop him from making that request. The reason was simple, they had used the information path immortal killer move earlier. Once Fang Yuan's side did something that violates the agreement, they would face a harsh backlash, they would die on the spot. Fang Yuan was not like Fairy Li Shan, he did not have a time path killer move like delay with him. Thus, he could not break the agreement. In fact, Zhou Zhang was very conscious of this, he was hoping that Fang Yuan would violate the agreement. If that happens, the enemies would be wiped out, and this blessed land would become the Featherman's property. Regarding the condition for ownership from Tai Bai land spirit, that would be something to think about later. Of course, Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunsheng could not attack, they also could not summon outsiders like Fairy Li Shan and He Lu Lan to interfere. Even though the Feathermen did not have the intelligence of humans, such an obvious loophole would still be handled. If Fang Yuan summoned reinforcements, he would be violating the agreement, he would die. Indeed, the 10 duels have ended, according to our earlier agreement, we have to open the doors and let the remaining Feathermen leave. Fang Yuan nodded, saying to Zhou Zhang, "Don't worry, we won't go back on our words." Good. Zhou Zhang let out a breath of cloudy air, he felt much regret towards Fang Yuan's act of keeping his word. But, Fang Yuan's words shifted. But what? Zhou Zhang looked at him nervously. Fang Yuan laughed lightly. We won the 10th duel, according to the rules, I can choose slaves from among the Feathermen on the ground, and the rest will be allowed to leave. Zhou Zhang sighed, he looked at the clansmen on the ground, feeling very complicated, his fingers were stabbing into his flesh. Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunsheng descended as they started picking slaves from among these Feathermen. The Feathermen were flustered, they were afraid of getting chosen. Don't move, let me choose properly. Fang Yuan purposely shouted. The Feathermen were even more fearful now, they were like chicks in front of an eagle. This girl is not bad. Fang Yuan pretended to think about it, he beckoned with his finger as a young girl was restrained by a formless force, pulled towards him from the Featherman group. No, I don't want to. The Featherman girl's eyes oozed with tears of helplessness. Let go of my fiancé. A young Featherman charged up before any of the Feathermen could stop him. Fang Yuan's eyes shined with a ruthless light, he snorted, courting death. He did not make any evident movements, but the Featherman youngster, who was merely a rank 2 GU master, froze in the air as he was flying, his face distorted as his body went into spasms. At the next moment, he fell onto the ground. Even though he was caught by the surrounding Feathermen, blood was running rampant in his entire body, his 7 orifices were bursting with blood, he was going to die. What did you do? Zhou Zhang was furious, he landed on the ground and pressed on the Featherman youngster's chest, healing him personally. The Featherman youngster was hit by Fang Yuan's blood path methods, his blood ran wild and spurred outside. But with Zhou Zhang's suppression, the attack was resolved and the Featherman youngster's life was saved. Zhou Zhang raised his head and looked at Fang Yuan, his expression was dark. Sir, you attacked Immortal, that is insulting to the status of a GU Immortal. And I remember that in the agreement, you are not to freely attack or kill our Feathermen. Fang Yuan shrugged. GU Immortals have their status, but even more than that, their authority is not to be offended. I did not violate the agreement, he was the one who had intentions to attack me. It is stated in the agreement clearly that if the mortal Feathermen attempt to attack me, I have the rights to kill them. Isn't that right? Zhou Zhang could not reply to this. In terms of playing around rules, Fang Yuan was much stronger than him. Fang Yuan laughed heartily. Don't worry, I will not violate the agreement. Zhou Zhang gritted his teeth, his eyes were spewing fire. Then I will choose you as my next slave, Zhou Zhang. Suddenly, Fang Yuan pointed at Zhou Zhang, he showed a smile, like his scheme had succeeded. What did you say? At this moment, Zhou Zhang almost thought that he was hearing things. He wanted a GU Immortal to become his slave. How could this be possible? Zhou Zhang looked at Fang Yuan in disbelief, did the other party go crazy? Fang Yuan said with a smile, Zhou Zhang, did you forget? Our agreement was, as long as my side wins, I can choose a portion of these Feathermen on the ground and make them into my slaves. Fang Yuan placed an emphasis on the words, on the ground. Zhou Zhang felt like a thunderbolt had struck him. He was stunned on the spot, not moving at all. The surrounding feathermen were no longer flustered and jumping around, they were frozen like statues, staring at their Gu Immortal, staring at his feet. Zhou Zhang was stepping on the ground. At this moment, Zhou Zhang's expression was very interesting, it turned from pale as paper to dark and solemn. His wings fluttered subconsciously, he wanted to raise his legs as if the floor was lava, it was burning his legs. He. Fang Yuan laughed in a monstrous manner, a crafty light was shining in his red eyes. The moment you stepped on the ground, you became my slave. Zhou Zhang, even if you fly now, it is too late. Zhou Zhang shouted at Fang Yuan, this is a trap. This is an evil plot. Fang Yuan laughed heartily, he showed a look of smugness and shamelessness, that is right, this is a trap, this is an evil plot. Unfortunately, you fell for it. Beside him, Tai Bai Yunsheng sighed, you can only blame yourselves for neglecting your own bodies. Indeed, the authority of Gu Immortals cannot be offended, it is rare for slaves to be Gu Immortals. When we set the agreement, you were both flying in the air, away from the ground, thus you did not notice this trap. Of course, if you realized it and did not step on the ground, there was also nothing we could do. But you had a guilty conscience, you wanted to sacrifice a portion of the feathermen and let them become slaves so as to obtain freedom for you and the rest of the feathermen. Cough, cough, Fang Yuan coughed. Old Bai, even if he did not land on the ground, I still have my ways. We can pick our slaves slowly, we can take a year or two and directly cripple the feathermen. They need food and water to survive, but Tai Bai blessed land is yours, due to the agreement, they cannot inflict any damage on the blessed land, as long as we do not pick our slaves, they will be prisoners inside the blessed land. This time, even Tai Bai Yunsheng looked at Fang Yuan with shock. Zhou Zhang opened his mouth wide, at this moment, he felt that he was simply too foolish and naive. Chapter 869, Freedom of the Feathermen. The whole area was covered in deathly silence. Sorrow, fear and loss shrouded the hearts of all the feathermen. Zhou Zhang was the only Gu Immortal remaining among the feathermen. If even he was no longer there, and became a slave of humans, how would these remaining feathermen survive? The current 5 regions, or rather, the whole world, could be said to belong to humans. The space for variant humans to survive was very small, and this already small space continued to shrink. Zhou Zhang's mouth, wide open from shock, slowly closed. He looked up at Fang Yuan, as if he was looking at a monster, and asked, is your immortal zombie appearance fake? How can an immortal zombie scheme all this? Fang Yuan was slightly dazed, not having expected Zhou Zhang to suddenly calm down. He immediately had a bad feeling. Tai Bai Yunsheng, who was beside him, spoke with compassion, give up, Zhou Zhang. Even if you become a slave, I can promise that you will never be treated unfairly, I will also not limit your freedom during normal times. I will only ask for your service during critical times. Let these feathermen behind you live in my blessed land from now on. Rest assured, I will not be harsh on them or maltreat them. I will also pay corresponding rewards for their work. Sigh. Tai Bai Yunsheng heaved a sigh, his benevolent nature had emerged again. However, Zhou Zhang shook his head slightly 3 times. The smile on the corners of Fang Yuan's lips disappeared as his expression turned grave. Afterwards, he saw that the Gu Immortal Zhou Zhang suddenly turned around towards the large group of feathermen and gave a deep bow. Everyone. Zhou Zhang's tone was extremely calm, but it revealed a decisive intent. His voice was not loud, but it resounded in everyone's ears. I have done all of you a disservice, this world only has the Gu Immortal Zhou Zhang, the featherman Zhou Zhang, but there will absolutely not be a slave Zhou Zhang. It was truly a shame that I could not protect you all. Goodbye. He then suddenly spread his wings. The wings of feathermen were not wide like eagle wings or thick like vulture wings, but were slender and exquisite. Zhou Zhang, what is the point of this? Stop quickly. Tai Bai Yunsheng was shocked, and wanted to stop him. But how could he stop a Gu Immortal who was seeking death of his own accord? Zhou Zhang suddenly flapped his wings and flew towards the sky. While flying towards the sky, he shouted, I, Zhou Zhang, am a featherman, I will not become a slave. At this moment, everyone's gazes were gathered on him. He violated the agreement, he stepped on the ground and was successfully trapped by Fang Yuan, becoming a slave. However, Zhou Zhang was not willing and went against the agreement on his own initiative. The information path immortal killer move on him erupted, the intense backlash that he could not endure assaulted Zhou Zhang's entire body. The more Zhou Zhang flew, the slower he became, his 2 wings were also becoming difficult to move. Right now, his appearance of flying in the sky was like that of an old man who was approaching death and stumbling on his legs but still kept on climbing towards a precipitous peak. His whole body started crystallizing rapidly, and soon he turned into a transparent glass crystal statue. His two wings turned into crystal glass-like objects, moving no longer. However, his eyes were still gazing at the blue sky, not even sparing a glance at Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunsheng, the gaze carrying endless bravery and decisiveness. He then started to slowly fall down to the ground. His whole body started to crumble apart while falling. First his head, then his chest, his wings, stomach, then his legs. Before landing on the ground, he had already turned into a sheet of broken glass and crystal fragments. There was no wind in Tai Bai blessed land. These crystal glass fragments, however, seemed to flutter. The more they fluttered, the more they crumbled. They continued to break apart until they disintegrated in the air. Zhou Zhang, Tai Bai Yunsheng mumbled in a daze. Indeed, this guy, Fang Yuan's expression was dark. He did not make Tai Bai Yunsheng revive Zhou Zhang. One who was not afraid of even death and was not willing to be a slave, simply had no value. Moreover, Zhou Zhang was a Gu immortal. The immortal essence needed to revive him would not be low. Even if he was revived, his immortal Gu were already gone, and Tai Bai Yunsheng also would not be able to absorb his immortal aperture. On the contrary, it was better to let him die. His immortal aperture would be unable to absorb heaven and earth chi, the blessed land would break apart. After breaking up, all the Tao marks of Zhou Zhang in the immortal aperture would be added to Tai Bai blessed land. Zhou Zhang's death caused all the feathermen to fall into silence. The silence only lasted for a while, before the new featherman king, Yu Fei, shouted loudly, "I, Yu Fei, also am not willing to be a slave. Everybody, have you still not realized it? These two human Gu immortals are demons, they had already planned to catch us all. They absolutely won't let us go. All of you, choose a new featherman king. I will follow old ancestor Zhou Zhang and take my leave first." Quote. After saying that, he suicided on the spot. Our king. The feathermen roused, shouting in such fury that their voices shook the surrounding areas. Right, there are no slave feathermen in this world, there are only free feathermen. Even if I die, I am free. As long as our hearts beat for freedom, there will not be any slave feathermen. Take our corpses as your slaves. The feathermen shouted, howled, muttered or ridiculed. Zhou Zhang and Yu Fei's actions inspired the feathermen. Unexpectedly, they all chose to suicide. Damn it, are you still not stopping them? A bunch of mortals, HMPH. Tai Bai Yunsheng, quickly use man as before, we cannot forego this wealth. We will make them unable to die even if they want to. Fang Yuan snorted. However, Tai Bai Yunsheng showed no signs of movement. Tai Bai Yunsheng, what are you doing? Fang Yuan turned around, and was immediately shocked. Tai Bai Yunsheng's face was filled with struggle and hesitation. He said to Fang Yuan with difficulty, Fang Yuan, there are two voices shouting in my head right now. One voice tells me to be logical and raise these feathermen as slaves. The other voice, however, is shouting loudly for me to give up. These feathermen are true feathermen, they cannot be disgraced. Even feeling sympathy for them is a humiliation towards them. As he said this, Tai Bai Yunsheng's eyes were unexpectedly glistening with tears. Damn it, an eerie light imperceptibly flashed past Fang Yuan's eyes without anyone noticing. If these feathermen were raised as slaves, it would be a great help to Fang Yuan's plans in Western Desert as well. But at this crucial moment, Tai Bai Yunsheng's heart actually softened. Fang Yuan could not help but shout furiously in his mind, this fool, I can't scheme with him. As he said this internally, he suddenly grabbed Tai Bai Yunsheng's shoulder with his monstrous arm. The words that came from his mouth, however, were very different. Let it be, old Bai, you are correct. These feathermen are the true feathermen from less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than, you don't need to hesitate, you can let them die for freedom. Fang Yuan, Tai Bai Yunsheng's expression immediately relaxed as he looked gratefully at the immortal zombie before him, and said with some shame, it was not easy for you to think of this plan, but in the end, because of me. Fang Yuan interrupted him, don't mention it. Everyone has their own principles. Although I don't approve of it, I can understand it. I will support you. Fang Yuan, Tai Bai Yunsheng's voice was choked with emotions, and he almost teared up. Fang Yuan spoke in a profound voice. Do you know why those two feathermen Gu immortals fell to my scheme? Hehe, do you remember that I obtained the wisdom path inheritance from Dongfang Chongfan? You mean? Tai Bai Yunsheng stared blankly. Fang Yuan sighed. Wisdom path methods are indeed incredibly hard to defend against effectively. Fortunately, there have always been very few wisdom path GU immortals. I now have a complete wisdom path inheritance, we must not fail to take measures against such methods. Old Bai, although you pass the earthly calamity, don't be in a hurry to go to Eastern Sea. I will use some wisdom path methods on you to deal with other wisdom path GU immortals. Tai Bai Yunsheng was extremely moved, bowing at Fang Yuan, then I shall trouble you. Haha, we are family, there is no need for thanks. Fang Yuan dismissed it indifferently, his gaze once again landing on the ground. In just a few moments, all the feathermen on the ground had suicided, there was not even one who wanted to remain alive. Fang Yuan momentarily showed a slightly moved expression. The feathermen seeking death of their own accord made him recall a person in the depths of his memories. In fact, this person was also a featherman. When Fang Yuan was still a mortal GU master in his previous life, this featherman, who was an assassin, tried to kill Fang Yuan multiple times. One who understands you even more than friends is often your enemy. Fang Yuan remembered that one time during a difficult battle, he had discovered the secret of this strong assassin who repeatedly tried to kill him. This assassin was not a human, but a featherman. You are a featherman, your wings have been cut off. That is so sad. Fang Yuan used a verbal attack. He, I myself cut off this pair of wings. The featherman assassin laughed sinisterly. Do you want to know why? Fang Yuan's expression slightly changed. Why? Because the featherman village's chief always praised me, saying I am a featherman genius that came by once in 100 years, the pillar of the featherman village, a flying quasi-grand master and whatnot. It was truly annoying. The chief always warned me that I am a featherman and I am part of the village. I wanted to leave the village to see the world, not only did the chief dissuade me, even all the feathermen in the village stopped me. I know they were afraid I would reveal the location of the village and attract human slave hunters. So, one day, I could not withstand it any longer and cut off my wings. Then on that very day, I killed all the feathermen in the village. As he said this featherman assassin's expression was one of pride, he smiled lightly. What? Fang Yuan was shocked. The featherman assassin shrugged indifferently. You have read less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than, right? Feathermen believe in freedom. My heart for freedom only happened to be dozens of times more vigorous than ordinary feathermen. My featherman identity bound me, so I cut off my wings. The village I grew up in and the villagers constrained me, so I killed them. Because in this world, no one can restrict my freedom. Fang Yuan's expression immediately turned heavy and he was on full alert. Back then, he had yet to tread on the demonic path. Immediately he shouted, you lunatic. Ha ha ha, the featherman assassin laughed loudly, thanks for the compliment. He added, actually, you and I are of the same kind. Who the hell is the same kind as you? Fang Yuan's young face showed a furious expression, as he shouted and pounced forward to fight. Chapter 870 Freedom GU. Greater than states, Ren Zhu walked on his own road of life. After separating with the hairy man leader, he encountered feathermen in Green Heaven. Ren Zhu was extremely happy when he saw these feathermen. Because feathermen had wings on their back, and since the feathermen could understand Ren Zhu's words, both sides could communicate. Ren Zhu requested the feathermen, Feathermen, please help me. My daughter is in ordinary abyss and cannot come out. Please fly down and rescue my daughter, let us father and daughter reunite. The featherman laughed loudly. Human, how can you order us? Us feathermen are the most free living beings in the world, no one can order us or bind us. You want us to listen to your request and follow your wish, that is impossible. Ren Zhu kept on persuading, and even pleaded with them, but the featherman simply kept on flying in the air, enjoying the pleasure of freedom. Ren Zhu's mouth had already dried, but the featherman only treated him as a clown, ridiculing Ren Zhu as if they were looking at a joke. Oh look, such a pitiful human. So what if he is the life form with the most intelligence in the world? He doesn't have wings and can only walk on the ground, he is so pitiful. Fortunately, I am not a human, but a featherman. See how vigorously I can fly. In Ren Zhu's heart of loneliness, Self-Gu started getting angrier as it heard these words, finally it could not hold the anger back and jumped out. All of you, come down. Self-Gu displayed its might, capturing all the feathermen in the sky at once. Ren Zhu could not help but become greatly startled at this. Self-Gu, when did you become so strong? Self-Gu said proudly, it is only natural. I took a bite out of strength Gu, now that I have my own strength, I possess immense might. Moreover, there is no need to pay any price to use this strength. Human, you need to know, what is most reliable is your own strength. And without strength, freedom is just an illusion. The feathermen were captured and could no longer fly to the sky, pressed onto the ground without being able to move. They began to throw curses at Renzu and Self-Gu in anger. Renzu heaved a sigh. Featherman, I did not mean to offend you. Please forgive my rudeness. I only want to ask you to save my daughter. When I reunite with her, I will definitely reward you. Impossible. We feathermen are the most free. Even if our bodies lose freedom, our hearts are still free. Right, right, cruel human, you can't impose your will on any featherman. The featherman kept on shouting without any intention to compromise. Renzu persuaded them for 3 days and 3 nights, but it was in vain. Helpless, he could only let go of these feathermen. Self-Gu spoke bitterly. Human, how could you release them so easily? Don't you want to rescue your 4th child? Renzu, however, replied confidently, I have already understood that these feathermen cannot be forced. After these days of contact with the feathermen, I have found these feathermen might be free, but they don't have dens to shelter themselves from wind and rain, and they also don't have enough food to fill their stomachs. To make them help, I have to make them do it willingly. Thereupon, Renzu built a house near the feathermen. Every day, he relied on Self-Gu to gather a lot of wild fruits and hunt many beasts. The feathermen soon discovered the safety and warmth of the house. Especially during the days of storms, the feathermen could only hide in groves of trees, shivering and starving. While Renzu stayed within his house, enjoying the warmth of a fireplace and sumptuous food. On one cold night, some feathermen quietly moved under the roof of Renzu's house, to evade the wind and snow, while also greedily absorbing the warmth leaking out from the crack in the door. Renzu wore the mask of attitude Gu and opened the door, using an extremely warm attitude to invite these feathermen into the house, and to enjoy the warmth and food with him. As this repeated several times, more and more feathermen came into Renzu's house. Renzu was very hospitable and would entertain the feathermen every day, even giving the area near the fireplace to the feathermen. No matter how much the feathermen ate, he let them eat without restraint. The feathermen gradually became accustomed to living this way, until one day, Renzu saw the timing was ripe and took off attitude Gu, revealing his true, cold expression. He shut the door of the house and stored all the food as well, no longer supplying them to the feathermen for free. The feathermen were caught off guard and were frantic. They were already used to the safety and warmth of the house, they were used to plentiful food, they rarely flew now and hunted even less. Their stockpile of food was extremely small. Many feathermen were fat to the extent they could not fly. The feathermen had no way to deal with Renzu's behavior. They could not beat Renzu, who possessed Self-Gu. Soon, all the feathermen reached a situation where they would die from hunger or the cold. Several days later, many feathermen died. Renzu waited and waited until he became extremely anxious, as the feathermen showed no signs of coming to terms with him. In the end, when most of the feathermen died, Renzu could not help but mention the old matter again. Featherman, as long as you move your wings to fly to ordinary abyss and rescue my daughter, I will give you enough food and also warm houses. However, the remaining feathermen still shook their heads. Eventually, they all died. From these feathermen's corpses, many small creatures flew out. They looked like tiny specks of light, shining with all kinds of colors. Renzu tried to grab them, but was not able to. It is no use. Cognition Gu informed him at this moment, wild freedom Gu cannot be caught. These feathermen chased after freedom since their birth, but it is a pity that only after their death could they find freedom. Central Continent, Hu Immortal Blessed Land, Dang Hun Palace. Fang Yuan slowly withdrew his monstrous arm. The featherman Gu Immortal Zhongling's soul, however, was extremely listless as it weakly floated in the air. Gu Immortal Zhou Zhang had violated the agreement, thus his soul was already extinguished. As for Zhongling, who had died first, because he had only been attacked by Fang Yuan with Poison Path and Strength Path killer moves, only his body had perished and his soul had been preserved. Fang Yuan had secretly stored his soul into his immortal aperture on the spot. Since ancient times, Soul Path, Wisdom Path and Enslavement Path were closely related. Since Fang Yuan had obtained Dong Fang Chong Fan's Wisdom Path inheritance, he also gained some comprehension of the other paths, as such his attainment in Soul Path and Enslavement Path had also increased by a bit. Most of all, Fang Yuan had used the Light of Wisdom to repeatedly improve the Immortal Killer move Myriad Self, not only adding a few core Immortal Gu one after another, but also adding many Soul Path Mortal Gu. This coordination made it so that when the giant hand killed the enemy, the injured soul would be captured by Fang Yuan. If others did not pay attention, they would think Fang Yuan had destroyed the soul as well. But in fact, Fang Yuan secretly captured the soul. Even Tai Bai Yunsheng did not sense this as he did not have an immortal-level investigative killer move. Fang Yuan also did not inform him. The value of a GU Immortal's soul was far higher than a GU Immortal's will or mortal souls. Fang Yuan had just ended his first soul search. From this soul search, he learned the origin of this group of feathermen. They are a featherman clan in Western Desert, living for generations in a fragment world of green heaven. No wonder they have such ancient customs, even suiciding rather than lowering their heads to become slaves. A life of peace with plentiful resources, a united clan without any powerful external enemies, this instead corroded the minds of these feathermen. White Sea Shituo, who was this person? He was able to gather so many people to siege Sacred Feather City. Moreover, he was using such superior means that are beyond imagination. They could actually restrict an immortal GU house, causing the feathermen to flee in desperation. Fang Yuan rummaged through his mind, but could not find any information about White Sea Shituo. In the end, Fang Yuan could only sigh. Western Desert is also a place hiding dragons and tigers. In conclusion, the benefits from this tribulation in Tai Bai Blessed Land were huge. Tai Bai Yunsheng received all the Dao marks of the two Featherman GU Immortals, a rank 6 and a rank 7, he was the biggest winner. Fang Yuan's harvests were also not small. The origin of this group of feathermen was a big deal, and there was also Sacred Feather City. The origins could be traced back to the late antiquity era, the era of spectral soul demon Venerable. As the leader of Sacred Feather City, the rank 7 GU Immortal, Zheng Ling, held plenty of secrets, immortal killer moves, immortal GU recipes and so on. It was likely he even had a complete GU Immortal inheritance. The Green Heaven fragment world was isolated from the outside world for this long. Sacred Feather City could be said to be a paradise for feathermen. This was a huge settlement of feathermen among those remaining in the world. Because they had very few interactions with the outside world, and the Green Heaven fragment world had plenty of resources, these feathermen GU Immortals' methods were quaint, having distinctive characteristics of the late antiquity era. Fang Yuan even had an expectation. If his luck was good, maybe he could get a strength path inheritance from Zheng Ling's soul. The only pity was those mortal feathermen. Fang Yuan had been planning to raise those feathermen as slaves to help him penetrate the market in Western Desert, or even establish a caravan. Feathermen were high-quality slaves in Western Desert. Super forces and large forces, all of them had feathermen-based caravans. It was impossible for Fang Yuan to only do business with Shao Clan. In the early stage, he indeed had to rely on Shao Clan as a springboard to stably enter Western Desert's market. But Fang Yuan would suffer losses if he only engaged with Shao Clan on the long term. But these mortal feathermen were dead already. From their temperament, they were too well pampered and it would be an arduous process to tame them. Instead, it was much more convenient to directly purchase feathermen slaves. Fang Yuan was not someone who dwelled on the past, and soon threw this matter to the back of his mind. He already possessed change form Immortal GU and had fused it into the Immortal Killer move, vaguely familiar face. Fang Yuan originally intended to change into another appearance to go to Northern Plains Zombie Alliance and continue his previous foiled plan. But after contacting Fairy Li Shan, Fang Yuan analyzed and deduced that the situation was not good. Ever since Feng Zhuzhe had investigated the identity of Sha Huang, Northern Plains Zombie Alliance was much more strict in examining any unknown immortal zombie that wanted to join the alliance. It was no longer as easy as before for Fang Yuan to infiltrate into Northern Plains Zombie Alliance. And Feng Zhuzhe, Old Lord Kenyang, and the rest of the group had gone into hiding, which made Fang Yuan feel that a storm was brewing. Fang Yuan hesitated. Was he still going to follow the plan to make his way into Northern Plains Zombie Alliance under this situation? Chapter 871, Rock Dragon Eye. Northern Plains, Snowy Mountain Blessed Land. The sky was covered in clouds, the white snow was like dust. All of the peaks were standing in the snow. As the forests were covered in layers of snow, they were like a vast number of clouds. A rainbow shot out from the first peak, it flew into the air like a meteor. The peak owners of Snowy Mountain turned their gazes towards it. Old Ancestor has sent an order again. I wonder who will receive the order to collect immortal materials this time. Hopefully it isn't me. The rainbow drew a beautiful arc in the sky, it flew directly into the third peak. The other peak owners sighed in relief secretly. Inside the third peak, Fairy Li Shan was dressed in a bright leather dress. It was silver at the bottom, with the images of the grassland in the night sky with the moon on it. This was clothing in the style of Northern Plains. Fairy Li Shan wore her precious pearl headband as she shut her eyes, her mind was looking inside her immortal aperture. In her immortal aperture, there were birds chirping and flowers growing. It was warm like spring, completely the opposite of the icy nature of snowy mountain-blessed land. In the lush forests, mountains and greenery were like paintings. There were large numbers of precious materials, a small number of desolate plants, as well as ancient desolate plants. At the center of the immortal aperture, along a line of waist-deep grass, there was a small mountain. This tiny mountain was more inconspicuous than a small mound at first glance. But it was minuscule mountain, one of the few secluded domains in this world recorded in greater than. In this minuscule mountain, large numbers of Minimen were flying in and out. They were flying in the lush grass. Due to their tiny bodies, these blades of grass were like tall trees. The Minimen were working laboriously in the grass like bee groups. Fairy Li Shan was paying close attention to them. After watching them for a while, she was satisfied. When she had obtained minuscule mountain, the Minimen were unwilling to cooperate with her initially. They were wary of her. But Fairy Li Shan was not an incompetent person. She used the carrot and the stick tactic. She helped a Miniman puppet to become their leader, and killed all of the resistance without mercy. The Minimen were not as stubborn as the Feathermen, but there were also loyal members. After Fairy Li Shan killed 40% of the Minimen, she finally subdued the Miniman tribe in Minuscule Mountain. Thereafter, Fairy Li Shan moved Minuscule Mountain into her immortal aperture. With the help of the Minimen, the wood path resources in her immortal aperture were produced at a rapid speed. Hairy men were born with refinement path Dao marks. They had GU refinement talent. Feathermen were born with cloud path Dao marks and had wings. They could fly freely in the sky. Minimen were born with wood path Dao marks. The places where they lived in would have vegetation growing rapidly. They even had inheritances passed down from many generations before. They were the race that was most skilled at growing plants and flowers. Minimen are quite extraordinary. My jade yin grass is a rank 7 immortal material. It had been wilting all along, but after these Minimen lived here for half a year, this field expanded into a miniature grass field. All the jade yin grass have a lot of vitality. Unfortunately, the number of Minimen is very small now. The earlier battle caused half of them to die. If I had the previous number of Minimen, my pressure would be halved now. Two-letter GU at the same time. Fairy Li Shan willed and sensed 2 information path GU worms. One came from the outside world, flying through space, while the other came out of her blessed land using the moving perspective cup GU. Fairy Li Shan opened her eyes. She first grabbed one of the letters, holding the rainbow from the sky in her hands. She glanced at it as she directed her consciousness into the GU. As she had expected, it was old ancestor Shui Hu's orders for her to collect immortal materials. Concealing heaven dust, rock dragon eye, elephant tusk flame this time, he wants me to gather 3 immortal materials. Fairy Li Shan frowned deeply. Among these 3 immortal materials, rock dragon eye and elephant tusk flame were rank 7 immortal materials, while concealing heaven dust was a rank 8 immortal material that was very precious. Elephant tusk flame was a tiny lump of flame that burned in the elephant's tusk after an ancient desolate beast elephant died. This lump of fire was about the size of a pea. Once it finished burning the tusk, it would be extinguished upon contact with the outside air. An ancient desolate beast elephant was in existence equal to rank 7 GU immortals. After the elephant died, its tusk would not generate the flame every time. With so many conditions to fulfill, one could see how precious the elephant tusk flame was. Even in the market of the 5 regions, treasure yellow heaven, it was a rare immortal material. And compared to the elephant tusk flame, rock dragon eye and concealing heaven dust were much harder to get. Concealing heaven dust was only found in yellow heaven of the immemorial 9 heavens. But because yellow heaven was already destroyed by Renzo's children, Fairy Li Shan had to first find a yellow heaven fragment world. And this fragment world had to be big enough with enough Dao marks to allow her to enter and explore it. After entering the yellow heaven fragment world, Fairy Li Shan would have to prepare special methods to collect the concealing heaven dust. During the process of collecting it, she would face a lot of trouble. Fairy Li Shan would rather pay a huge price to buy the concealing heaven dust in treasure yellow heaven. As for the rock dragon eye, it referred to the eyes of the ancient desolate beast rock dragon. This rock dragon was not an ordinary fierce beast. In the graveyards of rockman tribes, there would be a lot of buried rockman corpses. As they accumulated over time, one day, they would attract lightning to strike them. As the thunderbolt strikes the graveyard, a rock dragon would be born. Similarly to the rockmen, the rock dragon's body was made of rocks. During the immemorial antiquity era and the remote antiquity era, variant humans were in control of most of the world. Only super forces of rockman tribes or large-sized rockman tribes with a long history would have rock dragons in them. Even though there was Renzu, his 10 children, and even primordial origin Immortal Venerable and star constellation Immortal Venerable, there were very few humans in the world. The rock dragon was the guardian beast of the Rockmen tribe. The Rockmen all believe that the rock dragon is the revival of their ancestors. During the wars of the variant humans, the rock dragon had once been in the spotlight. They were among the best beasts of war in the world. Rock dragons did not have any sense of pain, they had sturdy defenses and were extremely bold. Even if they were hurt, if there were any rockmen willing to sacrifice themselves and go to the rock dragon's area of injury, they would be able to convert themselves into a part of the rock dragon, allowing its wounds to heal instantly. This was an absurd battle tactic. The other races had a huge headache dealing with it. But times were different now. It was extremely hard for Fairy Li Shan to find a rock dragon. Because rockman tribes were very rare now, most rockmen were the slaves of GU immortals. Even if Fairy Li Shan found a rock dragon, with her battle strength, she would not be able to defeat a rock dragon, a top-tier war beast of the remote antiquity era that had extremely high defenses. Thus, even though the rock dragon eye was a rank 7 immortal material, it was harder to obtain than the rank 8 immortal material, concealing heaven dust. Old ancestor Shui who was giving us peak owners tougher and tougher missions. Out of these 3 immortal materials, only the elephant tusk flame is slightly simple. Not only is strength a concern in obtaining concealing heaven dust and rock dragon eye, it is extremely dependent on luck. Sigh, if I have good luck, I would be able to just buy it from Treasure Yellow Heaven. Fairy Li Shan sighed deeply. Her earlier investment in the Miniman and minuscule mountain had already started to see effect. She was going to reap the benefits now. With He Lu Lan's determination to become independent, she had rejected any additional funding. Thus, during this period, Fairy Li Shan was accumulating wealth rapidly. This accumulation was twice as fast as before. It took too much time and effort to obtain the concealing heaven dust and rock dragon eye. Fairy Li Shan would rather expend her wealth instead of expending time and energy. After receiving the letter from old ancestor Shui Hu, Fairy Li Shan checked the second letter GU. There were only a few people who could make the letter appear directly in her immortal aperture. Fairy Li Shan checked it and saw that the sender of the letter GU was Fang Yuan. In this letter, Fang Yuan promised much benefits, as he asked Fairy Li Shan to assist him in killing an immortal zombie from Northern Plains Zombie Alliance. Fang Yuan, Fairy Li Shan muttered. She left her bed and walked around. She lowered her head and was in deep thought as she slowly paced. When she got to the window and saw the snowflakes outside, she sneered while staring at the silent peaks. This Fang Yuan, earlier he disguised himself as Sha Huang, joining Zombie Alliance. Now, he wants me to help him kill an immortal zombie. He definitely has some motive. Promising me great benefits, he is really affluent. After all, he obtained a lot of resources from Dongfang tribe, as well as getting Dongfang Chongfan's wisdom path inheritance. During this period, he must have been developing smoothly and rapidly. Right now, the situation in Northern Plains is full of turbulence. The investigation team of Central Continent GU Immortals is still hiding somewhere. In this situation, Fang Yuan still wants to strike. It seems that the benefit of Zombie Alliance is extremely important to him. Does he want to claim another immortal zombie's contribution points, and obtain the research results of Zombie Alliance in the ways to revive and get rid of the zombie status? Thinking of this, Fairy Li Shan squinted her eyes. Central Continent, Heavenly Court. White Jade Palace was very bright. 4 GU Immortals, standing at the north, south, east, and west, were surrounding the rank 9 Immortal GU House, Heaven Overseeing Tower, in the middle. The old Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord stood at the east. He held his walking stick as a brilliant light flashed in his aged eyes. Recovery of fate begins now. The walking stick in his hand was raised in the air, as if it hit a steel rock. It gave off a clear sound. Immediately, light burst out. Countless GU worms flew about and formed a gigantic GU formation. Traces and traces of lights and rainbows merged together, forming a huge formation array that filled the surroundings. The female GU Immortal, Bai Kang Shui, who was here for the first time, shouted in shock. This refinement path GU formation is a step away from becoming a rank 8 Immortal GU house. Immortal GU houses were in themselves related to a GU cultivation path, the utmost materialization of formation path. This refinement path GU formation is quite extraordinary. Fairy Kang Shui, please look down. At the west area, the person with the appearance of a young man in white clothing, Lian Jusheng spoke as he smiled. Next, he grabbed at the air and threw a huge amount of rock dragon eyes in front of him. The rock dragon eyes entered the refinement path GU formation. In just a few breaths of time, they were completely broken up and fused into the wondrous refinement path GU formation. So many rock dragon eyes. And such a speed of processing immortal materials, Bai Kang Shui was lost for words. Hu Immortal Blessed Land, Dang Hun Palace. HMPH. Fang Yuan crushed the information path GU worm in his hand. He was rejected. Still wanting to restrict my development, these narrow-minded and petty women. Fang Yuan's expression was gloomy. Oh. At this time, an information path GU worm appeared in his immortal aperture. Did Fairy Li Shan change her mind? Fang Yuan stared slightly before checking it. He was very surprised afterwards. This is Lang Ya Land Spirit's request for reinforcements. Chapter 872. Joining Lang Ya's defensive battle. After Fang Yuan obtained change form Immortal GU and merged it into Immortal Killer Move vaguely familiar face, he could now take a much greater variety of appearances. Thus, he wanted to blend into Northern Plains Zombie Alliance again, but the situation was far from good. Because his Shahuang identity was exposed, Northern Plains Zombie Alliance was now extremely vigilant, and it was not possible for him to smoothly join Zombie Alliance by repeating his previous method. Therefore, Fang Yuan got the idea of using other Zombie Alliance members. As long as he secretly killed one of them and changed into the appearance of this unfortunate fellow, he could infiltrate Northern Plains Zombie Alliance. Fang Yuan had become an immortal in Northern Plains. His body was filled with Northern Plains aura. Zombie Alliance's large door could stop Feng Juzhe, but it could not obstruct him. However, this secret assassination would be filled with difficulties and danger. First of all, the entire process of killing a Zombie Alliance member had to be carried out in secret, without letting any trace of it leak out. It was difficult to accomplish this. Fang Yuan currently had rank 7 battle strength. It was easy for him to defeat an ordinary immortal zombie, and killing them was also possible. But to secretly kill them was exceptionally difficult. Because the commotion during the battle would be huge and could not be controlled. If the immortal zombie wanted to flee, Fang Yuan would have to give chase, but true solid bat wings was not very reliable. If the immortal zombie used information path GU worms to request for reinforcements, then in the midst of the battle, Fang Yuan would need to have sufficient and accurate means to exterminate these GU worms. In summary, Fang Yuan had outstanding power in offense, but was still lacking a lot in other aspects. Most of all, he lacked a battlefield killer move. Battlefield killer moves could create an independent battlefield environment that was isolated from the world. Within a battlefield killer move, GU immortals were usually unable to use information path GU worms to request reinforcements. Naturally, this was not absolute. There was no such thing as absolute in this world. Also, superior battlefield killer moves could limit the space, thus could prevent the enemy from running everywhere. Immortal battlefield killer moves had another name. They were known as quasi-blessed lands. Once they were used, they could temporarily replicate countless Dao marks, creating a temporary unique battlefield. Most GU immortals, in fact, did not have immortal battlefield killer moves. Only relatively few GU immortals were in possession of them. Fang Yuan did not have an immortal battlefield killer move. It would be very difficult for him to secretly kill a Northern Plains Zombie Alliance member by himself. Even in his previous life he did not have one, because when he had just obtained his first immortal GU, he was besieged and had no choice but to self-detonate. He Lu Lan and Tai Bai Yun Sheng also did not have one. They had only recently advanced into GU immortals. Even if their immortal apertures were of superior grades, they needed to accumulate their foundations for a long time. However, Fairy Li Shan had one. Pear Orchard was her battlefield killer move. If they could lure an immortal zombie into Pear Orchard, then it was very likely they could secretly kill them. Naturally, even if they succeeded, there were risks. Fang Yuan did not forget old Lord Kenyang and rest of the group. They were sure to have wisdom path GU immortals amongst them. And the possibility of them deducing Fang Yuan re-entering Zombie Alliance was very likely. Once the truth was exposed or even a slight trace of it was leaked out, Fang Yuan entering Northern Plains Zombie Alliance would be like entering a tiger's den. Thus, Fairy Li Shan's help was highly necessary. However, Fairy Li Shan rejected Fang Yuan's request, and just as Fang Yuan was thinking of other strategies, a request for reinforcements appeared in his immortal aperture. Ever since Northern Plains Grand Auction event ended, Fang Yuan had stopped contacting Lang Ya Land Spirit frequently. This time, however, Lang Ya Land Spirit had taken the initiative to contact Fang Yuan. It was to ask for reinforcements. This greatly differed from Fang Yuan's expectations. In Fang Yuan's mind, Lang Ya Blessed Land had an extremely deep foundation. In his previous life, Langya Blessed Land, this ownerless blessed land, had resisted 7 entire waves of invading GU immortals. Moreover, at the 7th wave, even Feng Juzhe had died in Langya Blessed Land. Although Langya Blessed Land only had 12 cloud buildings on the surface, under each cloud building was a desolate beast, that meant 12 desolate beasts. And as long as one was not an idiot, they would understand these 12 desolate beasts were only the outermost defensive measures. One should not forget Langya Blessed Land's original owner was Long-Hair Ancestor. He was known as possibly the #1 refinement path immortal. He had refined 38 immortal GU throughout his life, not lacking rank 7 and rank 8 among them. This was only the officially recorded number. If his unofficial records were noted, if rumors and so on were taken into consideration, the amount surpassed 100. Thus, Fang Yuan had already surmised that Langya Blessed Land's true defenses were the vast number of immortal GU left behind by Long-Hair Ancestor. It was not the desolate beasts. Langya Blessed Land was vastly different from other blessed lands. Even without an owner, Langya Land Spirit had an unending supply of immortal essence which he could use. It was because Langya Blessed Land had the heavenly essence treasure Imperial Lotus that could produce immortal essence. And due to the support of Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus, Langya Land Spirit could boldly activate immortal GU, displaying their unique powers. Now, Langya Land Spirit is actually taking the initiative to ask me for reinforcements. In my previous life, he could resist until the 7th wave, and this should only be the 4th wave of attacks. Is it because of me that the structure of Northern Plains situation has changed to such a large extent? Has it caused Langya Blessed Land to face a much fiercer attack? Fang Yuan's brain worked rapidly. For Langya Land Spirit to ask for reinforcements, it could certainly be imagined that the strength of the invaders absolutely surpassed Fang Yuan's individual ability. But often, precious opportunities were hidden in dangerous situations. Langya Blessed Land had a deep accumulation of wealth, and was so rich that even Heavenly Court's greed was incited in Fang Yuan's previous life, forcibly taking down this blessed land. Heavenly Court might have suffered huge losses, but they also benefited a lot even after calculating the loss of Feng Juzhe. Cooperating with Langya Land Spirit had many benefits. This was already clear from the past dealings. Fang Yuan had bluffed and deceived to seize many benefits from Langya Land Spirit. Langya Land Spirit had a huge hand in his rapid progress after becoming a GU immortal. Especially in transitioning between the early to middle stages, which was a difficult point to make progress. It was a pity, after the auction in Northern Plains, Fang Yuan's greed and excessive demands led to the land spirit's aversion towards him, which caused the relation between both sides to worsen and reduce to a freezing point. Fang Yuan had tried to cooperate with the land spirit several times, but was answered with an unyielding attitude by the land spirit, asking Fang Yuan to search for a poisonous flower-type immortal material. If I can help the land spirit now, our tensed relations will definitely ease up. What's more, I have fixed immortal travel and only need 3 breaths of time to return to Immortal Blessed Land. Even if the enemies are very strong, I should be able to buy 3 breaths of time, right? Fang Yuan pondered. Although Langya Land Spirit had asked for reinforcements, the situation might not be so bad. He had always felt that Langya Blessed Land's foundation was very abundant. In his previous life, it could resist 7 waves of attack, even a powerhouse of this generation like Feng Juzhe was sacrificed here. This was only the 4th wave of attacks. As he considered it thoroughly, Fang Yuan decided to help Langya Land Spirit. He was not a rash, hot-blooded child like Yu Fei who, when his friends suffered harm, would stand up regardless of gains or losses. He was Fang Yuan, a demonic path GU immortal. He emphasized profits, coldly calculating gains and losses. Allies were used to bring benefits. What was the point of making friends with each other? As far as Fang Yuan was concerned, allies were only special tools to gain benefits. Coincidentally, Tai Bai Yunsheng also came to inquire about the letter. Langya Land Spirit had also sent him a letter for reinforcements. In fact, since Tai Bai Yunsheng had restored Langya Blessed Land for the Land Spirit, his relationship with the Land Spirit was much better than that of Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan informed Tai Bai Yunsheng of his decision, which Tai Bai Yunsheng approved of. Fang Yuan immediately used a stargate to go to Langya Blessed Land. Even though Tai Bai Yunsheng had passed the earthly calamity, he still required some time before he could take back his immortal aperture and move around. You're here, Fang Yuan. Langya Land Spirit appeared in front of Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan noticed Langya Land Spirit did not appear tired and had no injuries on his body, and felt even more certain of his previous guess. He laughed. This is your attitude to your life-saving benefactor. HMPH. You think I am not aware? Rascal, you wouldn't have even thought of helping me without benefits involved. If not for this situation being urgent, I would not have requested help from you. Lang Ya Land Spirit rolled his eyes. Although he said this, Lang Ya Land Spirit's attitude was already much warmer than before. I will give you the rank 6 Immortal GU recipe for all-out effort GU as a reward for repelling the enemies. Lang Ya Land Spirit continued. Fang Yuan snickered, shaking his head. Let's talk about the reward later, after we repel the invading GU Immortals. Fang Yuan did not talk about reward and was worried about the invading enemies, not taking advantage to blackmail. This immediately made Lang Ya Land Spirit very pleased and feel his opinion of Fang Yuan becoming much more pleasant. Follow me. Lang Ya Land Spirit grabbed Fang Yuan's arm, and instantly, they arrived at the highest floor of a cloud building. It could be seen from this that there were large numbers of space path Dao marks in Lang Ya Blessed Land. If it were like Starform Blessed Land where there were not many space path Dao marks, Starform Land Spirit could only fly rapidly with no ability to teleport. Fang Yuan observed the surroundings that had already changed greatly. Previously, Lang Ya Blessed Land had a vast area of cloud soil with clear skies, 12 cloud buildings standing adjacent to each other among them. But right now, Fang Yuan's sight was filled with boundless fog, which was so dense one could not even see their hands. The sky could not be seen above, the ground could not be seen below. Lang Ya Land Spirit explained with a serious voice, this is the GU formation activated after the Blessed Land was attacked, 12-wave cloud confusion formation. The 12 cloud buildings are all mortal GU houses and serve as formation cores of this formation. Look, those are the invaders. The Land Spirit waved his sleeve, several mirrors appeared in front of Fang Yuan. Each mirror showed a GU Immortal moving slowly in the vast fog, or charging forward. They are. Fang Yuan's pupils could not help but shrink when he saw these GU Immortals. Qin Bai Sheng, Zhang Yu, He Cheng, Shui Songzi and He Langzi. There were also two others, one was a green-robed Wind Path GU Immortal who was moving forward rapidly, another was a black-robed GU Immortal who was wearing a mask and was very mysterious. You recognize them? Lang Ya Land Spirit sensed the strange expression on Fang Yuan's face. Fang Yuan nodded, saying with a serious expression, these people have extraordinary strength, especially the leader, Qin Bai Sheng, he is a famous rank 7 expert in Northern Plains. I know, if not for this, most of my 12-wave cloud confusion formation would not have been broken down. Now only 5 buildings are left, 2 are already guarded by 2 of Inkman City's GU Immortals. You will guard this one, while I will personally guard another one. The remaining one is left for Tai Bai Yun Shang. Lang Ya Land Spirit distribution the workload. Fang Yuan frowned. The enemies are too strong, the cloud buildings are only mortal GU houses, it will be quite difficult to obstruct these people while also protecting the cloud buildings. Chapter 873, Quietly Awaiting Foes. Fang Yuan frowned, he showed a troubled expression. Qin Bai Sheng, Zhang Yu, He Langzi, Shui Songzi, He Langzi, and 2 mysterious GU Immortals that he did not know. Among them, only Shui Songzi and Zhang Yu were rank 6 GU Immortals, the rest were rank 7 GU Immortals. Fang Yuan did not have any idea of who the 2 mysterious GU Immortals were. But among the remaining ones, Qin Bai Sheng, He Langzi, and He Cheng were all experienced rank 7s. He Cheng was a GU Immortal of the Super Force, He Tribe, although he had a hidden injury and could not use immortal killer moves, causing his battle strength to decline sharply. He was not at his peak condition, but the immortal GU Dark Arrow was not to be underestimated. He Langzi was a famous transformation path demonic immortal in Northern Plains, he had a strange upbringing and was ruthless and savage, he had 3 immortal level desolate wolf transformations, he had high battle strength. He was once offered recruitment by old ancestor Shui Hu, but he turned down the offer. The strongest one was Qin Bai Sheng. This person had roamed Northern Plains for hundreds of years, as a lone cultivator, he had defeated Lu Hao, Chan Yushang, Nu Erdu, killed by Chan Zi, Jade Fire Farmer, Mountain Lord Tian Qing, had a draw with Yuan Rang Zun, and managed to escape with his life from 5 Elements Grandmaster. He was a rank 7 GU Immortal, his status in Northern Plains was like Shilei's status in Central Continent. In most people's perspective, he was at the peak of rank 7 battle strength, only rank 8 GU Immortals could suppress him. He was considerably stronger than the level of old Lord Kenyang. The scarier thing was, not only did he have outstanding battle strength, he was also very capable in planning. He held the Northern Plains auction and was the biggest winner out of it. Trying to protect the cloud buildings in front of such a person, it was not a strange thing for Fang Yuan to feel very troubled. But Lang Yalan's spirit patted Fang Yuan's shoulder, saying, I am not asking you to defend the cloud building, you just need to hold him back. I am trying to stall for time. HMPH, these people are too daring, they actually attacked Lang Ya blessed land. As long as you can hold on for 30 minutes, I will be able to make these people suffer the severe consequences. Lang Yalan's spirit spoke with immense confidence. Like what Fang Yuan had guessed, Lang Yalan's spirit definitely had a trump card that could turn the situation around. In the earlier 3 waves of attacks, Lang Yalan's spirit had amazing battle results, these 12 desolate beasts would not have been able to accomplish it. Then, what is the thing that Lang Yalan's spirit is relying on? Fang Yuan felt a strong sense of curiosity internally. He did not had any intention to conceal this thought, he asked directly. But Lang Yalan's spirit did not tell him, he only smiled mysteriously. Afterwards, the land spirit gave Fang Yuan some instructions and gave him a letter GU before teleporting away. The letter GU recorded the technique to manipulate the cloud buildings. This cloud building was lent to Fang Yuan by Lang Yalan's spirit, he could manipulate it freely. Fang Yuan looked at it 2 or 3 times, he memorized the manipulation technique to heart. Next, he practiced it a little and got the hang of it. The cloud buildings were the formation cores of the 12-wave cloud confusion formation. Star thoughts moved in Fang Yuan's mind as he gained much understanding of the 12-wave cloud confusion formation after learning about the cloud buildings. In other words, this was a fog formation that resembled a maze. Even though it was not elevated to the level of a battlefield killer move, it was only 1 step away. It was not that Lang Yalan's spirit did not have battlefield killer moves, but to set up a battlefield killer move, Dao marks needed to be carved. The newly added Dao marks would not be perfectly compatible with the Dao marks of this world, there would be conflicts and unsuitability. This would cause damage to Lang Ya blessed land itself. Thus, the land spirit did not do that. To just stall for time, 12-wave cloud confusion formation was already reaching the limits of a GU formation. When a GU immortal is inside the formation, their 5 senses would be messed up and they would not be able to tell the direction, between left or right, or even end up just walking in circles on the spot. Only an investigative immortal killer move would allow the GU immortal to navigate their way through the GU formation. Only by destroying all 12 cloud buildings would this formation be entirely destroyed. If they did not have an investigative immortal killer move, then the GU immortal could only move about randomly, hoping to see if they could find a cloud building. This was purely up to luck. Fortunately for them, once the GU formation was set up, the 12 cloud buildings could not be moved, otherwise, GU immortals without an investigative immortal killer move would never be able to find it, not even luck could help. Fang Yuan sat on the cloud bed as he opened many observation mirrors, checking the surroundings of this cloud building. His authority was only limited to this cloud building, he could only check the surroundings of this cloud building to an extent. There was only vast fog in the mirror, not a single GU immortal showed up. Fang Yuan did not lack patience, he waited silently. A moment later, a GU immortal appeared in the mirror. She was wearing a purple dress, she had a high nose and deep beautiful eyes, her eyebrows were thick and long, her skin was slightly dark as her entire body oozed with an alluring aura. It was Fairy Zhang Yu. Fang Yuan was shocked, he immediately thought about her dark limit immortal GU. He Lu Lan had the great strength true martial physique. Before becoming an immortal, she had used dark limit immortal GU, it had entered He Lu Lan's body and circulated through it, concealing the aura of the great strength true martial physique. Initially, He Lu Lan's plan was to seize her dark limit immortal GU, before they were exposed. But unfortunately, Fairy Zhang Yu's traces were hard to find, before this plan was even put into play, it had failed. Later, when He Lu Lan was chasing after He Cheng, this plan was even more impossible. Dark limit immortal GU, if I can obtain it, Fang Yuan's gaze shined, he felt somewhat of a pity inside. Unfortunately, in this current situation, even if I can capture Fairy Zhang Yu alive, I would not obtain dark limit immortal GU. It was very hard to take immortal GU, hope was usually very slim. After all, only a thought was needed to make the immortal GU self-detonate. Just as Fang Yuan thought about this, Fairy Zhang Yu actually turned this way and that, going on a detour around Fang Yuan's territory, heading towards another direction and leaving this place. Once she was out of Fang Yuan's territory, Fairy Zhang Yu vanished from the mirror. A while later, a second GU immortal entered Fang Yuan's territory. The mirror clearly showed his image. It was Qin Bai Sheng. Fang Yuan's gaze was grave, he watched as Qin Bai Sheng got closer and closer. Undoubtedly, out of all the GU Immortal experts here, the one Fang Yuan most wanted to not face was Qin Bai Sheng. Fang Yuan has not found out that after Qin Bai Sheng fought Feng Juzhe, he had already recovered his original strength. But with just Qin Bai Sheng's previous performance, he was already at the level of Central Continent's Shilei. This type of opponent was far too strong. If he really discovered this cloud building, Fang Yuan immediately decided that he would only match a few blows with him before retreating. Even though he was reinforcing Lang Yalan's spirit, this support was only situational. Fang Yuan had never thought of sacrificing his life for Lang Yalan's spirit. In addition, Lang Yalan's spirit also had his trump cards. It was not time for Fang Yuan to take a risk. Qin Bai Sheng got closer and closer to the cloud building. He had an investigative immortal killer move. He walked straight ahead. Fang Yuan controlled this cloud building. He was right beside Qin Bai Sheng's path of advancement. They were about 300 steps away from each other linearly. The range of the investigative immortal killer move was definitely more than 300 steps, but it was hindered by the 12-wave cloud confusion formation. Once Qin Bai Sheng got to a certain proximity, the cloud building would appear in his investigative range. That way, Qin Bai Sheng would charge directly to the cloud building. Fang Yuan's first defensive battle would end up as a failure. But this type of failure was not scary. Fang Yuan had no psychological burden if he failed. To Fang Yuan, no matter how many losses he has, his fighting spirit would not dwindle, it would not change his plans and his mind would not be disrupted. But soon, a change occurred. Qin Bai Sheng's expression suddenly changed. He turned towards the northeast direction and flew rapidly. Not only is their information path technique immortal level, it is extremely useful against the GU formation. They can actually transmit information inside the GU formation. Almost at the same time, Fang Yuan heard Lang Yalan's spirit's surprised voice. Fang Yuan nodded lightly, replying, "Since they attacked us, they definitely came prepared. But from your words, did they not expose this technique last time?" The land spirit was silent for a moment before answering, "No. Earlier, the cloud buildings were defended by desolate beasts. They were fighting alone and killing the desolate beasts to destroy the cloud buildings. But this time, Mo Tan Sang and the desolate beasts are defending the cloud buildings together. They must have changed their tactics after seeing that there was a defending GU Immortal, and went to reinforce each other." Fang Yuan's expression turned grim. "Not good. Mo Tan Sang is the leader of Inkman City. It is already quite generous of him to come and reinforce us, but he would have to conceal his appearance in battle. Once his relationship with you is exposed, Northern Plains Inkman City would face a huge crisis. If Mo Tan Sang fights under such restraints, against a powerful foe that has the superiority in numbers, he would not be able to protect the cloud building." The land spirit responded immediately. This 12-wave cloud confusion formation uses Lang Ya blessed land's own Dao marks to divert the enemies and split them up, forcing them to fight individually. In theory, it can isolate rank 7 and rank 6 information path immortal killer moves, preventing enemies from communicating. Even if they have whole Earth GU set up, it is useless. But these people are able to communicate with each other now. It is likely related to the previous few waves. Sigh, I should not have been greedy over the profits of selling GU immortal slaves. I should have killed them. Among these people, there should be someone who has quite an impressive wisdom path technique. I had already cleansed all of the memories of the GU immortal slaves from their souls. Lang Yalan's spirit analyzed it thoroughly. He felt much regret. Fang Yuan agreed with Lang Yalan's spirit's analysis. GU immortals battle with their wits. They were all brilliant characters. Qin Bai Sheng only did one action of assisting his ally, and he exposed so many details. Similarly, since the last few waves were related to his intelligence, Lang Ya blessed land also leaked out many secrets as well. "Can I see the battle scene over there?" Fang Yuan requested. On the mirror, the scene of the battle was displayed. Mo Tan Sang was riding on a desolate beast, fighting with GU Immortal He Chang. Mo Tan Sang was a rank 6 GU Immortal. He was at a disadvantage. He mainly cultivated Chi Path, but now he was using other methods to fight. He Chang had a hidden injury, but he was still rank 7, he did not use Dark Arrow Immortal GU, but he still had control over the battle. Most importantly, the reason was that Mo Tan Sang was afraid of exposing his identity. He had his Inkman City to defend, he could not allow it to face danger. Thus, he only rode on the desolate beast, letting it fight primarily, while he used healing and defensive techniques. The desolate beast was peerless in bravery, but it lacked the wisdom to inspect the battle situation. But with Mo Tan Sang's attentive assistance, even though the desolate beast was at a disadvantage, it was still full of energy, it could hold on for a long time. But Fang Yuan knew that Qin Bai Sheng was coming soon, the desolate beast would definitely die at that time. While Fang Yuan was concerned with Mo Tan Sang's situation, a third figure entered close proximity with Fang Yuan. Shui Songzi, he didn't receive any orders to go to that battlefield. Fang Yuan was perplexed, he had some guesses internally. A moment later, Shui Songzi found Fang Yuan's cloud building. His movement paused for a moment before shooting towards the cloud building at lightning speed. Fang Yuan stood up too, he had a stern expression. Battle erupted at once. Chapter 874, Killed by One Slap. Among the 7 GU immortals who were invading Langya Blessed Land, the one Fang Yuan wanted to face the most was Shui Songzi. Because Shui Songzi was the one with the lowest cultivation level among them, his battle strength was also likely to be the lowest. At the same time, Fang Yuan had fought Shui Songzi before. During their previous battle, Shui Songzi was beaten back by the Strength Path Phantom Army, he left in a pitiful state. In other words, Shui Songzi had once lost to Fang Yuan. With Fang Yuan's experience, he knew about Shui Songzi's foundation. But I cannot be careless in this battle. Fang Yuan's expression was serious, looking at Shui Songzi in the mirror, getting closer to the cloud building that he was in, he did not have disdain or arrogance inside. A lion uses its full strength even when hunting rabbits, Fang Yuan had a vigilant nature. Furthermore, in this battle, Fang Yuan had many concerns. His first concern was that this was not a solo battle, it was a huge fight between the invaders and Langya Blessed Land. If Fang Yuan and Shui Songzi fought, would the other side send reinforcements? That was very likely to happen. His second concern was Shui Songzi's increase in battle strength. In Langya Blessed Land, the invaders could not use any mortal GU, the fact that Shui Songzi could get this far meant that he had at least one immortal GU. This secret was easily exposed. Because Shui Songzi's speed in reaching Fang Yuan was extremely fast, he was using a true immortal killer move. It seems that in this battle, I have to plot and sneak attack him, ensuring my advantage. Even if someone reinforces him later, my pressure would be much lower. Malicious thoughts were moving rapidly in Fang Yuan's mind. When plotting against others, malicious thoughts were most effective. Fang Yuan was very experienced with this. Shui Songzi progressed rapidly. The scene before him was stagnant, all he saw was white fog that filled his entire vision. As he flew rapidly, the cold winds were blowing on him, but he felt extremely excited. This is the difference between immortal GU and mortal GU, it truly is spectacular. Shui Songzi experienced the joy of flying using an immortal killer move, a portion of his mind was concentrating on his own immortal aperture. In his immortal aperture, there was an ice path immortal GU, it was quite massive. It was around the size of an average horse, the entire immortal GU looked like a heart, it was an icy statue that looked very vivid, frost energy was emanating from it. This was Ice Heart Immortal GU. Ice Heart Immortal GU was not Shui Songzi's possession, it was lent to him by Shadow Sect's Qin Bai Sheng, in order to boost his strength when invading Langya Blessed Land. Not only did Qin Bai Sheng give Shui Songzi this rank 6 Immortal GU, he even gave him several immortal killer moves that used Ice Heart Immortal GU as the core, encompassing attack, defense, movement, healing, and others. Shui Songzi was originally a Snowpath GU immortal, but Snowpath and Ice Path were twins, they were almost indistinguishable and closely related. This Ice Path Immortal GU and its killer moves were very suitable for Shui Songzi. Ice Heart Immortal GU emitted bone-chilling frost energy, but Shui Songzi's heart was burning with passion. Qin Bai Sheng has promised Shui Songzi before moving off for this mission, if they achieve their goal this time, he would give that Ice Path Immortal GU to Shui Songzi as his reward. Thus, Shui Songzi was full of motivation, ever since they entered the Blessed Land, he was working very enthusiastically. After all, back then he was searching for Wooden Chicken Immortal GU, he did not stint on subsidizing Ma tribe in the struggle for the imperial court. Right now there was such a good chance, and Ice Heart Immortal GU was much more compatible with him than Wooden Chicken Immortal GU, he was definitely moved. Cloud building. Shui Songzi's figure halted, he shouted in surprise. In the endless white fog before him, a tall building appeared. Shui Songzi soon became overjoyed. To think that my luck is so good, I actually found a cloud building. The mission Qin Bai Sheng gave him was to find the formation cores of the 12 cloud buildings inside the 12-wave cloud confusion formation and destroy them. If I can destroy a cloud building alone, that would be a huge merit. According to our earlier agreement for rewards, I will obtain quite a sum. But each cloud building is defended by a desolate beast, I should be careful. Soon after, Shui Songzi calmed down. As if it had heard his thoughts, a desolate beast descended from the cloud building, jumping towards him. This desolate beast was huge like an elephant. It was yellow-brown in color, and thick fur covered more than half of its body. It was the yellow jade lion desolate beast that Fang Yuan had picked up in Starry Sky Grotto Heaven, and had given to Langya Land Spirit. The yellow jade lion did not make a sound, it moved like lightning as it charged towards Shui Songzi. Just in time, Shui Songzi showed an excited expression with much battle intent, but his body retreated backwards instead. He was very vigilant. The yellow jade lion's attack did not hit, instead, Shui Songzi increased the distance between them. The latter waved his sleeve and a huge blizzard blew out. The blizzard howled as lumps of snow as large as eggs flew towards the yellow jade lion. This was not a mortal killer move, it was the immortal killer move, cold condensed snow. Only an immortal killer move could be used in this situation, mortal killer moves could not even be used in this place. The yellow jade lion could not open its eyes, cold frost energy was spreading, forming a thick layer of frost on its body. The yellow jade lion's body shook itself, most of the frost was shrugged off, it continued running towards Shui Songzi. Shui Songzi's gaze was focused on the yellow jade lion's fur, he snorted in disdain. His immortal killer move had insufficient attacking power, but the frost energy would invade the body and affect the enemy's speed and movement. The yellow jade lion did not have a large size among desolate beasts, but it had great strength and agility. Shui Songzi used this move to weaken the yellow jade lion's speed advantage. But the yellow jade lion was a desolate beast, and it had very thick fur. If it were another desolate beast, its flesh and blood might have been frozen by the frost energy. But the yellow jade lion had the traits of its species, it resisted this move and only its fur was frozen. Shui Songzi was not adept at close combat, he liked to fight at long range. After seeing the yellow jade lion closing in, he retreated again. Immortal killer move, Ice Trace. He faced the yellow jade lion as he flew backwards and retreated. Along the path that he retreated, frost gathered as the ground became an icy path. The yellow jade lion's frontal assault was slowed greatly when it stepped onto this icy trail. Shui Songzi retreated rapidly, after making sure there was a huge distance between them, he laughed, "Beast, take my penetrating ice blade." He raised his hand and slashed at the yellow jade lion, which was far away. Crack! A huge ice blade formed in the air instantly, the ice blade flew down from above, it was fast and sharp, hitting the yellow jade lion's back harshly. The yellow jade lion growled in pain, blood splattered, but was quickly frozen and became solid. The penetrating ice blade shattered like glass, but the frost energy inside directly spread into the yellow jade lion's body, its offensive power came in multiple forms, overwhelming the opponent, it was hard to defend against, this was a vicious and ruthless move. The yellow jade lion growled at the sky, the sound waves causing ripples in the clouds. Its foreclaws were glowing with fire, its speed increased and it could dodge with greater flexibility. The yellow jade lion had large numbers of mortal GU worms in its body, this was intentionally produced by Langya Land Spirit. Because they were on the side defending the blessed land, the yellow jade lion could use all of its mortal GU worms. But the frost energy was inside its body, the yellow jade lion's speed fell greatly. Shui Songzi had the advantage, he continued to use immortal killer moves to attack the yellow jade lion. The situation was getting worse for the yellow jade lion, wounds were piling up on its body, it was getting slower. When it coughed blood, what came out was not warm blood, but cold frozen blood. Ha ha ha, great, this feels great. Shui Songzi laughed loudly in a carefree manner. He had used all of the immortal killer moves that Qin Bai Sheng gave to him, he could feel the power of having immortal killer moves. In the past, desolate beasts greatly troubled him, but after getting bombarded by his immortal killer moves, this one could only run around and growl pitifully. Next is the final move, Ice Heartlock. I have to test its power as well. Shui Songzi stopped running, he advanced and charged towards the yellow jade lion. He was extremely fast, like an eagle trying to capture food in the sky. Before the yellow jade lion reacted, its GU worms had already felt Shui Songzi's immense aura and had activated an armor made of light on the yellow jade lion's body. HMPH. Child's play. Shui Songzi's eyes shined with cruelty, he waved his hand as he used an immortal killer move, penetrating ice blade, again. Bam! The ice blade hit the yellow jade lion's back, breaking into pieces. The armor of light made by mortal GU did not even last for a moment before it was destroyed by the ice blade effortlessly. A deep wound that revealed the bone was made on the yellow jade lion's back. The yellow jade lion cried out in pain, it could not hold on anymore, it sprawled on the ground. Shui Songzi stepped on the yellow jade lion's back. He suddenly lied down and placed both hands on the yellow jade lion's body. Crack crack, soft sounds of ice forming could be heard. First, it was a thin layer of ice growing on the yellow jade lion's back, with Shui Songzi at the center. The ice rapidly extended over the yellow jade lion's body. Soon, this thin layer of ice thickened at a rapid speed. Not only that, on the yellow jade lion's body, a similarly powerful frost energy was gathering and freezing its blood, flesh, bones, and even its intestines. Shui Songzi's expression was pale. He thought to himself inwardly, this ice heart lock is really powerful, it can forcefully freeze even desolate beasts. But this immortal killer move expends way too much immortal essence. After Shui Songzi noticed this, he wanted to stop. But soon, greed grew inside him. Why don't I capture this yellow jade lion alive? I can freeze it first, and thaw it later when I sell it to someone. A living desolate beast is of huge value even in treasure yellow heaven. He. Just as he was dreaming about this beautiful future, there was an explosion from the yellow jade lion below him. With a loud bang, a strength path giant hand grabbed onto Shui Songzi, who was unable to escape in time. Shui Songzi was flustered. What is this? Ice armor. A thick ice armor appeared on his body. The strength path giant hand grabbed onto the ice armor, as cracks appeared on the armor. Shui Songzi's lips curled up. He showed a ruthless smile. With this, I can test my defensive killer move's other ability. Ice armor, detonate. With a loud bang, the ice armor exploded, and huge amounts of frost energy filled the surroundings. Fang Yuan's strength path giant hand was pushed back by the huge force. Shui Songzi used the chance and flew out, but at the next moment, his sinister smile froze. Above his head, a strength path giant hand was prepared and ready to strike. Shui Songzi flew into the sky. His ice armor had just broken. He could not activate it immediately again. This strength path giant hand slapped him like swatting a fly. As it landed on him, Shui Songzi was beaten into a lump of meat paste. Chapter 875, 1 vs 2. You killed an enemy Gu Immortal. Good. Fang Yuan had just gotten out of the yellow jade lion's body, when Langya land spirit's voice was heard. Fang Yuan's first thought was, it seems that this Langya blessed land has lots of sound path Dao marks. Langya land spirit could transmit his voice so easily, who Immortal land spirit and star form land spirit did not have such an ability. This showed that there were large numbers of sound path Dao marks in Langya blessed land. The land spirit was very surprised that Fang Yuan could kill Shui Songzi. He said, good, 3 times. This was the first time the other party had lost a member since the start of this attack. Fang Yuan, to think that you have such battle strength even though you are already so good at deducing immortal Gu recipes. At this juncture, Langya land spirit praised as he sighed. He. Fang Yuan laughed too. When he laughed, Shui Songzi's meat paste had just landed on the floor. Fang Yuan was satisfied with this battle result. The yellow jade lion below him was near death. It was used as a pawn by Fang Yuan to deal with Shui Songzi. It worked really well. In this battle, Fang Yuan had only used vaguely familiar face and strength path giant hand. He used very few resources to kill Shui Songzi, while obtaining a huge effect. By this point, Fang Yuan deeply knew that all kinds of fights were just an extension of economic conflicts. In other words, wars, battles, they were like business. Whatever you put in and gain will all be in the financial aspect. Why was Fang Yuan quite satisfied? Because he put in a minimal amount of resources into this battle, but had created a huge impact. In the terminology of business, he put in a small sum of capital and earned a huge amount of profits in return. Shui Songzi had immortal Gu with him and a complete set of immortal killer moves. If Fang Yuan fought him head-on, he might not have been able to defeat him even after a dozen rounds of moves. Although Shui Songzi could only use immortal killer moves here, even though Fang Yuan could use mortal Gu, against the power of immortal killer moves, he had to use immortal killer moves to counter them, right? Thus, his green grape immortal essence expenditure would be huge. Expending a huge amount of immortal essence when Shui Songzi might not even lose. What's more, if he managed to summon more Gu immortals to help him, Fang Yuan would have to retreat. Battles between Gu immortals were not rigid duels where each person exchanged one move at a time, they were filled with schemes and plots. Fang Yuan had deduced that Shui Songzi had low battle strength, and as a member of Snowy Mountain Blessed Land, he was an outsider among the invading Gu immortals. He also deduced that Shui Songzi had immortal Gu. Most importantly, Fang Yuan knew what Shui Songzi had done in the previous imperial court contest. Shui Songzi had a huge desire for immortal Gu. Fang Yuan knew that. Thus, he easily deduced the reason why Shui Songzi had an immortal GU, as well as his current state of mind. As the saying goes, know yourself and your enemy, and you will never be defeated. Shui Songzi knew nothing about Fang Yuan, and he was also an outsider. It seemed that he did not receive Qin Baisheng's warning. If Qin Baisheng had told Shui Songzi that the cloud buildings had GU immortals defending them, Shui Songzi would not have been so careless. What was more fatal was that earlier, the invaders had attacked ruthlessly, destroying many cloud building formation cores, while killing many desolate beasts. After every battle, Qin Baisheng would send out the information and inform everyone. Qin Baisheng's actions were understandable. Because when GU immortals were split up and searching for the formation cores aimlessly, they might feel very uncertain from detecting nothing and experience a drop in morale. When Shui Songzi heard the notifications, he felt that his side was having a landslide victory. His morale was high. His loss to Fang Yuan was also because of the same reason that an arrogant army was bound to lose. In contrast, Fang Yuan was scheming and devious. He had a huge advantage as the hidden party. Of course, his guesses could have been wrong. After all, they were all estimations. But in fact, he had a complete understanding of Shui Songzi's mental state. He even hid inside the yellow jade lion's body deviously. Shui Songzi has an investigative immortal killer move. He had scanned the yellow jade lion's body at least 3 times. But he was afraid that the yellow jade lion might have a wild immortal GU on it. If it attacked while he was distracted, he would be in trouble. Because Shui Songzi did not find any immortal GU, he became even more careless. Fang Yuan's vaguely familiar face had great importance during this process. If he did not use this killer move to conceal himself, even if he hid inside the yellow jade lion's body, Shui Songzi would have found him. Because of all these reasons, such a shocking result occurred. GU immortals were all dragons among men. If Shui Songzi was not careless, with his current strength, he could totally fight Fang Yuan head-on. Even if he was slightly weaker, he could definitely drag out the battle for some time. But it was a pity that his opponent was Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan had his previous life's memories. In nice words, they could be called wisdom, but bluntly speaking, they allowed him to scheme deviously. He could use a portion of his strength and unleash it with multiple times the effect. Langya Land Spirit, I killed Shui Songzi, how will you reward me? Shui Songzi's immortal aperture was destroyed. Everything inside it was destroyed as well, but his Dao marks have all gone to this blessed land. Fang Yuan smiled as he asked. Ha ha ha, don't worry, you will be heavily rewarded after the battle. I hope you can defend this cloud building well. Mo Tansang is already heavily injured, he barely escaped, his cloud building was destroyed. You have Shui Songzi's soul, we need to search it and find out these people's details. The land spirit replied. Fang Yuan's gaze became slightly firmer. This was not the first time he had captured a GU immortal's soul. Back then in Taibai Blessed Land, Taibai Yunsheng did not notice it, but here in Langya Blessed Land, all of it was exposed to Langya Land Spirit. As for Mo Tansang losing his building, it was very normal. This did not differ from Fang Yuan's expectations. Shui Songzi died. Qin Baisheng stood on the rubble of a cloud building. Suddenly, his body shook and he spoke. What? He has the immortal GU you lent him, as well as a complete set of immortal killer moves. How did he die suddenly? He Cheng, who was beside him, felt a great shock. After Shui Songzi died, He Cheng's pressure amplified. Among the people in Shadow Sect, even though He Cheng was rank 7, his battle strength was quite weak. He was a natural ally of Shui Songzi. He Cheng's constant worry was not the blessed land, but the mysterious allies around him. He fell into their trap. Qin Baisheng thought about it for a few moments. His eyes shined brilliantly. In a frontal fight, unless a rank 8 GU immortal attacked, Shui Songzi would have lasted for some time. In Langya Blessed Land, there are definitely no rank 8 GU immortals. Thus, the most likely possibility is that Shui Songzi found a cloud building or something important. In order to get the reward that was promised to him, he did not inform anyone else, and because he got new immortal GU, he wanted to test them. This mentality was used by the enemy and they planted a trap. At the appropriate opportunity, they killed Shui Songzi. He Cheng drew in a breath of cold air. Then his opponent is not simple, they actually plotted Shui Songzi's death. Even though he said that, He Cheng was even more wary of Qin Baisheng. This Qin Baisheng had both brains and brawn. Not only did he have immense battle strength, he could make such a deduction in such a short time with just this much information. In terms of plotting and scheming, they were above his fighting power. Perhaps it was because I was too reluctant to waste our limited communication method. A lesson to be learned. Qin Bai Sheng sighed eerily, but he soon smiled. But we have already dismantled 8 cloud buildings. I have understood the formation cores of these cloud buildings, and made a mortal killer move that can allow us to find the remaining cloud buildings. But in here, to use this mortal killer move, we will need to use immortal killer moves to protect it. He made a mortal killer move just like this. What attainment level does he have? He Cheng's heart jumped. Qin Bai Sheng started to transmit to the others. He called the mysterious black-robed Gu Immortal to his side, in order to protect him while he used the mortal and immortal killer moves. This showed that Qin Bai Sheng did not trust He Cheng at all. He even ordered Wei Fengzi and He Langzi to rush to the place where Shui Songzi died. Qin Bai Sheng lent Shui Songzi immortal Gu, but he also took the chance to use his immortal level technique on Shui Songzi, allowing him to track him. This matter was not concealed from Shui Songzi. When Qin Bai Sheng lent him the immortal Gu, he said, "If I do not use tracking methods on you, if you run away after borrowing my immortal Gu, what will I do?" Based on the promise of giving him the immortal Gu after the battle, Shui Songzi relented. Thus, back then, Shui Songzi smiled and flattered, willingly allowing Qin Bai Sheng to use the tracking method on him. With the proper direction, He Langzi and Wei Fengzi quickly got to Shui Songzi's place of demise. Seeing the lump of meat paste on the ground, He Langzi snorted in disdain. What a useless fool. Wei Fengzi flew down and scouted the place. After seeing no traps, he carefully observed Shui Songzi's mushed corpse. Soon, his gaze firmed. He had a discovery. This is troublesome. The other party has a strength path killer move. Shui Songzi died from this move. This is a powerful move that has great force. Wei Fengzi's analysis was correct. Fang Yuan's immortal killer move, Myriad Self, was no longer like before. Even though he could not use Cleanse Soul Immortal Gu, he had Self-Strength Immortal Gu, Pulling Mountain Immortal Gu, and Pulling Water Immortal Gu, these 3 Strength Path Core Gu. It was uncommon for 3 Strength Path Immortal Gu to be perfectly fused into one immortal killer move. He Langzi had some doubts regarding Wei Fengzi's words. In fact, he had deep wariness towards all human Gu immortals. He descended as well, standing beside Shui Songzi's corpse, his head turned into a wolf's head. As his wolf pupils shined eerily, they shined with a green light as he looked around. At the same time, he sniffed, trying to find some important information. Soon, He Langzi's expression turned ugly. He said solemnly, "Rank 7 Strength Path, it is truly rare. Is this domination immortal?" But he continued, "No matter what, let's destroy this cloud building first." He Langzi was like a wild beast. He acted very directly. Wei Fengzi nodded. He looked around vigilantly. He was afraid of the rank 7 Strength Path expert. He might be lurking around. "Hello brothers, you came really quickly. My name is Xing Shangzi. I am guarding this cloud building. May I know who both of you are?" Fang Yuan flew out of the cloud building. "Be careful, this is a Star Path rank 6 Gu Immortal." Wei Fengzi transmitted to He Langzi. He Langzi nodded silently. He understood Wei Fengzi's words. The other party might have 2 Gu Immortals with one hiding somewhere. Shui Songzi might have been schemed into death by them. Chapter 876. Star Cloud Grindstone, Star Snake Rope. Wei Fengzi and He Langzi stared at Fang Yuan vigilantly. Currently, Fang Yuan was wearing a blue robe. Traces of starlight was flowing out of his large sleeves at times. He was no longer burly and brawny, he was thin and tall. His skin was not green like his zombie appearance, it was tender and white like a baby, radiating with a faintly red hue. His features also became very refined. Together with his long and smooth white hair, he looked like an unfettered expert with an immortal's flair. After obtaining change form immortal Gu, vaguely familiar faces effect rose greatly. It allowed Fang Yuan to hugely change his appearance. Xing Shangzi, never heard of him. He Langzi frowned. Ruthless light flickered in his eyes. From the moment he got here, he felt something strange. "You are a Northern Plains Gu Immortal." Wei Fengzi's expression changed. He looked very calm but was secretly on alert that there might be a rank 7 Strength Path Gu Immortal hiding nearby. Fang Yuan waved his sleeves, laughing heartily. "I am a Northern Plains Gu Immortal. I am an insignificant lone cultivator. Both of you are famous characters in Northern Plains, we cannot be compared." He knew about He Langzi, although he did not recognize Wei Fengzi, but viewing this situation, He Langzi and Wei Fengzi were moving side by side. According to He Langzi's wild nature, he could deduce that Wei Fengzi had strength that was not inferior to He Langzi. "Since you know about our fame, why are you not retreating? If we really fight, it would be unwise for you to die in my hands." Wei Fengzi sneered, his gaze was like a dagger piercing towards Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan smiled bitterly and helplessly. A promise is a promise, even though I am not good at fighting, I will have to challenge both of you. Please. He spoke nonsense with his mouth, but he was quite overjoyed internally. Vaguely familiar faces effect was quite good. Both of them were rank 7, the moment Fang Yuan appeared, they must have used their investigative killer moves. But now it seemed that neither of them had any suspicion towards Fang Yuan's identity. If they found out about Fang Yuan's immortal zombie status, He Langzi would have attacked already. Star Path rank 6 was already lower than his cultivation level, an immortal zombie would be even lower. Of course, there was a possibility that they had found out, but were just trying to probe the situation. Wei Fengzi and He Langzi looked at Xing Shangzi in front of them, even though he was rank 6 and had lower cultivation level, he was inviting them to battle. Unconsciously, they thought about the hidden strength path GU Immortal. The two demonic path immortals looked at each other. Wei Fengzi said to He Langzi, "Why don't you attack, I will assist you by the side." He Langzi was also very wary of the rank 7 strength path GU Immortal that killed Shui Songzi. Since Wei Fengzi is keeping watch, if the mysterious rank 7 strength path GU Immortal attacks during battle, there is not much to worry about. I have a really strong feeling that something is amiss, but I don't know what. He Langzi frowned slightly, nodding at Wei Fengzi. At the next moment, he growled as he pounced at Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan saw that the famous demon of northern plains, He Langzi, was charging at him. He smiled lightly. Let's start. Fang Yuan pushed forward with both hands, using an immortal killer move. At that instant, starlight shone as a spiral of starlight clouds gathered and formed. In a few breaths of time, it was the size of 2 or 3 elephants. This spiral of star clouds spun rapidly, emitting an suction force towards the outside. Star Path Immortal Killer Move, Star Cloud Grindstone. This was Star Lord Wan Zhang's defensive killer move. All long-range attacks could be sucked in and grinded into pieces by the Star Cloud Grindstone. In regards to a close-range fighter like He Langzi, once he enters the Star Cloud Grindstone, he would be restricted in movement and would be crushed slowly by the grindstone. In other words, this was a defensive killer move with very strong offensive power. Howl! He Langzi's body shined with a bright light. The light was dazzling and even Fang Yuan had to shut his eyes momentarily. At the next moment, the light faded and a wolf appeared. This wolf was not large, it was even smaller than usual wolves. But it emitted a dangerous aura. Fang Yuan's eyelids jumped. It had no fur on its body, it was like an oiled brown wooden statue, emitting an eerie aura. On the wolf's head, there was a naturally growing mushroom-like bone. It resembled a black triangular hat. Below the hat, in the wolf's eyes, there were no shiny pupils. Instead, 2 lumps of green flames were burning quietly. A rank 7 desolate beast that ate soul beasts as food. Fragrant sorcerer Yin statue wolf. After He Langzi transformed into the fragrant sorcerer Yin statue wolf, his speed was 3 times that of before. He was like a lump of shadow, flickering before Fang Yuan's eyes. Such great speed, my investigative killer move could not capture it. Fang Yuan's heart jumped. No matter what fight GU Immortals were in, speed was always a crucial factor. Whoever was faster would have the initiative, advancing or retreating could be easily achieved. The slower one would not be able to hit the other party if they attacked. If they wanted to retreat, they would be obstructed. He Langzi was indeed a famous transformation path demonic immortal of northern plains. In his human form, his battle strength could be considered to possibly only be at the level of rank 6 peak stage. But the moment he transformed into a fierce beast, his battle strength surged. It proved that he had undeniable strength living up to his reputation. At this moment, Fang Yuan was at a disadvantage. He lost the initiative but he was not flustered. Even though he had an incomplete strength path immortal killer move, 3 pairs of true solid bat wings, he could activate them but he showed no signs of using them at all. True solid bat wings was a top-tier mortal killer move. Once the chance of activating Iron Crown Eagle strength immortal GU along with it occurred, he would be able to unleash speed equal to an immortal killer move. Thus, it was an incomplete immortal killer move. But this effect of this movement killer move was too unstable. Moreover, even if he could activate the Iron Crown Eagle strength immortal GU, Fang Yuan's speed would still be slower than the fragrant sorcerer Yin statue wolf. This ancient desolate beast wolf could fight on par with rank 7 GU immortals. It was well known for speed and agility. Furthermore, if Fang Yuan used true solid bat wings now, he would be exposing his identity as a strength path GU immortal. This was not a good idea. Fang Yuan purposely transformed into the appearance of a star path GU immortal now. he was using the two strong foes to test his star path techniques, to assess his gains in Immortal blessed land these last days while trying to absorb this new battle style. The fragrant sorcerer Yin statue wolf howled intensely. Its speed was so fast that Fang Yuan could not sense it. It was faster than lightning. In the blink of an eye, it was right in front of Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan's expression did not change. He made a move that was out of He Langzi's expectations. He jumped and went into the star cloud grindstone that was activated earlier. He Langzi had wanted to avoid the star cloud grindstone and directly attack Fang Yuan. Thus, both mentally and physically, he was seeking to avoid this star cloud grindstone. Fang Yuan jumping inside was really out of He Langzi's expectations. Shish! With a soft sound, the fragrant sorcerer Yin statue wolf's claws scratched Fang Yuan's back. The fragrant sorcerer Yin statue wolf was simply too fast. Even though Fang Yuan wanted to dodge it and escape into the star cloud grindstone, he was still scratched on his back by He Langzi. But this scratch was only a graze, it did not cause much damage to Fang Yuan. The immortal zombie body in itself had great defense. Fang Yuan's blue robe was torn, but the injury on his back was only on the surface, his spine and bones were untouched. When blood spewed, the flesh moved as the injury mended quickly. In a few breaths of time, his injury was gone. But the blood was still in the air, it gradually changed color and revealed its true form, several drops of immortal zombie blood. Oh, this is a flaw in vaguely familiar face. Fang Yuan saw the drops of immortal zombie blood, he took note of this mentally. At the next moment, he waved his sleeves as he drew the immortal zombie blood inside them. He stood in the middle of the star cloud grindstone as he looked at the fragrant sorcerer Yin statue wolf which was outside. He smiled and invited, "Sir, He Langzi has incredible agility, would you like to fight me inside here?" Why was star cloud grindstone a defensive killer move and not an offensive killer move? This was the reason. Fang Yuan was fighting inside now. Star cloud grindstone would crush the enemy at all times, while Fang Yuan would be unharmed and unobstructed. Fragrant sorcerer Yin statue wolf stared at the star cloud grindstone intently. In its huge empty eyes, a pair of eerie flames were burning. It made Fang Yuan feel a surge of battle intent from He Langzi. He Langzi was ready to pounce, as Fang Yuan focused his attention. But at the next moment, the fragrant sorcerer Yin statue wolf turned around and gave up on the enemy. It pounced at the cloud building. "Why should I fight with you? My target is to dismantle as many cloud buildings as possible. To destroy this damned 12-wave cloud confusion GU formation." At this moment, He Langzi was laughing to himself internally. He Langzi's move was directly targeting Fang Yuan's weakness. He had to make a tough decision now. The reason why Fang Yuan was here was to defend the cloud building, and try to stall for time. But now, He Langzi was attacking the cloud building and ignoring Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan was forced to make a different move. If Fang Yuan stood on the spot and did not move, allowing He Langzi to destroy the cloud building, they would reach their goal in triumph. If Fang Yuan chased after him, he might get into physical danger. But the problem was, he could not match He Langzi's speed after he transformed into the fragrant sorcerer Yin statue wolf. Passive, Fang Yuan was in a very passive spot now. GU Immortals were still GU Immortals after all. In battle, they were much tougher to deal with than Desolate Beasts or Ancient Desolate Beasts. He Langzi attacked twice. The first time he got around the star cloud grindstone and attacked Fang Yuan. This time, he ignored Fang Yuan and went for the cloud building. He was truly displaying the spirit of Besiege way to rescue Zhao 1 foot. Besiege way to rescue Zhao. This was something Fang Yuan had read about in his previous life on Earth. But this GU Master World was also quite extraordinary. There was a similar type of wisdom here. Battles between GU Immortals were full of such wisdom. Not only was their frontal assault based on their strength, there was also the element of planning and scheming against one another. Seeing that the fragrant sorcerer Yin statue wolf was charging for the cloud building, Fang Yuan, who was inside the star cloud grindstone, was not anxious. Instead he smiled lightly. Immortal killer move, star snake rope. At the edge of the star cloud grindstone, 6 ropes flew out. The ropes were thin, they were formed from condensed starlight. The ends of the ropes were shining in blue starlight, forming into the appearances of snake heads. 6 ropes that were like 6 agile snakes flew forth. They sinuously moved along and coiled around the fragrant sorcerer Yin statue wolf's body. "Sir He Langzi, where are you going? Please come in here and fight." Fang Yuan laughed as he moved the star cloud grindstone. Together with the ropes, he dragged the fragrant sorcerer Yin statue wolf into the star cloud grindstone. Oh, these two immortal killer moves can coordinate with each other. This is a good battle tactic. At once, even Wei Fengzi praised as a sharp light flashed in his eyes. Chapter 877. 6 illusion star bodies, position star swap. When star snake rope was coordinated with star cloud grindstone, their power would amplify. Even though the fragrant sorcerer Yin statue wolf was an ancient desolate beast, it did not have great strength, and because He Langzi was not perfectly transformed into it, he was pulled by the star snake ropes helplessly. His struggles were futile as he was dragged back by Fang Yuan. He Langzi was trapped inside the star cloud grindstone. Countless starlight specks assaulted him, grinding against his wolf body. His muscles were tense as he felt increasing pressure. At the same time, the 6 star snake ropes were coiling around the fragrant sorcerer Yin statue wolf's body. They tightened and quickly created evident marks on the fragrant sorcerer Yin statue wolf's body. He Langzi could not open his mouth, he only felt an increasing force on him, his bones were starting to creak. He Langzi was not flustered, thoughts flashed in his head rapidly. This transformation only obtains the fragrant sorcerer Yin statue wolf's speed. I lack defense and strength. This person has a deep foundation in his soul. Earlier I used the fragrant sorcerer Yin statue wolf to scratch him, but it was as if nothing happened. Clearly the fragrant sorcerer Yin statue wolf's soul-injuring attacks have little effect on him. In an instant, He Langzi had thought it through. Even though the wolf's mouth was tied up, this did not impede He Langzi from using Gu worms. He growled angrily, "Since you are courting death, I will grant it to you." As he said that, lightning burst out. Large amounts of lightning shot out in all directions. Rumble. Balls of lightning exploded fiercely. Fang Yuan's 6 star snake ropes were drowned in the lightning blast. They first broke apart one by one before becoming decimated. He Langzi regained freedom. His body was bathed in lightning as he growled loudly. Howl. Several breaths of time later, the lightning vanished, and the wolf howl stopped. What appeared was no longer a fragrant sorcerer Yin statue wolf, it was a lightning flash giant wolf. This was also an ancient desolate beast, having rank 7 battle strength. The giant wolf was as large as an elephant, it was covered in blue fur, the tips of the furs were all covered in mysterious blue crystals, they gave off a weak spark. The fragrant sorcerer Yin statue wolf was physically weaker, while lightning flash giant wolf was strong and mighty. He actually turned his Dao marks into lightning paths so quickly. Earlier, the flash of lightning must have been some sort of immortal killer move, it actually has such an amazing effect. Fang Yuan's pupils shrunk, he mentally took note of this precious information. If he fought He Langzi in the future, Fang Yuan would attempt to thwart the immortal killer move earlier and prevent He Langzi from transforming successfully. He missed his chance this time. He Langzi would not give Fang Yuan this opportunity. Furthermore, Fang Yuan knew that this battle was going to be a loss, he only needed to stall for as long as he could. He was facing 2 rank 7 GU immortals, they were both famous experts. They were also from northern plains, having superior battle strength as compared to the other 4 regions. Meanwhile, Fang Yuan only had rank 6 star path cultivation now. This time, he was trying to test out vaguely familiar face, as well as the star path killer moves in battle. A moment later, boom, with a loud bang, a lightning pillar burst into the sky, the star cloud grindstone was on the verge of destruction and could not be maintained anymore. Fang Yuan's blue robe had many tatters and tears, his body was covered in countless injuries. Thankfully, this lightning caused the injuries to be charred, no blood spewed out, so Fang Yuan could continue concealing his identity. The lightning flash giant wolf howled smugly, speaking human words, "Not a battlefield killer move, yet trying to trap me. HMPH, you are too naive, now die." Saying this, he opened his mouth and shot out a beam of lightning. The lightning pillar approached Fang Yuan with incredible might. Fang Yuan's face was reflecting the blue light as his eyes shined with slight brilliance, he still maintained his composure. "Hee, if you want me dead, that will not be easy." Saying this, Fang Yuan's body shook, as he turned into 6 figures and flew out, causing the lightning beam to hit nothing. Star Path Immortal Killer Move, 6 illusion star bodies. He split into 6, which one is the real body? Wei Fengzi was observing the battle, as he was wary of the Strength Path GU Immortal that was lurking, he did not join the fight. The 6 bodies drew a trail of blue starlight behind them in the air as they encircled the lightning flash giant wolf, attacking together. At once, starlight flew out as countless mortal killer moves were used on the lightning flash giant wolf. He Langzi activated his defenses, enduring the attacks from Fang Yuan as he counterattacked fiercely. But after he spent a lot of effort to kill one of Fang Yuan's illusion bodies, another one would be created in its place. He Langzi attacked left and right, killing a total of 8 illusion bodies of Fang Yuan. This could be said to be easily defeating them, but the illusion bodies regenerated after dying, they were endless. There were still 6 Fang Yuans encircling the lightning flash giant wolf as they attacked relentlessly. He Langzi felt a huge headache. Here, he could only use immortal killer moves to defend himself. He was expending rank 7 immortal essence. But his opponent was only using mortal killer moves, he was expending primeval essence. In this exchange of moves, he was making a huge loss. But he had to defend himself, his body could not endure such constant attacks. He displayed his attacking methods, but Fang Yuan's 6 illusion star bodies were unending. At once, Fang Yuan obtained the initiative for the first time, he gained some control of the situation. At this time, He Langzi's investigative methods were put to test. Damn it, this lightning flash giant wolf has great attacking power, but it is not suited for investigation. It has low speed as well, even if I want to attack the cloud building, I would be obstructed by the enemy. Do I need to transform back into the fragrant sorcerer yin statue wolf? He Langzi gritted his teeth secretly. Transformation path GU cultivators could only transform a certain number of times in a period of time. This was because their Dao marks changed after transforming successfully. When they change into other life forms, the Dao marks of the previous transformation would remain. The transformation path GU Immortal would need to use appropriate GU worms to cleanse their own body and get rid of those remaining Dao marks completely, otherwise there would be huge harm to themselves. He Langzi was able to transform into the lightning flash giant wolf from the fragrant sorcerer yin statue wolf earlier so quickly because he had used a lightning path immortal killer move. This move not only attacked the star snake ropes that restricted him, it also destroyed the soul path Dao marks on He Langzi's body. Thus, He Langzi was able to transform into the lightning flash giant wolf rapidly. But if He Langzi wanted to transform into the fragrant sorcerer yin statue wolf from his current lightning flash giant wolf form, he would need a soul path immortal killer move that he did not have. Immortal killer moves were extremely precious, they were very difficult to deduce. He Langzi was a person with fortuitous encounters, otherwise with just his lone cultivator status, he would not have his current achievements. Unfortunately, the inheritances that he obtained were all incomplete, they were lacking to a huge degree. He was not like Shui Songzi who had just died, having obtained a complete snow path inheritance from Qin Bai Sheng, and having a set of immortal killer moves to use in succession. He was not like Fang Yuan either, having obtained a complete star path inheritance from Star Lord Wan Shang, Star Cloud Grindstone, Star Snake Rope. 6 illusion star bodies were all created by using Star Mark, Star Shoot, and Starlight. These 3 immortal GU as the cores, they also smoothly complemented each other. He Lu Lan tried all ways possible to turn the mortal killer move, Self-Strength Giant Phantom, into an immortal killer move. She had a good foundation already, but she still faced great difficulty. Even though Fang Yuan had Grandmaster attainment in Strength Path, and the help of the Light of Wisdom, he did not dare to deduce other Strength Path immortal killer moves casually. It was not that he was incapable of doing so, but because the time and effort needed was too much. He Langzi did not have any Wisdom Path foundation, to deduce a suitable immortal killer move for himself, that was immensely more difficult. Of course, with He Langzi's strength, if he wanted to endure Fang Yuan's attacks while getting rid of his lightning path Dao marks, it was not impossible. He had a higher cultivation level, Fang Yuan's strength was inferior to his. But that way, he would drag it out for too long. While He Langzi was hesitant, Wei Fengzi struck. Fang Yuan's attacks came to a halt, he was surprised to find out that on his head, there was a green feather. When was I hit? What immortal killer move is this? It can actually expose my true body. Fang Yuan was shocked. Wei Fengzi had been using his investigative immortal killer move the moment Fang Yuan used 6 illusion star bodies. After exposing Fang Yuan's true body, he immediately used another immortal killer move to mark him. Even though Wei Fengzi was not engaged in the battle, wary of a lurking strength path GU Immortal, it did not mean that he could not do anything. Fang Yuan was fighting 2 strong enemies alone, and they were both rank 7 GU Immortals, his disadvantage was great. Once Fang Yuan's true body was exposed, he was attacked by the lightning flash giant wolf with precision. Left without a choice, Fang Yuan activated Star Cloud Grindstone and placed it in front of him. But the lightning flash giant wolf was an ancient desolate beast, it shot out fierce lightning and several Star Cloud Grindstones were destroyed one after another. Fang Yuan quickly moved his other 5 star bodies to disrupt He Langzi. If He Langzi was an ancient desolate beast, he might have gotten distracted. But he had the intelligence and wisdom of a human, he ignored these star bodies and only attacked Fang Yuan's main body. Fang Yuan was getting into a passive position, in front of him, the Star Cloud Grindstone was being destroyed by the lightning pillar, and behind the lightning pillar, the lightning flash giant wolf was charging at him. Immortal killer move, position star swap. Fang Yuan's body shined with starlight, he vanished on the spot and appeared somewhere else, he directly replaced one of the 6 illusion star bodies. This was a movement killer move that was recorded in Star Lord Wan Zhang's inheritance, it could allow Fang Yuan to vanish and take the place of one of the star bodies at any point in time. After replacing it, the original illusion body would disappear, and on the battlefield, other than Fang Yuan's main body, only 4 illusion bodies would be left. But soon, Fang Yuan willed and another illusion star body appeared, standing beside him. The number of illusion star bodies on the field reached the maximum capacity again. At once, the lightning flash giant wolf that He Lang Zi transformed into opened its mouth wide, unable to close it. His gaze also froze for a breath's time. Position star swap and 6 illusion star bodies were 2 immortal killer moves that worked together really well. This was a shameless tactic that caused the 2 experts, Wei Fengzi and He Lang Zi, to become speechless. Unless they had a method to counter it, or if they could resolve one of the 2 star path killer moves, Fang Yuan was a very troublesome character to deal with now. Unfortunately, neither Wei Fengzi or He Lang Zi had any way to counter this. To unravel an unknown immortal killer move, they would need a strong wisdom path foundation, it could not be done quickly. However, just as Fang Yuan and He Lang Zi went into a deadlock, Wei Fengzi made up his mind and struck. Immortal killer move, wind escape. He turned into a gust of wind, vanishing on the spot. At the next moment, he appeared outside the cloud building, opening his mouth wide. Immortal killer move, Deathwind Flying Blade. A wind blade flew out of Wei Fengzi's mouth, slashing at the cloud building's top floor. The cloud building only lasted for a breath's time before it was cut into 2 by this sharp wind blade. Wind escape, a top-tier movement killer move in Northern Plains. He is Wei Fengzi. At that instant, Fang Yuan realized Wei Fengzi's identity, he shouted for Lang Yalan Spirit. Lang Yalan Spirit appeared immediately, grabbing Fang Yuan's arm as they vanished on the spot with a swoosh. Chapter 878, Moment of Crisis. When Fang Yuan was able to see again, he was already in another cloud building. Fang Yuan let out a breath of turbid air, it might have been difficult to withdraw without Lang Yalan Spirit's help. After all, one of the enemies was Wei Fengzi. This person was known as among the best in movement speed currently in Northern Plains, he could even outrun rank 8 GU Immortals. He had a shocking achievement of having escaped from Yao Huang. But difficult did not mean impossible. Fang Yuan had fixed immortal travel and only needed 3 breaths of time to escape. Even if Wei Fengzi was very fast, it would be of no help should he have enough time. There were only 5 cloud buildings remaining in the first place, now we have lost 2 in a row, and we only delayed the enemies for a short time. The enemies are already attacking, this time, the 3 of us will move together. Lang Yalan Spirit instructed with a serious expression. When Lang Yalan Spirit spoke, Fang Yuan discovered that besides him and the land spirit, there was an Inkman GU Immortal in the cloud building. Fang Yuan assessed this Inkman GU Immortal. The Inkman GU Immortal possessed distinct Inkman characteristics, black skin and white hair. He also seemed to be rather old judging by the wrinkles all over his face. Wasn't it said Inkman City only had 1 GU Immortal, the Inkman King Mo Tan sang. It seems this Inkman GU Immortal is one of the trump cards of Inkman City, kept hidden ordinarily. My intelligence from Fairy Li Shan had no mention of him. He only made his appearance due to the crisis in Langya Blessed Land. Fang Yuan speculated inwardly. Inkmen are variant humans, there are very few GU Immortals among variant human tribes. Inkman City being able to conceal a GU Immortal should already be their limit. But then again, for Inkman City to send out their 2 GU Immortals for Langya Blessed Land, it could be said to be taking a big risk. This means Mo Tan Sang has a lot of trust in Langya Land Spirit. Fang Yuan was able to understand the wider situation with a small clue. He had only just seen this Inkman GU Immortal, but was able to connect this to many things. This Inkman GU Immortal nodded at Fang Yuan but did not say anything, as if he did not want to have much interaction with Fang Yuan. This was expected. Even if Fang Yuan had changed his appearance greatly, he was still a human GU Immortal. Currently in the 5 regions, or even the entire world, variant humans were suppressed, captured and trained as slaves to be sold. Almost all variant humans were barely staying alive. This Inkman City in Northern Plains was already an extremely rare and valuable settlement of variant humans. This was also because the leaders of Inkman City, from generation to generation, were all GU Immortals. How could Inkman City exist without the protection of GU Immortals? Forces both large and small would have already allied to capture the Inkmen as slaves. It could be said that without a GU Immortal, the lives of variant humans was similar to that of small and tiny tribes, scattered in nooks and crannies over the world. It was not that variant humans did not want to group together to form middle-scale and large-scale tribes, but that if their numbers were large, it would be summoning disaster, attracting countless forces to hunt them down and make them slaves. This aged Inkman GU Immortal seemed to be very much on alert in regards to humans. He only nodded at Fang Yuan and remained at his spot without any intention to communicate. Fang Yuan also nodded in reply. Lang Ya Land Spirit, who was at the side, was frowning as he anxiously looked outside the window. He suddenly spoke, "They arrived so quickly. They are directly charging towards this cloud building. The situation does not look good. They seem to hold some investigative method that targets my 12-wave cloud confusion formation." Fang Yuan quickly looked outside, but only saw the vast fog. He knew his investigative killer moves were not much good, but Lang Ya Land Spirit's words should be true. Sure enough, several breaths of time later, wind surged, dispelling the thick fog and revealing a clear space. 2 enemy GU Immortals were proudly standing in the air. One was wearing a black robe and was very good-looking, but because of some injuries, his expression appeared pale, making one feel that although this person was unfettered and elegant, he did not seem to have much longer to live. He was He Chang. The other GU Immortal was wearing martial attire. He had broad shoulders and a thin waist, and his eyes were emitting sharp light. Fang Yuan was familiar with this person, rank 7 GU Immortal, Qin Bai Sheng. Fang Yuan immediately put most of his attention on Qin Bai Sheng. In Fang Yuan's knowledge, this Qin Bai Sheng was extremely strong, an expert at the level of Central Continent's Shilei. If they were to openly fight, Fang Yuan knew he was not Qin Bai Sheng's match. One needed to know their limitations. One of the reasons Fang Yuan could live so long was because he knew himself well enough. Even though he had the Strength Path Killer move Myriad Self, and did not lack Immortal Essence Stones for the moment, and also possessed a set of Star Path Immortal Killer moves which made up for a lot of his shortcomings, but if they were to truly battle, he could at best only force a draw with difficulty against experts at the level of Old Lord Kenyang, He Lang Zi, Wei Feng Zi and Unfettered Scholar. He was able to kill Shui Song Zi before, because his luck was good and his plan had succeeded. He used Star Path Battle Strength to deal with He Lang Zi and was able to turn the situation into a stalemate, but He Lang Zi's third immortal transformation was not forced out. In other words, He Lang Zi still had strength left. Clearly, the land spirit also knew Qin Bai Sheng's strength, thus was frowning deeply, mumbling, "Damn it, I am so close. If only I had some time, all these tigers would turn into sick cats." He seemed to have some powerful method, but it required time to be put to use. Unfortunately, the enemies did not intend to give any time to Lang Ya Land Spirit. The enemies were already closing in on the cloud building. Lang Ya Land Spirit had no choice but to brace himself to resist. The next moment, the land spirit turned towards the Inkman GU Immortal in the corner. "Old Mo, you can go first to fight them, try to stall for as much time as possible." "Yes, Lord Lang Ya." The Inkman GU Immortal slightly bowed before flying out of the cloud building. "Fang Yuan, be prepared to move out." Lang Ya Land Spirit instructed Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan nodded, while thinking inwardly, "With just my Star Path methods, I can only deal with 1 or 2 enemies at the level of Wei Feng Zi and He Lang Zi. It is impossible to think of victory, but I can still delay for time. However, in facing Qin Bai Sheng, I must use all my strength. It is absolutely out of question to try to make do with just Star Path cultivation." Just as he was thinking, an extremely intense suppression force spread from ahead. "What is this?" The terrifying pressure caused Fang Yuan and Lang Ya Land Spirit to turn pale. They quickly looked over. Brilliant golden light filled their sight. After the golden light dispersed, they saw Qin Bai Sheng standing proudly in the air, while He Cheng was looking at him from behind as if he was a monster. And in Qin Bai Sheng's hands was a head. It was the head of that Inkman GU Immortal. As for this GU Immortal's body, it had fallen to the ground. Qin Bai Sheng had actually killed a rank 6 GU Immortal in this breath of time. What was this speed? What level of power was this? This power which could directly kill an extremely vigilant GU Immortal, even if it was a variant human, was too terrifying. Even the experienced and knowledgeable He Cheng was dumbstruck, even though he had personally seen Qin Bai Sheng overpowering He Lang Zi in one move. But overpowering and killing a GU Immortal were two different concepts. The Inkman GU Immortal had just flown over and was just about to say something. Qin Bai Sheng had immediately attacked. He did not even give a chance for the enemy to speak. What was that move? The GU Immortals present on the scene, as well as the land spirit, did not have any clues. Terrifying. This Qin Bai Sheng's battle strength has already surpassed Xilei, and is fully at the level of Feng Zhuzhe. Let's retreat. Fang Yuan bellowed at Lang Yalan's spirit. Lang Yalan's spirit also came to his senses, and just as Fang Yuan shouted, he grabbed Fang Yuan's arm and swiftly disappeared from the spot. What's going on? In another cloud building, Mo Tansang was standing guard, and was surprised to see Fang Yuan and Lang Yalan's spirit appear so suddenly. Fang Yuan's expression was extremely unsightly. He did not know the secrets of Qin Bai Sheng's background, but that decapitation just now left an extremely deep impression on him. Lang Yalan's spirit was filled with panic as he looked all around. What should we do? His body suddenly shook and he looked towards the northwest direction, his gaze seemingly passing through the cloud building. He was terrified. They are coming directly towards us. What can we do? Mo Tansang took a step forward. He glanced at the stranger, Fang Yuan, clearly not recognizing Fang Yuan's appearance. Mo Tansang also did not inquire about Fang Yuan's identity, and instead asked Lang Yalan's spirit a question in concern. Lang Yalan's spirit did not reply to him. He was extremely anxious. This was the first time Mo Tansang had seen this. It was instead Fang Yuan who answered Mo Tansang, his voice heavy and filled with apprehension. That Inkman Gu Immortal is dead. He could not last even one move. He was decapitated by Qin Bai Sheng. This battle strength is already comparable to rank 8, only with a large gap in strength can there be this kind of crushing battle result. What? Elder Mo is dead, killed in one move by Qin Bai Sheng. Mo Tansang's whole body shook, revealing a disbelieving and shocked expression. Soon, the shock on his face disappeared and his gaze became blank. The death of the old Inkman Gu Immortal was a heavy strike to Mo Tansang. Inkman City had 2 Gu Immortals altogether, now only Mo Tansang was left. The disastrous loss was evident. How could Qin Bai Sheng be so strong? Mo Tansang's face was filled with cold sweat as he reacted short after. He was a person of great talent and vision after all, and immediately understood they could only rely on Lang Yalan's spirit's unfathomable depths. He took another step forward and asked Lang Yalan's spirit, Lord Lang Yalan's spirit, what should we do? We cannot stall for time. Can't you use your rank 8 Immortal Gu House Refinement Cauldron early to forcibly refine the Immortal Gu of these Gu Immortals? Rank 8 Immortal Gu House Refinement Cauldron. This is Lang Yalan's spirit's hidden trump card. It seems this Immortal Gu House can actually forcibly refine the Immortal Gu of others. Fang Yuan's heart shook as he heard this secret. Everything became clear. It was no wonder that Lang Yalan's spirit could resist the invasion of so many Gu Immortals. No wonder Feng Zhuzhe perished here. With this rank 8 Immortal Gu House, Refinement Cauldron, as long as a period of time was given, the Immortal Gu of Gu Immortals would be refined by the land spirit. Moreover, the Gu Immortals could only use Immortal Gu and Immortal Killer moves here. If their Immortal Gu were refined by others, then the Gu Immortals could only let others trample upon them. No wonder Lang Yalan's spirit could capture so many Gu Immortals alive. This rank 8 Immortal Gu House could refine the Immortal Gu of other Gu Immortals, isolating them from immortal apertures. This power was inconceivably strong. However, when Fang Yuan thought of it, it was also not strange. Long Hair Ancestor was the creator of 88 Truyong Building. It was justifiable for him to be able to create another rank 8 Immortal Gu House in Refinement Cauldron. If I could forcibly refine the Gu, I would have already done so. What to do? What to do? There is not enough time. Lang Yalan's spirit raved as he paced around the room in panic. Mo Tansang had helped resist 2 waves of attacks, but he had never seen Lang Yalan's spirit in such panic. His heart could not help but sink. Don't tell me, not only did I mess up Northern Plains, I even affected Lang Ya blessed land and am causing it to be destroyed earlier. Fang Yuan's mood was also heavy. Chapter 879, Long Hair Ancestor's Secret. Heavenly Court. Countless halls radiated with dazzling lights. Inside Heaven Overseeing Tower, there were 4 rank 8 Gu Immortals, Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord, Bai Kang Shui, Lian Ju Sheng, and Bai Chen Tian. They were at the east, south, west, and north directions respectively. The huge Gu formation was showing a grand image in the sky. Countless precious immortal materials were tossed in like they were cheap vegetables found in the market. In the image formed by the refinement path Gu formation, these immortal materials were processed at a rapid speed. At this point, they had already expended half of the success Dao marks that they had obtained from the infallible inheritance. The female Gu Immortal, Bai Kang Shui's eyes shined brightly as she stared at the refinement path Gu formation. This was the first time she was involved in the recovery of Fate GU, this was also the first time she had come across such an incredible refinement path GU formation. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord held his walking stick as he captured all of Bai Kang Shui's expressions with his eyes. He spoke, Fairy Kang Shui, if you want this refinement path GU formation, you only need to pay 30,000 contribution points to get it. Bai Kang Shui's expression changed, she understood Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord's meaning, he was reminding her, now is the crucial period for repairing Fate Immortal GU, stop staring at the refinement path GU formation and causing yourself to be distracted. I am ashamed. Bai Kang Shui bowed at Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord, sighing, this GU formation is really incredible, it has such power. Even if I am not a refinement path GU Immortal, I can tell that this GU formation has already touched upon the fundamental meaning of refinement path. But it is like a poem that is only half written, this GU formation also gives me a sense of being incomplete. It seems that it could be improved further, to become an immortal GU house. Fairy Kang Shui is very insightful. But it is impossible to elevate this GU formation into an immortal GU house. Lian Ju Sheng, who had the appearance of a white-haired teenager, laughed as he replied. Oh, why is that the case? Bai Kang Shui's gaze flickered, she showed curiosity on her face. The main reason is that we are lacking the most crucial core immortal GU. Fairy Kang Shui, you may not know that this refinement path GU formation is only a mimicry of long-hair ancestors rank 8 immortal GU house, refinement cauldron, by a predecessor of heavenly court through countless past records. Lian Ju Sheng spoke slowly, exposing some secrets, and this refinement cauldron is still inside Langya Blessed Land, it has all of its core immortal GU. So that's it, Bai Kang Shui's expression dimmed. Immortal GU were unique, refinement cauldron was still around now. Thus, it was almost impossible to elevate Heavenly Court's GU formation. Of course, we can make a redesign of Refinement Cauldron and modify this GU formation, using other Immortal GU as the core, to achieve a similar effect. But this is very difficult. Back then when Long-Hair Ancestor created the Immortal GU houses, 88 Truyong Building and Refinement Cauldron, other than the fact that he was a Refinement Path Supreme Grand Master, there was another reason, he had a Wisdom Path Great Grand Master friend, Immortal Yi Yan. Lian Ju Sheng sighed deeply. Immortal Yi Yan, he was the creator of the prophecy of 3 Venerables. He was an actual Wisdom Path Great Grand Master, his predictions were very accurate. Immortal Yi Yan, long-hair ancestor, Bai Kang Shui muttered, she suddenly thought of something, she asked, that's right. Back then, why didn't we recruit long-hair ancestor into Heavenly Court? He is a Refinement Path Supreme Grand Master, but he only had rank 8 cultivation level, he was not an invincible rank 9 GU Immortal. Even if he was a Northern Plains GU Immortal, we in Heavenly Court have our methods, we can change his aura from Northern Plains to Central Continent. Indeed, there were only 3 people who were at long-hair ancestors level. Why did Heavenly Court not recruit them? Lian Ju Sheng was also uncertain. Bai Chen Tian was silent. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord laughed, he said with an arrogant tone, that is because long-hair ancestor was not a human, he was a hairy man. No matter how strong he was, or how great his refinement path attainment was, he could not enter Heavenly Court. Heavenly Court is the sanctuary of us humans, how can we let these lowly variant humans in? Oh, it is actually like this long-hair ancestor was a hairy man. The other 3 GU Immortals looked at each other, this was the first time they had heard of such a secret. Northern Plains, Langya Blessed Land. Out of the original 5 cloud buildings, 3 were destroyed, only 2 were left. On Qin Bai Sheng's side, Shui Songzi died. On Langya Land Spirit's side, an Inkman GU Immortal died as well. Qin Bai Sheng showed terrifying battle strength, he was unstoppable, he directly charged towards the cloud building that Langya Land Spirit, Fang Yuan, and Mo Tansang were guarding. Langya Land Spirit was pacing around in anxiety now. What will we do? What will we do? The enemy is too strong, we cannot hold on much longer. Even though we have 2 cloud buildings left, it is already a fact that we are going to lose. Damn it, this is so frustrating. Do I have to let him out? No, if I let him out, I will be locked in. Who knows when I will be able to come out again. I arranged this Langya Blessed Land painstakingly, who knows if that maniac would raise it into a grotto heaven. That maniac's ambition is too great, he will definitely cause Langya Blessed Land to be destroyed. Langya Land Spirit was in a panicked state, his muttering was turning into a nonsensical grumble, it was making Fang Yuan and Mo Tansang feel a sense of anxiety and frustration. Fang Yuan was still fine, he had fixed immortal travel. But Mo Tansang was really uneasy now. The other Inkman Gu Immortal was already dead. If he also died here, all of the hundreds of thousands of Inkmen in Inkman City would face great danger. Without a Gu Immortal's protection, with so many Inkmen in Inkman City, they would definitely be a huge target. Countless hungry and greedy jackals would come and compete to enslave them. The Inkman citizens would face a terrible fate. They would become slaves and live in danger and suffering. Lord Land Spirit, you have to stay calm. We are all depending on you. Long Hair Ancestor was an esteemed person who could talk on equal terms with a demon Venerable. Think about it carefully, there has to be a way to deal with the enemy. Mo Tan Sang got closer to Lang Ya Land Spirit as he urged. Don't force me, don't force me. Lang Ya Land Spirit was gripping his hair, he shook his head incessantly. Mo Tan Sang's anxiety became worse. He grabbed the Land Spirit's arm as he shook the Land Spirit. Lang Ya Land Spirit, you have to regain your clear-mindedness. Ah, Lang Ya Land Spirit seemed to have reached his limits. He raised his head and screamed. Boom! A huge force burst out from Lang Ya Land Spirit's body. Mo Tan Sang was caught off guard. He spat out blood as he was pushed away like a tattered doll. He crashed onto the wall and slowly fell onto the ground. You are not Lang Ya Land Spirit. Mo Tan Sang stared with wide-opened eyes, shouting at Lang Ya Land Spirit in disbelief. The Land Spirit originally had white hair and had a sagely demeanor, but now he was different. He was muscular and strong, about the same height as Fang Yuan's immortal zombie body. He had large shoulders and a thick waist. The muscles on his body were bursting with energy, giving off terrifying signals. Most conspicuously, his entire body was growing with thick hair. The brown hair was almost covering his entire body. His eyes were bloodshot, fangs were exposed in his mouth as his lips curled up, showing a sinister smile. In an instant, Lang Ya Land Spirit had turned from an old human man into a muscular hairy man. Fang Yuan was also very surprised by Lang Ya Land Spirit's transformation. Immediately, he took a few steps back as he looked at Lang Ya Land Spirit warily. Lang Ya Land Spirit slowly raised his head. He looked at Mo Tan Sang who was sitting on the ground, sighing deeply. How can I not be Lang Ya Land Spirit? He, how many years has it been, ever since that myriad tribulation HMPH, because I was weakened severely, that weak fellow took over control. Lang Ya Land Spirit said that and shouted loudly, raising his head, how many years has it been? He sucked in a deep breath, he showed an excited and ruthless expression, he clenched his fists, his bulging muscles were thicker than Mo Tan Sang's legs. I am finally back. Fang Yuan was frowning, he had a few questions internally as he retreated again by a few steps. You two do not need to be suspicious, I am Lang Ya Land Spirit, the real deal. Lang Ya Land Spirit raised his head, his gaze was like a dagger as he stared right at Fang Yuan and Mo Tan Sang. My main body was a hairy man, but after I died, I had two obsessions. There was only one Land Spirit position, but the two obsessions were equally matched, neither could suppress the other. In the end, we could only combine together and become Lang Ya Land Spirit. The one you two are familiar with is merely the obsession over space escape Immortal Gu. Lang Ya Land Spirit snorted, explaining. Two obsessions. Mo Tan Sang's expression froze. Fang Yuan reacted much quicker than him. He asked. Then, Land Spirit, what is your condition for acknowledging a new master? The earlier Lang Ya Land Spirit's condition was to solve the issue of why space escape Immortal Gu could not enter the space cave. Fang Yuan definitely could not fulfill it. But now, Lang Ya Land Spirit had changed greatly. According to his words, he had a different obsession. In that case, his condition would definitely be different as well. HMPH. To get me to acknowledge a new master, you are not qualified. The hairy man Lang Ya Land Spirit stared at Fang Yuan. He had a more arrogant and strong tone than his human form. How am I not qualified? Fang Yuan did not lose his temper, he asked calmly. Lang Ya Land Spirit crossed his arms, he laughed arrogantly. My ambition is to make all of the hairy men in the world become the ones in charge. Any variant human, including you humans, has to cower at the feet of his hairy men. You will all become the slaves of hairy men, begging for survival at our feet, as tiny insignificant ants. Whichever hairy man can achieve this target would become the new master of Lang Ya Land Spirit. Ha ha ha. Mo Tan Sang was stunned. Fang Yuan was speechless. No wonder he was not qualified, because Fang Yuan was not a hairy man. He could not even attempt this. Having two obsessions is not impossible in theory. No wonder Long Hair Ancestor was called Long Hair, his real identity was a hairy man. So this is why Long Hair Ancestor had incredible talent, but in history, there were no records of him ever being recruited by Heavenly Court. No wonder when I asked Lang Ya land spirit to sell me hairy man slaves in the past, he rejected me directly with a firm stance. Fang Yuan started to believe Lang Ya land spirit's words. After all, from start to finish, he was watching the entire scene. He had confirmed this using dozens of investigative killer moves. This means that after long hair ancestor died, he had two obsessions. One was his refinement path obsession, it was concerning space escape Immortal GU and Great Dream Immortal Venerable. The other obsession was his species obsession, because long hair ancestor was a hairy man, and because hairy men were suppressed by humans, such a strong obsession formed in him. Fang Yuan's expression turned grave. The Lang Ya land spirit in front of him not only had a change in appearance, his personality also changed completely. Their earlier relationship was useless now. At this moment, what attitude would this Lang Ya land spirit have towards the human Fang Yuan? Chapter 880, Fearsome. Lang Ya land spirit vs Qin Bai Sheng. Don't be nervous lad, I will not attack you. Lang Ya land spirit stared at Fang Yuan with the eyes of a tiger, he said with a playful tone, although you, lad, have taken advantage of me many times. All of those deals earlier were fair transactions. Fang Yuan had a plain expression as he denied the accusations. HMPH, you were able to develop to this extent, one reason was that you had obtained quite a lot of resources from that weak fellow. But I do not mind it, we can still cooperate. Lang Ya land spirit said coldly. Fang Yuan squinted his eyes, he said with seeming disbelief, aren't you thinking of toppling humans, and establishing the rulership of hairy men? Of course I am, Lang Ya land spirit replied without hesitation, but success is a slow process, we have to walk one step at a time. To fulfill my ambitions, I need to understand reality. Even my main body had to disguise as a human when he was alive. To achieve the hegemony of hairy men, it is a necessity to cooperate with humans. Surprise flashed across Fang Yuan's eyes. The new Lang Ya land spirit in front of him, even though his obsession was unrealistic, he acted quite logically, he had a deep and clear understanding towards his environment and the situation around him. Mo Tan Sang got up slowly while the two of them were talking, he healed his injuries. My plan is flawless. Lang Ya land spirit's eyes shined with brilliance, he said in a profound tone. First, I will use benefits to rope in a bunch of human GU immortals, I will use humans to deal with humans, destroying them from the inside. I will recruit all these human GU immortals and make them into the hunting dogs of his hairy men. You are one of my targets, ah ha ha. As he said that, towards the end, he pointed at Fang Yuan and laughed with his head raised up. Fang Yuan, Mo Tan Sang, land spirit indeed could not lie, he completely exposed all of his schemes and plans. At the next moment, the land spirit also felt something amiss, he stopped laughing as he stroked his chin, regret flashed across his face as he said, ah. I got excited and said all of my plans out loud. Fang Yuan, Mo Tan Sang, as for you, the Inkman GU Immortal. At this time, Lang Ya land spirit's gaze turned from Fang Yuan to Mo Tan Sang. I am not that weak fellow, because he was afraid of getting exposed, he rejected many opportunities for cooperation with you. I am very interested in all those proposals you gave me. Especially those that involve toppling human tribes and plotting against human tribes. Speaking of which, the humans are too powerful now, against them, we variant humans are natural allies. Work with us hairy men, your Inkman city will develop even faster, it will grow even stronger. Mo Tan Sang's injury was not heavy, he healed quickly. Hearing Lang Ya land spirit's words, Mo Tan Sang felt a sense of having good times ahead. He gave Fang Yuan a subtle glance, at this point, he still did not know that this Star Path GU Immortal was the Fang Yuan he knew. Ha ha ha, Lang Ya land spirit thought of something brilliant, he laughed again, these stupid Inkmen. That's right, if I want my hairy man race to become the rulers, we will need to make use of these Inkmen, Feathermen and others. On the day I succeed, I will make all of them slaves, and squeeze out their value. These Inkmen in Inkman City could be preferentially treated, of course. After all, they are Immortal Yi Yan's descendants. I can make their king into a puppet, haha, this plan is too brilliant. Fang Yuan, Mo Tan Sang, Lang Ya land spirit saw their speechless expressions and was slightly stunned, he showed a serious expression as he rubbed his chin, I accidentally said my thoughts out loud again, huh. Fang Yuan finally was relieved, such a person like Lang Ya land spirit, how could he possibly achieve the rulership of hairy men? Mo Tan Sang covered his face with his hands, even though he was an Inkman and not a hairy man, he felt ashamed for Lang Ya land spirit. As Qin Bai Sheng got closer, the cloud building was already in his attacking range. The land spirit and two GU immortals are inside the building. Qin Baisheng had quite an impressive investigative immortal killer move, he could see many details of Fang Yuan's side. Qin Baisheng's eyes squinted as he flew slower, his right hand waved in front of him. Bam! Golden light burst out, the figure of a huge golden hammer formed instantly and shot out, slamming at the cloud building. The air currents were fierce as the golden hammer figure had a threatening aura, it was even larger than the cloud building. The relatively large cloud building was shrouded under the golden hammer, it became very weak looking. Metal Path Immortal Killer Move, City Crushing Hammer. What audacity! At the next moment, a figure came out of the cloud building, shouting fiercely. It was Lang Ya Land Spirit. The land spirit did not dodge, he directly faced the giant hammer. The moment his thick and strong arms interacted with the city-crushing hammer, dozens of GU worms flew out and circled around the land spirit. Rule Path Immortal Killer Move, Cleanse Sky. In an instant, the giant golden hammer vanished without a trace, like it had never existed previously. Only the air currents that were created by the hammer were left, they caused strong winds to blow unceasingly. Lang Ya Land Spirit. Seeing the Lang Ya Land Spirit that had undergone a transformation, even the mysterious Shadow Sect Vice Envoy, Qin Baisheng, showed a peculiar expression, he asked uncertainly. It is me, your grandfather. Lang Ya Land Spirit shouted. After destroying the hammer, he did not fall back, he charged towards Qin Baisheng. He was indeed different from the previous Lang Ya Land Spirit, their personalities were two different extremes, this one was bold and filled with battle intent. Fang Yuan and Mo Tan Sang watched from behind with much apprehension. The land spirit represented the world, it was the most crucial factor when GU immortals attacked a blessed land. Normally speaking, the land spirit would conceal themselves and use the entire blessed land to deal with the invaders. After all, the land spirit could manipulate the blessed land, if it was caught or destroyed, it would be way easier to take down the blessed land. But Lang Ya Land Spirit after transforming into a hairy man's appearance was different, he charged ahead. Even though Qin Baisheng displayed fearsome strength, his terrifying battle strength did not deter Lang Ya Land Spirit at all. Hey Cheng who was at the side laughed. He felt that with Qin Baisheng's strength, Lang Ya Land Spirit was simply courting his own doom. But as the target, Qin Baisheng had a serious expression. Since he had invaded Lang Ya Blessed Land, this was the first time he stepped back and retreated, unexpectedly. He mainly cultivated Soul Path and secondarily Metal Path. A common technique of his was to use the immortal killer move Soul Suppression, but it was useless on Lang Ya Land Spirit. Soul Suppression had a huge advantage because Qin Baisheng used his own Soul's Foundation to suppress his enemies. The difference in Soul Foundation made the immortal killer move, Soul Suppression, have an immense effect. Earlier in Luokou Valley, Qin Baisheng used Soul Suppression and defeated He Langzi, who had transformed into a giant wolf, in one move. Just earlier, Qin Baisheng used the Soul Suppression killer move and immobilized the Inkman GU Immortal, before using a Metal Path killer move to behead the Inkman GU Immortal. But against Lang Ya Land Spirit, Soul Suppression had no effect. The reason? Because Lang Ya Land Spirit was a special existence, he had no soul. He was an obsession formed together with heavenly power, a sort of spirit that was neither real nor fake, he did not have a physical body, and did not have a soul. To make a comparison, it was just like scolding someone. Qin Baisheng had the Soul Suppression killer move, it was as if he could directly scold someone to death with his words. But Lang Ya Land Spirit could not understand a word he was saying, no matter what curses he uttered. To Lang Ya Land Spirit, it was like random noise, because the land spirit could not understand it at all. Qin Baisheng was aware of this, furthermore, Lang Ya Land Spirit was acting strange, thus he decided to retreat and see what this land spirit was up to. With Qin Baisheng stepping back, Lang Ya Land Spirit's vigor rose, he did not relent at all. Immortal Killer Move, Great Thousand Spears. Immortal Killer Move, Triple Desolation. Immortal Killer Move, Lightning Chaotic Starfire. Countless golden spears shot out, they were like a dense forest that shot towards Qin Baisheng from all directions. Qin Baisheng quickly defended himself, a huge pillar appeared around him, and around the pillar, there was a 5-clawed golden dragon coiling around it. The golden dragon pillar was able to stop the Great Thousand Spears temporarily, but white hair started to appear on Qin Baisheng's hair, his lifespan was shortening. This was the power of the Time Path killer move Triple Desolation. Great Thousand Spears rained down like a storm, it was powerful and grand. Triple Desolation was mysterious and hard to defend against. Mixed in with that were lighting starfires, they were able to sneak into the golden dragon pillar and burn Qin Baisheng's flesh as they came into contact. The land spirit raised his head, the countless GU worms around his body vanished, and appeared again. After using them, they vanished again. One after another, Immortal GU and countless Mortal GU showcased themselves. Immortal Killer Move, Yellow Wood Rustling. Immortal Killer Move, Ruined Blood Flying Dust. Immortal Killer Move, Slaughtering Immortal Guillotine. The Wood Path Killer Move made the leaves in the area fly around. The Blade Path Killer Move slashed forward without obstacles, it was a beautiful move. There was also a Blood Path Killer Move mixed in, a light smoke that was blood red in color coiled around Qin Bai Sheng's waist. Qin Bai Sheng was too busy defending himself, he had to retreat again. The land spirit shouted again, chasing after him. On his body, countless Mortal GU and Immortal GU swapped out again like a change of clothes. Immortal Killer Move, Shattered Ice Armor. Immortal Killer Move, Mixed Hole Drill. Immortal Killer Move, Wishful Shadow Sword. Ice Path, Space Path, and Dark Path Killer moves were used in succession. Qin Bai Sheng defended himself as he retreated once more. Lang Ya land spirit advanced more and more, his aura was surging as his Immortal Killer moves struck like a flash flood. Qin Bai Sheng could not do anything but retreat. The more Qin Bai Sheng moved back, the more passive he was, and the more Lang Ya land spirit fought like a maniac. The two sides retreated and advanced respectively, until they were tens of li away. The spectating He Chang, Fang Yuan, and Mo Tan Sang were dumbfounded. Lang Ya Blessed Land's foundation was very abundant, it had many immortal GU stored up, Long Hair Ancestor did not lack immortal killer moves, and it even had the Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus, it had accumulated an untold amount of immortal essence. With such a huge foundation, Lang Ya land spirit could attack in such a frenzied manner, he could totally withstand the expenditure. Even Fang Yuan was starting to suspect that Lang Ya land spirit could keep up such an insane fighting style for 3 days and 3 nights unceasingly. In fact, this was the first time Fang Yuan had seen a land spirit that had such great battle strength and had such a ruthless nature.